Chapter 1. Do you know you're playing with fire, you little shit? Late at night. In a high-end hotel suite in the magical city. In the dimly lit room, two figures are entwined. The girl gently strokes the handsome face of the boy, her face flushed as she stares at the drunk boy in front of her, her throat rolling. Do you know you're playing with fire, you little shit? The next second, what the girl hears in response is the warm lips of the boy pressing against her red lips. Accompanying it was the boy's drunken voice, say, you, like me. The girl blinked her beautiful eyes. Stupid brother, this is your own initiative, don't blame your sister. Then the girl pursed her red lips, her eyes full of desire. Stupid brother, I like you too. Early morning. As the first ray of sunshine shone through the window and into the room, the sleeping person on the big bed slowly opened his eyes. Jiangbai reached out and pressed his groggy head, slowly sitting up from the bed. Damn, it's hard for me, how much alcohol did I drink last night? The story begins yesterday afternoon, the third day of Jiangbai's university life in Jiangchang. He was full of expectations, dressed smartly, and bought 99 roses to confess his love to the girl he had liked for 6 years, Su Chanshan. But before Jiangbai could say a word, Su Chanshan, as if she knew he was going to confess his love, spoke first. Jiangbai, you're very nice, but you're not my type. Thank you for your affection, if there's nothing else, I'll go back to my dormitory now, bye. After saying this, Su Chanshan turned directly and left, leaving Jiangbai standing there alone, staring foolishly at Su Chanshan's departing back. Have I been rejected? Jiangbai muttered to himself. A few seconds later, Jiangbai shook his head and smiled. It turns out that I was just being sentimental. Immediately afterwards, Jiangbai threw the roses into the trash can next to him. Maybe I will never fall in love again in my life? What Jiangbai didn't know was that a beautiful figure not far away had been silently watching him. In the bar. Jiangbai sat alone at the bar, drinking glass after glass, until he passed out. He remembered vaguely that when he finally closed his eyes, a beautiful-looking girl came up to him. And then... What happened after that? Why can't I remember? My head hurts. Suddenly, he stopped abruptly, feeling as if something was pressing against his chest. His mind cleared instantly, and when he looked, he was shocked. Jiangbai was dumbfounded. What caught his eye was the arm of a woman with a pure and delicate figure. As he followed the line of sight, Jiangbai's pupils widened. Holy shit! What's going on? Why is there a girl sleeping next to me? Jiangbai quickly lowered his head and pulled back the quilt, his face turning pale uncontrollably. Holy shit! What's going on? Where's my shirt? Where did it go? Well, I slept really well. Just then, a voice of moderate volume entered Jiangbai's ears. Hearing the voice, Jiangbai's gaze also turned to the girl next to him. However, when he saw that beautiful and moving face, he was so shocked that he almost exploded right there and then. Holy shit! How could it be her? What happened between her and me last night was indescribable. Just as Jiangbai was at a loss for what to do, the girl next to him slowly opened her eyes. Jiangbai forgot to look away for a moment, and suddenly found himself staring into the girl's beautiful peach-colored eyes. Good morning, stinky brother. The girl's voice was like music to the ears, crisp and pleasant, like a yellow warbler emerging from the valley. Those wonderful notes leaped through the air, like strings of crystal-clear pearls falling. The sound echoed through the silent room, without a hint of noise to disturb it, making it seem extraordinarily clear and beautiful. The girl yawned, tousled her dark hair, and gave a big yawn. She stretched out a hand, gently tousled her dark, shiny hair like a waterfall, and slowly sat up from the bed. As she moved, the quilt covering her body also seemed to have lost its support and slid down her smooth, delicate skin. Her upper body was exposed in the air, and Jiangbai, who saw this, immediately blushed and swallowed. Last night. Jiangbai pointed at her and then at herself, unable to find the words to say. What? You don't recognize your sister, you little brat? Shinshoyua's mouth curled up slightly, outlining a wry smile. Her beautiful face revealed an expression that was hard to read. Jiangbai suddenly felt overwhelmed. How could he not recognize her? You're my sister's best friend. This girl in front of him is absolutely beautiful, like a celestial maiden descending to earth. She is none other than his sister Jiang Wanqing's best friend. What's her name? Yes, it's Shinshoyue. Sister Choyue, last night we. Jiangbai's face turned red, and he was so nervous that he couldn't even say a complete sentence. Last night. Shin Shoyue frowned slightly, recalled what happened last night, and then spoke softly. Stupid brother, don't you remember what happened last night? Well, I only remember that I was alone in the bar last night and drank too much. As for what happened afterwards, I have no idea. Shin Shoyue glanced at him and casually lied, oh, well. My sister went to the bar with her roommate last night, and just happened to see you drunk at the bar when she came out of the bathroom. She originally wanted to take you back to school, but she didn't know where your dormitory was. In the end, I had no choice but to bring you to the hotel to rest for the night. Sister Shoyue, then what? Jiang Bai stared at Shin Shoyue nervously and pressed on, but the other person simply gave him a meaningful look. In an instant, Jiang Bai had a bad feeling. Originally, my sister wanted to take you to your room and leave, but who knew that you suddenly grabbed my hand and pulled me into your arms, hugging me and grabbing my sister's clothes behind me, asking me why I refused you. Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai hung his head in shame and said, I'm sorry, Shoyu, it's all my fault. Before he could finish, Shin Shoyu interrupted him, it's okay, stinky brother, I understand. Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai buried his head directly under the covers. Stinky brother, what's wrong? Nothing. It's okay, Shoyu, I want to be alone. At this moment, Jiang Bai even felt like dying. This is so damn embarrassing. In the 18 years since he was born, the most ridiculous thing he has encountered is today's scene of lying in bed with his sister's best friend. If he could do it all over again, he would rather be a stranger. How can he face his sister in the future? She must be regretting letting her best friend's brother sleep with her now. If his sister finds out that he slept with her best friend, she will come from the demon city to kill him. That image is terrifying just thinking about it. Chapter 2 Sister Shoyue, can you not tell my sister about this? After 10 minutes, Jiang Bai saw Shin Shoyue go to the bathroom to take a shower, and quickly picked up the clothes on the floor and put them on. Jiang Bai glanced carelessly, but his eyes happened to fall on the bright red stain on the bedsheet. In an instant, a flood of guilt welled up in his heart, as if it were going to drown him. Just then, Shin Shoyue finished showering and getting dressed, and slowly walked out of the bathroom. She exuded a fresh fragrance, with her wet hair casually draped over her shoulders, like a blooming narcissus flower, noble and elegant. Shin Shoyue was born with a good-looking face, with a peach-colored complexion, eyebrows like distant ink, eyes full of autumn water, and lips that did not need to be painted. She was wearing a long, snow-white dress, the hem of which fluttered gently in the wind, as if a fairy had descended to earth. What was even more eye-catching was the pair of long, straight, fair and smooth legs that were faintly visible beneath the dress, glistening dazzlingly in the sunlight, and making people unable to help but fall in love with them. Jiang Bai couldn't help but stare at her for a second. He had never imagined that after not seeing her for 2 years, she had become so beautiful. She slowly looked up when she noticed Jiang Bai's gaze, her beautiful eyes blinking lightly. Her eyes were as clear and moving as autumn water, and they momentarily met Jiang Bai's. Then Shin Shoyue's mouth lightly curled up, outlining a sweet smile like the blooming of a spring flower. Cough cough. Shocked, Jiang Bai quickly averted his gaze and pretended to look out the window. That, Shoyue, about this matter, can you not tell my sister? Ha! Upon hearing this, Shin Shoyue fixed her gaze on him, and said with a half-smile, what? Are you, stinking little brother, not going to take responsibility for your sister? Ah! As soon as these words came out, Jiang Bai almost choked on his own saliva, and it took him several seconds to make sure he hadn't heard wrong. Responsibility? What responsibility? Before Jiang Bai could react, Shin Shoyue lowered her head like a frightened deer, afraid to make eye contact with him. Her originally pale cheeks were flushed with a light blush, as attractive as a ripe apple. Her eyes were full of shyness, as if they would drip with tears at the slightest touch. Shin Shoyue bit her lips lightly and said softly, last night was truly an experience I've never had before. Before that, I've never even held the hand of another boy. When she said the last few words, her voice became lower and more subtle, almost inaudible, but the shyness contained within it became stronger and stronger. Ah, this. Jiang Bai was at a loss for words, and a feeling called guilt quietly sprouted deep within his heart. Damn it, what the fuck? No, that's not right. I think this is also the first time for me. After hesitating for a long time, Jiang Bai came back to his senses, nervously glanced at Shin Shoyue, and tentatively said, so, Shoyue, how do you want me to take responsibility? Well, let me think. Before Shin Shoyue could finish her sentence, a phone rang in the silent room. It was Jiang Bai's phone in his pocket. Jiang Bai didn't hesitate, took the phone directly out of his pocket, glanced at the caller ID, and then answered the phone. The phone call was from Jiang Bai's roommate. Hey, Bai, where have you been? You didn't come home all night. Okay, I got it. I'll be right back. Jiang Bai hung up the phone and looked up at Shin Shoyue, who was a little afraid to look her in the eye. Well, Shoyue, my roommate called and asked me to go back, so we can chat about it on Green Bubble. After saying this, Jiang Bai picked up his jacket on the bed and quickly fled the hotel at the speed of a single mother of 18 years. Shin Shoyue stood in the doorway, looking at Jiang Bai's fleeing back for a long time before she could come back to her senses. It wasn't until Jiang Bai's figure entered the elevator that she sighed and then slowly withdrew her gaze. Immediately afterwards, the corner of her mouth rose slightly, revealing an imperceptible smile. Humph, you little brother, don't even think about escaping from your sister's grasp. Jiang Bai, who had just left the hotel, was about to reach out to hail a cab to go to school when his phone rang again. Jiang Bai glanced at the screen and instantly became nervous. What should he do? Was it his sister's call? Should he answer it? Could it be that Xiaoyu had just told his sister about them? After hesitating for a moment, Jiang Bai still answered the phone. Hello, sister. Then Jiang Wanqing's voice came from the other end of the phone. Hello. What are you doing, little brother? Why did it take you so long to answer your sister's call? Are you feeling itchy? Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai couldn't help but twitch his mouth. Are you really my sister? Rascal, how can you say that? If I'm not your real sister, does that mean you were picked up from the trash can? Jiang Bai. Sis, is there something you want to tell me? Nothing, I'm just concerned about whether my little brother who is always getting into trouble is still alive. It's official. This is really my sister. However, when Jiang Bai heard Jiang Wanqing's words, his nervous heart immediately relaxed. Judging from the situation, Xiaoyu must not have told his sister, otherwise his sister would not be so calm. That was a close call. It was a false alarm. The two chatted for a while before hanging up. Jiang Bai looked up at the sky and sighed inwardly. God. Can't you be a little kinder to me? Why does such a dramatic thing happen to me, a good boy in the new era? On the way back to school, Jiang Bai opened Green Bubble and checked his messages. He found that Su Chanshan was still at the top of his list, and she hadn't sent him a single message since yesterday. But now Jiang Bai was relieved. Su Chanshan was in the past, and he should set his sights on the future. He couldn't hang himself on just one tree. Jiang Bai shook his head and laughed to himself, wondering what had come to mind. His eyes grew dull. 6 years. I have been by your side for a long time. Every morning, before the sun rises, I would get up early and leave the warm covers, just to be the first to buy you a steaming breakfast. I have never let up on this habit, no matter if it is a cold winter day or a sweltering summer day. I would walk through the quiet streets and enter that familiar little shop, carefully selecting your favorite food. Sometimes it's sweet and delicious buns and soy milk, and sometimes it's nutritious sandwiches and milk. When I think back to those days, every detail is still vivid in my mind. I would carefully hold my breakfast in my hands, afraid that it would get cold or taste bad. Then, I would come to you with a full heart, watching you enjoy the delicious and satisfied expression on your face. At that moment, all the hard work was worth it. However, when I look back on the past, a pang of sadness wells up in my heart. Have you really treasured every bit and piece of the past 6 years? Perhaps to you, these are just trivial matters, but they are everything I did with all my heart. It turns out that I was just being self-important. Chapter 3, This person does not exist. Jiang Bai looked out the window, but the beautiful face of Shin Shoyue kept flashing through his mind. So he quickly opened the Green Bubble search bar and directly searched for the 3 words Shin Shoyue. The result was empty. This person does not exist. What's going on? I clearly remember adding her Green Bubble before, right? Could it be that Sister Shoyue deleted herself? Although Jiang Bai was a little confused, he didn't think much about it. Never mind, whatever. Jiang Bai leaned back, rubbed his temples, and let out a deep sigh. Ugh, headache. As soon as he closed his eyes, he saw the image of Su Chanshan rejecting him yesterday afternoon, and the image of him breaking up with Shin Shoyue last night. So much had happened in just a few hours, and he felt like his brain wasn't enough to handle it. Just thinking about Shin Shoyue made Jiang Bai's head spin. She was his sister's best friend, how could he have done something like that? Jiang Bai was going to pretend to be ignorant and act like nothing had happened, but who knew that Xiaoyu would just come right out and say that he was responsible for it, completely breaking Jiang Bai's defenses. What did Xiaoyu mean by that? I hope Xiaoyu is just joking. In no time at all, Jiang Bai returned to the 606 male dormitory at Shanghai University. He opened the door to the dormitory without haste and walked in, only to find Lu Yu there alone. Jiang Bai greeted him and then went straight back to the chair and sat down. "What's going on? Brother Bai, didn't you go confess your love yesterday? Why didn't you come home all night? Could it be that you were with he? Lu Yu saw that Jiang Bai looked tired and was full of curiosity, so he asked. Jiang Bai glanced at Lu Yu and shrugged his shoulders with no emotion. "What are you thinking? How could that be? I failed to confess my love." Upon hearing this, Lu Yu smiled awkwardly and consoled him. "Brother Bai, don't be sad. There are so many beautiful girls at our school, you won't have trouble finding a girlfriend. Besides, with your looks, even if you don't go looking for a beautiful girl, I'm sure she'll come to you." Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai looked at him speechlessly and pouted. "No, big brother, which eye of yours saw me sad?" Lu Yu laughed, without saying a word. The next second, Lu Yu seemed to have thought of something and asked, "No, Bai Gu, since your confession failed, why didn't you come back last night?" Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai touched his nose and explained, "I went to a bar alone last night and had a drink. It was a bit late after I finished drinking, so I just went outside and found a room to sleep." Lu Yu stared at Jiang Bai with a puzzled expression, obviously not believing Jiang Bai's nonsense. Just as Lu Yu was about to ask him to the bottom, Jiang Bai hurriedly stood up and went into the bathroom with a change of clothes. Jiang Bai quickly took off his clothes, turned on the cold shower and let the water fall directly on his body. When he looked up at the mirror, he could faintly see Jiang Bai's clearly visible six-pack abs. Jiang Bai and Su Chanqian had been in the same class since junior high school, and they were even deskmates. They could always be seen together in class, after class, and at lunch. At that time, everyone thought that the two would definitely get together in the future, and Jiang Bai was no exception. He had liked Su Chanqian for 6 years. It wasn't a long time, but it wasn't a short time either. But those were the most precious 6 years of Jiang Bai's life. Jiang Bai clearly felt that Su Chanqian had feelings for him, but he kept pretending not to know anything. His attitude towards him was neither that of a boyfriend nor that of an ordinary friend. It was just kind of ambiguous and vague. He originally thought that since he had spent 6 years with Su Chanqian, she would accept him when he confessed his feelings for her after they went to university. But reality taught him a harsh lesson. It had been one-sided from the start, and after 6 years of companionship, she pushed him away with the words, "Jiang Bai, you're very nice, but you're not my type." Jiang Bai looked at the disheveled self in the mirror, pursed his lips, and laughed self-deprecatingly. "I'm not the kind of brainless lovehead, it's all over." Jiang Bai, who had just come out of the bathroom, told Lu Yu to call him during the afternoon class and then returned to bed, where he started to sleep soundly. On the other side, Shin Shouyue returned to the female dormitory of Shanghai University after leaving the hotel. At this time, Shin Shouyue was sitting alone in a chair, staring blankly at the computer, with images of him and Jiang Bai from last night playing in her mind. "Ha ha ha, I can't believe that brat was so good the first time." Shin Shouyue muttered to herself, and as she thought about it, a blush spread across her face. Shin Shouyue had liked Jiang Bai for a long time. When she and Jiang Wanqing went to her house in high school, she felt that this boy had a unique temperament the first time she saw him. So, while Jiang Wanqing was in the bathroom, Shin Shouyue, in a moment of heat, looked directly into Jiang Bai's eyes and then curved her lips. "Hey, stinky brother, come and call me sister and let's hear you say it." Jiang Bai. What she got in return was Jiang Bai's puzzled look as if he were looking at an idiot. Shin Shouyue, embarrassed, touched her nose and then nonchalantly stood up and wandered around. "Humph, as long as I'm not embarrassed, it's someone else who is." But sometimes when Shin Shouyue thinks about that embarrassing scene, she can't help but wonder if she really is sick. However, after that, Shin Shouyue would always think of Jiang Bai without meaning to. She originally thought that it might be caused by too much pressure from her studies, but who knew that later she slowly discovered that something was wrong with her, and there was always a feeling in her heart that she particularly wanted to see Jiang Bai. It wasn't until she went to university that Shin Shouyue slowly understood that her situation was like being in love with someone. When Shin Shouyue learned from Jiang Wanqing that Jiang Bai was going to attend Shanghai University, she was overjoyed. She finally saw Jiang Bai's familiar face at school, but it turned out to be a scene of his failed confession. So Shin Shouyue followed Jiang Bai to the bar. She didn't dare to go near him, so she just watched him from afar until he got drunk. Shin Shouyue then slowly got up and went over to him. Unexpectedly, just after reuniting with her smelly little brother, she had mindlessly given him her first time without reservation. "Ha ha, but I like it." Just as Shin Shouyue was daydreaming, the bedroom door opened and Shin Shouyue's 3 roommates walked in from the outside. Xiao Yanqin saw Shin Xiaoyue come back and immediately smiled and came up to her. Hey, Shin Beauty, you're finally back. Shocked, Shin Xiaoyue turned to look at her and patted her young heart. Stinky Yanqin, you didn't say a word when you came back, you scared me to death. Hey, Xiaoyue, fess up, which man were you fooling around with last night when you didn't come home? Xiao Yanqin's eyes were fixed on Shin Xiaoyue as she asked. Hearing this, Shin Xiaoyue was speechless. What are you talking nonsense about? You know me, am I that kind of person? Xiao Yanqin thought for a moment. That's right, there are so many people chasing after you. If you want to find a man, I'm afraid you would already be a big slut by now. Shin Xiaoyue. Chapter 4 First Dinner Gathering. In the afternoon, Jiang Bai was woken up by Lu Yu and immediately came to the classroom. Today, he went to the classroom not to attend class, but to receive some basic information about military training the day after tomorrow from the counselor. Finance Department, Financial Management Class 1. Everyone in Jiang Bai's dormitory is in this major. In a moment, a young face walked in through the classroom door and stood at the podium. Hello, everyone. I am your counselor for the next 4 years. My name is Li Yang. I know that this is the first time you have all been to university, and you are also the second group of students I will be teaching. Lu Yu, who was standing nearby, heard what the counselor said and said to Jiang Bai, nonsense. This is not the first time we have been to university. Jiang Bai smiled and didn't say anything. An hour later, it was finally over. Lu Yu rushed over to Jiang Bai, Wang Hu and Zixuan and said, guys, it's still early, why don't we meet up at the basketball court? Wang Hu, okay, no problem. Lin Zixuan supported his own dimples and showed his white teeth, of course. Then Lu Yu and the other two looked at Jiang Bai, who was not speaking, and said, Brother Bai, what do you think? Are you going or not? Jiang Bai shook his head without thinking and refused. You guys go. I'm not going. I'm a bit sleepy and I need to go back and get some sleep. Lu Yu and the other two looked at each other and nodded. On the way back to the dormitory, Jiang Bai happened to pass by the supermarket, and coincidentally, he ran into Su Chanshan head-on. Seeing this, Jiang Bai was about to leave by the side without even looking at Su Chanshan, but just then, Su Chanshan spoke, Jiang Bai, why are you pretending not to see me? Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai didn't even turn around, but said lightly, oh, I didn't notice. After saying this, Jiang Bai left quickly and directly, not noticing at all what Su Chanshan said behind him. Su Chanshan looked at Jiang Bai, who was different from before, and stamped her foot in anger. After Jiang Bai returned to the dormitory, he directly turned on the computer and started playing LOL. Jiang Bai played a few games, put down the mouse, and took a drink. Just then, his phone on the table rang. Jiang Bai slowly reached out, picked up the phone, his gaze fixed on the screen, and his finger lightly tapped the unlock button. The phone lit up instantly. Then, he skillfully swiped the screen to open the green bubble. After clicking in, Jiang Bai's eyes naturally fell on the list of friend requests. Suddenly, a particular nickname caught his attention, Sailor Moon. The name made him feel a little curious, but more confused and puzzled. He stared at the cute avatar, trying to read something from the blurry picture. However, apart from the fact that it seemed to be a girl, everything else looked so mysterious. Jiang Bai's brows furrowed slightly, and he thought to himself, who on earth is this Sailor Moon? Why did she add me as a friend? On the other side of the room, in the girl's apartment, Shin Xiaoyue was intently staring at the screen of her phone, as if anxiously waiting for some news or response. Her fingers tapped the edge of the phone from time to time, her eyes full of expectation and confusion. What on earth is going on? Shin Xiaoyue muttered to herself, secretly wondering, why hasn't this stinking younger brother agreed to my friend request yet? Could it be that he hasn't seen it? Or is he too busy with other things to bother with it? Just as Shin Xiaoyue was full of doubts, Xiao Yanqin patted her on the shoulder. Xiaoyue, what are you doing? Shin Xiaoyue, who had come back to her senses, smiled, nothing, just thinking. Oh. Xiao Yanqin, let's go eat. Okay. Jiang Bai thought for a long time and didn't know who added him, so he turned off his phone and threw it aside to continue playing LOL. After a while, Lu Yu and the other two returned to the dormitory. On the way back, Lu Yu had already told Wang Hu and Lin Zixuan about Jiang Bai's rejection. The two men tactfully did not mention it when they returned to the dormitory. As soon as Lin Zixuan returned to the dormitory, he leaned over to the computer and couldn't wait to click on the live broadcast of a beautiful woman. Don't look at Lin Zixuan's gentle appearance, he is indeed a sultry man. In contrast, Wang Hu, don't look at him with a fierce appearance, is actually a muscular man with a fierce appearance, especially when he speaks with a strong accent from the northeast. After a while, Liu came out of the bathroom after taking a shower and looked at the three people in the dormitory and suggested, "By the way, guys, military training starts tomorrow, so why don't we go out tonight for some barbecue and beer? What do you think?" Wang Hu was the first to agree. "Okay, it's not like I'm bragging, but I've never been afraid of anyone when I've been drinking in our hometown." Lin Zixuan hurriedly retorted as soon as he heard this, exiting the live broadcast room of the beautiful girl. "Okay, Northeastern cat, just stop bragging. I'm introducing myself. I'm Lin Zixuan, nicknamed the Little Northwest Wine God. When it comes to drinking rounds, I've never been drunk, not that I'm bragging." Upon hearing this, Wang Hu laughed and rolled directly on the bed. "Ha ha ha. Four Eyes, you're killing me. Ha 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 ha." Lin Zixuan glanced at him with his melancholy little eyes. Believe it or not, we'll see who the hero and who the zero is in the arena of alcohol later." Then, the three of them unanimously looked at Zhang Bai on the side. "Brother Bai, what do you say? Shall we have a drink together?" "Yes, Brother Bai, this is the first time our dorm has had a get-together." "Handsome Jiang, have a drink with your sisters." Lin Zixuan made a seductive gesture with his mouth. The scene was so beautiful that it was almost unbearable to watch. Wang Hu, ugh. Four Eyes, will you stop being so disgusting? Zhang Bai glanced at him and his eyes almost popped out of his head. He quickly agreed, okay, don't disgust me anymore, I didn't say I wasn't going. Brothers, let's go to the night market for some barbecue and a beer. Zhang Bai is not a nerd. In high school, except for following Su Chanqian around like a dog, he would hang out with his high school buddies in the karaoke bar whenever he had time. The four of them smiled. "Then it's a happy decision, brothers, let's sprint towards the night market." Chapter 5. You stinky little brother, why aren't you back in the dorm? Do you want your sister to kiss you? Night falls, the lights come on, and the bustling and lively surroundings of the campus of Shanghai University are gradually enveloped in a brilliant glow. At this moment, the originally quiet streets have suddenly become a bustling night market full of people. Zhang Bai and his three friends go to a barbecue restaurant that has received excellent reviews in the neighborhood. The four of them casually find a seat outside. Today was the first time the four of them had gathered for a meal since they had all started university, so everyone was feeling very excited. Soon after, the waiter came over, and the four of them started ordering from the menu. While they were doing so, Zhang Bai's phone rang in his pocket. Ding! He took it out of his pocket, and it was the friend request from this afternoon with the nickname Sailor Moon. Zhang Bai glanced at it, and he still couldn't figure out who this Sailor Moon was. Could it be Chiu Yu? Zhang Bai thought about it and felt that it was a bit unlikely. After all, how could a beautiful woman like Sister Chiu Yu use such a nickname and such a cute avatar? Hey, Brother Bai, what are you doing? What else do you want to eat? Just as Zhang Bai was thinking, Lu Yu next to him handed over the menu and asked. On hearing this, Zhang Bai put down his phone. No, you can order for me, I'm fine with whatever you order. Okay, waiter, that's all. Oh, and bring us 2 bottles of white wine and 2 cases of beer. Lu Yu gave the waiter some instructions and handed him the menu. After waiting for a long time for the food to arrive, Lin Zixuan couldn't wait any longer and opened a bottle of white wine and 4 beers. Guys, why don't we each have a beer to get the party started? No problem. Come on, guys, cheers, and let's hope we can all find our own love in college. Absolutely. Ah, that's great. Lin Zixuan and Wang Hu finished the bottle of beer in seconds, and then proceeded to drink the rest of the beer from the bottle. I didn't realize that these two could drink so much. 2 hours later. Brother Hu, I'm in your debt, please accept my humble respects. Hey, Bear Zixuan, now you know who the hero is and who the bear is, right? Of course I'm the hero and Zixuan is the bear. Brother Tiger, today I was outmatched, and I am willing to admit defeat. Wang Hu is worthy of being from the northeast. He can hold his alcohol, and after 2 bottles of baijiu and 2 cases of beer, he still looks sober. In contrast, Lin Zixuan, who had previously mocked Wang Hu, is already red in the face and his speech is slurring. Zhang Bai had also drunk quite a lot. Originally, his alcohol tolerance was only so-so, and he couldn't drink too much, but fortunately, he could still tell which way was north, south, east, and west. Lu Yu staggered to his feet, still holding a beer bottle in his arms. Come on, guys, let me show you a little whirlwind. After saying that, Lu Yu picked up a bottle of beer and shook it a few times directly, and then gulped it down. Before anyone could react, he had already finished the beer and started to vomit. Jiang Bai sensed an air of danger and took a step back. Sure enough, the next second, Liu vomited directly in front of Wang Hu and Lin Zixuan, which was really disgusting. Damn it, Lu Yu, you almost vomited on your master Zixuan. Seeing this, Wang Hu quickly called the waiter to clean it up. Jiang Bai shook his head, supported his dizzy head and walked towards the cashier's desk. Well, I'll go pay first, wait a minute. It was clearly only a few meters away, but Jiang Bai felt like he had walked tens of meters. Although his mind was still clear, he staggered as he walked. Jiang Bai went to the cashier's desk, didn't even look at the bill, and paid by scanning the QR code. He glanced over and noticed that the cashier was blushing and staring at him. Sigh. I'm so damn handsome. After paying the bill, instead of taking a taxi, the group of four swayed drunkenly in the direction of the school, arm in arm, supporting each other. Among the four, only Wang Hu was relatively sober, while the other three were drunk without exception. In particular, Lin Zixuan, the sullen guy, kept staring at the beautiful women passing by from time to time. I thought that would be the end of it, but this idiot even whistled at the beautiful women. Hey beautiful, you're so pretty, come be friends with me. As soon as he said this, the beautiful women instantly felt disgusted. One of them was about to take out her phone and call the police, but fortunately, Wang Hu quickly stopped her with a quick action. Sorry, ladies, he's drunk, sorry. Otherwise, Lin Zixuan, this sultry guy, would definitely be going to the police station. Lu Yu, brother Bai, if you ask me, that So Chanshan person is blind. She is so beautiful, and she rejected you, which means she is a pure idiot. Lin Zixuan, exactly, with our handsome and charming brother Bai, which girl wouldn't fall in love with him? If I were a girl, I would definitely marry brother Bai. Jiang Bai, go away, you disgust me, I don't want offense. It was supposed to be a 10-minute walk, but it took almost an hour for the group to reach the school gate. As soon as they entered the school, Jiang Bai felt the urge to urinate. Well, brother Hu, I'm going to the bathroom, you guys wait for me here. Wang Hu nodded, holding Lin Zixuan's right hand with his left hand and Lu Yu's right hand with his left hand. Fortunately, Wang Hu usually exercises a lot and is tall, so it was easy for him to support the two of them. Who knew that the next second, Lin Zixuan ran to the lawn on the side in great discomfort and fell 3,000 feet straight up. Lu Yu stumbled over to a corner and started boiling water and releasing it directly. Wang Hu was speechless at the actions of the two. Fortunately, there weren't many people on campus at the time, otherwise the two would definitely have been filmed and the video uploaded to the school forum. Seeing that the two were almost done, Wang Hu helped them stagger towards the dormitory. He didn't notice at all that Jiang Bai had gone to the bathroom and hadn't returned yet. When Jiang Bai returned from the bathroom, he found that the three had already left. Jiang Bai, who had nothing to live for, had to stagger alone towards the dormitory. At this time, Xin Shouyue had just finished rehearsing for the new student party. As she passed by the boys' dormitory, she looked up and saw Jiang Bai walking towards her from afar. Ha! Where is my smelly little brother going again? Why is he staggering? Xin Shouyue was wondering, when Jiang Bai ran straight into her arms. Oh, sorry, are you okay? Jiang Bai realized that he had bumped into someone and quickly apologized. When he looked up, he was instantly dumbfounded. Oh my, it's sister. Xiao Yue. Why is she here? Xin Shouyue looked at Jiang Bai, whose face was flushed, and sniffed, catching a whiff of alcohol. She frowned and asked softly, huh? Stinking brother, you went drinking alone again? Hearing this, Jiang Bai's eyes became a little hazy. He looked up at Xin Shouyue and gave a silly laugh. Then he held out a hand and rubbed his hair, as if trying to clear his head. However, this did not help, the alcohol had completely taken over his body and brain. He staggered to his feet and walked unsteadily to Xin Shouyue. Xin Shouyue looked at him worriedly, afraid that he would fall. She reached out and hurriedly helped Jiang Bai. No, I had a drink with my roommate at a dinner party. Jiang Bai stuttered, and I'm not drunk. Not drunk yet, can't even speak clearly, not drunk yet? Oh, right, Xiaoyu, what are you doing here? Upon hearing this, Xin Xiaoyu thought again about Jiang Bai not approving her friend request, so she suddenly had the idea to tease him. Hey, what do you say? Stinky brother, sister is waiting for you? Ha? Waiting for me, what for? Jiang Bai asked, puzzled. Xin Xiao curved her lips and said softly, what do you think? Aren't you going to take responsibility for your sister? Upon hearing these words, a cold wind blew, and Jiang Bai suddenly became much more sober. Ha! Sister Chiu Yu. I. Shin Xiu Yu looked at Jiang Bai in front of her, who was unable to even speak, and felt a burst of amusement. She covered her mouth and laughed, saying, "Okay, stupid brother, I'm not teasing you anymore. Give me your phone." Ha! Although Jiang Bai was puzzled, he obediently handed her his phone. What's the password? 6 sixes. Shin Xiu Yue used her snow-white fingers to unlock the phone, then opened the green bubble, approved her friend request, and then returned the phone to him. Here you go, remember not to ignore your sister's messages. Jiang Bai, who had just taken back the phone, glanced at the avatar and nickname at the top of the green bubble, and his eyes widened. Holy cow! The beautiful girl warrior who added herself as a friend before was actually Sister Chiu Yue. Sister Chiu Yue, beautiful girl warrior, yes, yes. Jiang Bai's words were interrupted by Shin Xiu Yue. She saw her beautiful and charming face close to Jiang Bai's, her warm breath brushing past his ear, and she whispered softly, "Stupid brother, why aren't you going back to the dormitory? Do you want your sister to kiss you?" This sentence seemed to be an electric current that penetrated Jiang Bai's body, causing his heartbeat to suddenly accelerate. Jiang Bai felt a wave of heat spreading from his ears and quickly spreading throughout his body. He had never imagined that Shin Xiu Yue, who had always been aloof, would say such a thing, and he was at a loss for a moment. At this moment, Shin Xiu Yue's eyes revealed a hint of teasing and flirtatiousness, as if waiting for Jiang Bai's reaction. Facing such close contact and ambiguous words, Jiang Bai's face turned red, and he was so nervous that his breathing became a little rapid. He tried hard to suppress the panic in his heart and stuttered, Xiu Yue Jie. Sister, I'll go back right away. After saying this, he hurriedly fled the scene like a frightened rabbit, leaving Shin Xiu Yu standing alone with a faint smile on the corner of her mouth. Chapter 6 Military Training. The next day. Jiang Bai and the others received a message in the group chat in the afternoon and went to collect their military training uniforms. Ding! As soon as they returned to the dormitory, Jiang Bai's phone rang. He took it out and saw that it was a message from Shin Xiu Yue. Sailor Moon, stinky little brother, what are you doing? Have you been thinking about your sister? Naughty. Jiang Bai couldn't help but twitch at the corner of his mouth when he saw the message. Why does this Sister Chiu Yue always tease me? The most deeply feeling person in the capital, I just picked up my military uniform, what's up? Sailor Moon, nothing, I just miss my stinky little brother, blushes. Jiang Bai. Jiang Bai didn't reply, not because he didn't want to, but because he simply didn't know how to reply. Ever since the unspeakable thing that happened between him and Shin Xiu Yue, he had been filled with guilt and didn't know how to face Shin Xiu Yue. Come on, brother Bai, log in, I'll take you on a ride. Lin Zixuan shouted. Jiang Bai looked at Lin Zixuan wordlessly, sat down in his chair, turned on his computer, and directly opened an LOL account. At ease. Attention. With the instructor's stern command, everyone quickly adjusted their posture and stood in neat rows. Then the instructor said coldly, stand in military position for 1 hour. If anyone dares to move or slack off and I find out, you will be punished by an additional 20 minutes. This sentence exploded like thunder in the crowd, and a look of pain and helplessness instantly appeared on everyone's face. You have to understand that standing in the unbearable heat under the sun for an entire hour is torture enough, and if you are punished twice for a small mistake, it is a nightmare. Everyone secretly complained, but they didn't dare to utter a word of complaint or resist. They could only silently endure the scorching sun and grit their teeth to persevere. Every minute and every second seemed extraordinarily long, and the sweat ran down their foreheads and soaked their clothes. However, no one dared to reach out to wipe it off, for fear of attracting the attention of the instructor and suffering heavier punishment. As the minutes passed, the sun grew stronger and stronger. In contrast, of the four Jiang Bai, Wang Hu, and Lu Yu, who kept looking at the girls, but Lin Zixuan's eyes were opening and closing, and he was falling asleep. Yesterday, they played games until 1 a.m., slept for 5 hours, and then gathered in the playground. Lin Zixuan, the sultry guy, didn't sleep all night, and after playing games, he kept watching live broadcasts of beautiful women. The instructor strode slowly through the neat ranks with a steady and determined pace. His sharp eyes, like those of an eagle, seemed to be able to see everything, and he stared intently at everyone. Suddenly, the instructor frowned. Ha! Can you fall asleep standing up? What talent! Lin Zixuan had already closed his eyes and fallen asleep, and just happened to be dreaming of rolling in the sheets with his goddess. Just when it was at the most critical moment, the instructor's voice instantly pulled Lin Zixuan back to reality. My student, you slept quite soundly, didn't you? At this moment, the instructor had already come to Lin Zixuan's front, and the people next to him, Wang Hu, were all trying hard to hold back their laughter. Four Eyes, it's not that I'm not a brother and I'm not going to help you, but the instructor is here and there's no time. Lin Zixuan woke up instantly when he heard the voice, and his gaze instantly met the instructor's serious square face. Instructor. What's going on? Am I not rolling in the sheets with my goddess right now? Why am I in the military training on the playground? Could it be that this is a dream? Lin Zixuan muttered to himself, but even so, his words clearly reached the instructor's ears. Jiang Bai and Wang Hu, who were closest to him, also heard this astonishing remark. Ha 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 ha. Four Eyes, you're fucking laughing your ass off. Ha 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 ha. Wang Hu couldn't help but burst out laughing. But the instructor didn't laugh. This meant that the consequences would be very serious. The instructor was silent for a long time, glanced at Wang Hu, and Wang Hu immediately stopped laughing. But then the instructor laughed. My dear student, is there something so funny? Keep laughing? Keep laughing? Why have you stopped laughing? You will add 20 minutes to your military stance. Jiang Bai, who was standing nearby, heard this and said thankfully, Phew, I'm glad I held back, or else I would be in trouble. After finishing, the instructor looked at Lin Zixuan and said, As for you, you still don't seem to have woken up, so this is what you will do. Instructor, you're going to hear my excuses. You're going to hear my explanations. Ha? 5 more laps. Yes, instructor. Lin Zixuan turned around with a bitter face and unwillingly started running around the playground. Jiang Bai and the other two silently said to Lin Zixuan in their hearts, Come on. The rest of the people, except for the one who had been standing in military position for an additional 20 minutes, all rested in place for half an hour. As soon as this was said, everyone suddenly collapsed and sat down on the lawn. Ah. I'm exhausted. Just then, Liu pointed at the girl not far away and said, Brother Bai, look, those girls are not bad looking. Jiang Bai glanced at her and said, Not interested. Liu helplessly shrugged his shoulders and said, Oh. After a while, Lin Zixuan finally finished running 15 laps. He felt like his whole body was about to fall apart. Sure enough, staying up all night, standing at attention for an hour, and running 15 laps is too much to bear. Are you okay? Jiang Bai asked Lin Zixuan, who was lying next to him, panting heavily. Lin Zixuan, who had heard this, looked up with a bewildered expression on his face, looking at Jiang Bai with an expression of resignation. That expression was like saying, Do you see how out of breath I am and look like I'm okay? Just as everyone was sitting or lying down, taking a moment to rest, a beautiful figure like a scroll painting appeared without warning in the open playground. What was even more eye-catching was that she was holding a cup of milk tea in her delicate hands, which contrasted sharply with her fresh and refined temperament, but it seemed so harmonious and natural. This stunning figure instantly captured everyone's attention, making people unable to take their eyes off her. Yes, that stunning figure was Xin Shouyue. Today, Xin Shouyue wore a white cap on her head, attracting attention like an elegant white swan. Her fresh and refined white dress was like a blooming lily, exuding a faint fragrance. The breeze blew, and the hem of her dress swayed lightly, as if dancing an elegant dance. At the moment, Xin Shouyue was walking with light steps, as if strolling on the clouds, towards the front, with an extraordinary temperament in every step. Since the playground was full of new students, not many people knew Xin Shouyue, the cold and aloof beauty queen of Shanghai University. However, a few sharp-eyed people recognized Xin Shouyue, even though she was wearing a cap. Hey, she looks familiar. Oh, yes, I remember now, this is Xin Shouyue, the cold and aloof beauty queen of our university. I never thought that I would be able to catch a glimpse of the beauty queen so soon after starting school. Holy shit, this girl is so damn pretty, she looks like a fairy who just stepped out of a painting. Seeing this, Luyu's eyes nearly popped out of his head and he couldn't help but swallow. Where, let me take a look. As soon as he heard there was a girl, Lin Zixuan, who was still panting, had already become full of energy. Jiang Bai heard the sound and followed the gaze of the two men. This glance did not matter, it directly shocked Jiang Bai. Damn, isn't this Sister Chiuyu? What is she doing here at the military training for new students? Could it be that she is here for me? Chapter 7 Xiao Bai Bai, are you tired from military training? Just as Jiang Bai was in a daze, Xin Shouyue had already come to Jiang Bai's front and stopped. Then Xin Shouyue crouched down, blinked her charming peach eyes, and the corner of her mouth rose slightly. Hey, Xiaobai, are you tired from military training? Jiang Bai, who had heard the voice, instantly came back to his senses. His eyes stared incredulously at Xin Shouyue in front of him, and he was so stunned that he couldn't say a word for a long time. It's over. It's official. Sister Choyue really came to find me. Lu Yu and the other two guys on the side, seeing that the girl came to find Jiang Bai, were all dumbfounded and shocked and couldn't speak. Especially when they heard the girl call Jiang Bai Little Bai Bai. Lin Zixuan and the others were shocked and couldn't say a word. Damn, these two are definitely up to something. Little Bai Bai, you must be thirsty after all that hard training. Here, drink the milk tea that your sister bought you. Xin Xiaoyue took out a straw and inserted it into the milk tea, sending it directly to Jiang Bai's face. Hearing this, Jiang Bai was a bit speechless. His sister Choyue had sent him milk tea in front of so many people, which really left him a bit at a loss. It's hard to deal with. Xin Xiaoyue looked at Jiang Bai in front of her, and saw that his gaze was dull, as if he hadn't heard a word she said. She couldn't help but feel a little strange, and muttered to herself, "Stupid brother, what's wrong? Did I scare him?" With a heart full of doubts, Xin Xiaoyue gently reached out her hand and carefully pinched Jiang Bai's cheek. The moment her fingers touched Jiang Bai's skin, an unusual feeling welled up in her heart. Jiang Bai's face was soft and warm, as if she could feel the blood flowing beneath his skin. Xin Xiaoyue couldn't help but feel her heart racing, and a barely perceptible blush spread across her face. Seeing this, Jiang Bai subconsciously moved back a bit and quickly took the milk tea. Sister Xiaoyue, thank you. Upon hearing this, Xin Xiaoyue gave a sweet smile. You're welcome. Then I'll be going first. Oh, yes, you stinky little brother, you're the only one who can drink this milk tea. Xin Xiaoyue turned lightly around, her beautiful eyes gazing at Jiang Bai behind her, her mouth slightly raised, revealing a playful yet charming smile. This smile directly made Lin Zixuan and the other two beside her look dumbfounded, not even noticing the saliva dripping unconsciously from the corners of their mouths. Jiang Bai kept staring until Xin Xiaoyue's figure disappeared on the playground, and his tensed heart finally relaxed. Phew! You scared the hell out of me. What the hell was Autumn Moon up to? If I had known, I would have not drunk so much that day. Drinking is a mistake. After Autumn Moon left, Lin Zixuan and his friends wiped the drool from the corners of their mouths and focused their attention on Jiang Bai, who was drinking milk tea. Not to mention, Brother Bai, you're awesome. Such a pretty girl is giving you milk tea, so be honest and tell us what your relationship is. Lin Zixuan was the first to speak and couldn't wait to ask. Yes. Brother Bai, I heard someone call you Xiao Bai. Bai, you can't just find any excuse to fool around with your brothers. Lu Yu stared at Jiang Bai's milk tea with envy as he spoke. You guys, with my handsome face and perfect biceps, how come no girl has ever brought me milk tea? Wang Hu showed off his biceps and said with a bitter expression. Jiang Bai was speechless when he heard what the sons of bitches said. You think I want to? It's not like I'm being forced. Besides, he doesn't usually like milk tea, but when he thought about Xin Xiaoyue saying that milk tea could only be drunk by him, he had no choice but to drink it alone. As for the envious looks of the three sons of dogs, Jiang Bai simply chose to ignore them. Can you guys stop being so nosy? She is my sister's best friend, not what you think, Jiang Bai explained helplessly. However, Lin Zixuan didn't seem to believe Jiang Bai's explanation. He frowned and asked, Really? But why do I feel that things are not that simple? Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai shrugged helplessly. Anyway, what I said is true, just think whatever you want. The scene of Xin Xiaoyue just now giving Jiang Bai milk tea was also seen by Su Qianqian, who was not far away and was taking a break. Who is that girl? Why did she give Jiang Bai milk tea? Could it be that the two of them are together? Su Qianqian didn't know what was wrong at this time, and there was always an indescribable feeling in her heart. Anyway, it was that kind of uncomfortable feeling. Rest time is up, everyone stand up. Assemble. The head instructor blew the whistle and shouted. Everyone immediately returned to their respective class formation when they heard the sound. Jiang Bai just returned to the ranks, and as soon as he looked up, he saw Su Qianqian, who was standing in the first row of the opposing team, staring at him. Jiang Bai simply glanced at her and then looked away, as if he hadn't seen her. Su Qianqian couldn't help but feel a sense of loss and annoyance. Then the military training started again at the command of the instructor. For the rest of the afternoon, everyone was either standing at attention or marching in place, all suffering under the scorching sun. As it was approaching lunchtime, the instructor dismissed everyone, telling them to go and eat first, and then gather in the playground in the evening. In the evening, all the military training teams in the playground were performing shows. At this time, Jiang Bai was bored and was resting his chin as he watched the performances. Lin Zixuan, the sullen guy, had run over to the next team to watch the girls dance from the beginning. After a few girls from the class finished singing, the instructor said, "Ahem, does anyone else want to volunteer to perform for everyone?" As soon as the words fell, Lu Yu and Wang Hu exchanged glances and grinned evilly, before shouting, "Instructor, Jiang Bai said he has a performance to give." Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai looked at the two of them with a dumbfounded expression. "When did I say that?" "Very well, then please ask Jiang Bai to come up and perform." Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai, despite his reluctance, had no choice but to go on stage. It was all his own fault for having those two unworthy sons. Jiang Bai stood up, gave the two people a resentful glare in the eyes, and then walked up. Jiang Bai stood in the center, seeing the people around him watching him, nervously took a breath, and then curved his lips. "Hello everyone. I don't know any other talent performances, so I'll just sing a song for you. This boy is so handsome. He's literally my ideal type." "You're right, he is really handsome, I just don't know if he has a girlfriend." The women around him chattered. Jiang Bai was born with a good appearance, with a pair of bushy eyebrows and starry eyes, a face like a crown of jade, and a smile that seemed like the warmest sunshine in spring. "But I only know a few songs, so if anyone here knows If Love Forgets, we can sing it together." As soon as Jiang Bai said this, the girls around him suddenly became enthusiastic. "I can sing, handsome guy, choose me." "Go away, don't even look at you, what a crooked face, no one will choose you." "Ha? Bitch, what did you say? I'll rip your mouth apart." Suddenly, the two girls started arguing, almost fighting, but fortunately they were stopped in time by the instructor, otherwise there would have been a bloodbath. Just then, a sweet voice rang out, "I'll sing with you." Jiang Bai looked in the direction of the voice, and there was Shin Shouyue. Without waiting for Jiang Bai to speak, Shin Shouyue walked over to Jiang Bai with light steps. "Sister Shouyue, why are you here?" Jiang Bai couldn't help but ask. Upon hearing this, Shin Shouyue raised an eyebrow. "Why? Can I come, sister?" "No. That's not it." "Then let's get started." Okay." Then Shin Shouyue pursed her lips and gave Jiang Bai a smile. There are always things that you can't say in time. Jiang Bai, who was standing next to her, couldn't help but sigh inwardly when he heard Shin Shouyue's sweet singing voice. "I never thought that Shouyue would sing so well. There is only one person in my heart." I remember those lines, those silly tears falling. And then the two of them sang in unison. "Just one sentence left, are you okay now?" The song ended. Jiang Bai walked back down to the lawn, but who knew that Shin Shouyue followed closely behind and sat down next to Jiang Bai. Seeing this, Jiang Bai couldn't help but ask, "Sister Shouyue, do you still have something to do?" "No, what's wrong?" "Oh. Little Bai, I never thought you could sing so well." Shin Shouyue leaned close to Jiang Bai's ear and whispered softly, exhaling a hot breath. Her orchid-like, musky breath was blown all over Jiang Bai's neck, making him itch a little, his heartbeat quickening, and his face unconsciously turning red. Jiang Bai carefully moved to the side a little, unaware that his little action had long been in Shin Shouyue's sights. So, he moved a little, and Shin Shouyue moved a little, and this divine operation made Lu Yu and Wang Hu, who were watching the show from the side, look stunned. Chapter 8 Sister Shouyue, are you pregnant? Girls' dormitory. Shin Shouyue returned to the dormitory, and the thought of what had happened with Jiang Bai over the past 2 days made her feel shy, and her heart even beat a little faster. And in front of so many people, she had given Jiang Bai milk tea and sung songs with him. It would be false for her to say that she wasn't nervous, but the thought that it was someone she liked made her heart very excited. "Humph, you little brother, sooner or later, I'll get you." Shin Shouyue snorted, then prepared to open her phone to send Jiang Bai a message. Just then, several figures hurriedly opened the dormitory door and rushed in. Before anyone could be seen, their voices reached the dormitory. "Ah, Shouyue, something big has happened." Xiao Yinxin rushed in anxiously. Behind her were Shin Shouyue's two roommates, also rushing in, their faces full of curiosity. "I don't mean to pry, but what's going on? Why are you all so flustered?" Shin Shouyue leaned back in her chair and leisurely munched on some potato chips. "Shouyue, don't say anything yet. Let me ask you, did you go to the military training field this morning?" Xiao Yinxin asked breathlessly, taking a sip of water. Yes, I did. Why? Is there a problem? Shin Shoyue nodded without a second thought. Her calmness made Xiao Yanxin and the other two roommates go crazy. Su Wanting also anxiously said from the side, so it was you who just sang with the freshmen on the playground? Under the unblinking gaze of the three, Shin Shoyue nodded and said Upon hearing this, Xiao Yanxin immediately asked with excitement and enthusiasm, my goodness, so the posts on the school's bulletin board are all true? You really gave the freshmen milk tea and sang together? Who is Shin Shoyue? She is the most beautiful goddess of the Shanghai University campus, and since the beginning of her freshman year, countless boys have been crazily pursuing her. There are countless second-generation rich kids, second-generation officials, and academic top students, and it is no exaggeration to say that the line of people chasing her could stretch from Shanghai to France. What is most unexpected is that Shin Shoyue has never even glanced at any of these people, which is why she is called the cold goddess of the campus. The result? Today, this cold and aloof school beauty goddess actually took the initiative to give a freshman milk tea and even sang together with him. This is unbelievable. I never thought that our Shin University's most beautiful girl would one day take the initiative to give milk tea to a guy. Come on, what exactly is your relationship with that little junior? Her roommate Meng Jiaojia couldn't help but tease. Yes. Shoyu, come on, tell us. What exactly is your relationship with that little junior? Could it be that you two have been in cahoots for a long time? Su Wanting asked anxiously. Xiao Yanxin, come on, Shoyu, what does that boy look like? Is he handsome? Shoyu, why don't you reveal your true form? At this moment, Shin Shoyue's three roommates surrounded her like hungry wolves, their 6 eyes staring at her with round, fixed expressions, each face full of intense curiosity. Shin Shoyue felt a little shy when she was looked at by these three people. After all, she had deliberately worn a hat when she went out, just to keep a low profile, but she was still recognized, and it had even been spread to the school post bar so quickly. She took a deep breath to try to calm herself down. Looking at the three roommates gossiping, Shin Shoyue couldn't help rolling her eyes. I just gave my smelly little brother a cup of milk tea and sang a duet with him, so why are you all so surprised? After a moment of thought, Shin Shoyue slowly spoke, hey, you guys don't need to keep guessing. No matter what you ask, I'm not going to tell you. Upon hearing this, the three roommates were furious. They looked at each other and grinned evilly, hey, Shoyue, don't blame us. What are you guys going to do? Shin Shoyue saw the three of them smiling with evil intent and suddenly had a bad feeling. Oof, sisters, attack me. Shoyue, watch my dragon claw hand. The next second, the sound of girls playing and fighting came from the dormitory. On the other side, in the boys' dormitory, Jiang Bai just got out of the shower when he heard Lin Zixuan yell, shit. What's wrong? The sullen guy. Lu Yu asked in confusion. Lin Zixuan turned to Jiang Bai, who was blow-drying his hair, and said, you son of a bitch, we treated you like a buddy, but you actually hooked up with the school beauty queen behind our backs. Upon hearing this, Lu Yu and Wang Hu also came over and looked at Lin Zixuan and Jiang Bai with puzzled expressions. Jiang Bai looked at Lin Zixuan with a dumbfounded expression and said, it's not that I'm a sulky guy, what's gotten into you? When did I hook up with the school beauty queen behind your backs? Just keep pretending. I knew that girl looked familiar today, and it turns out she's the cold and aloof school beauty queen of our junior year. Hearing this, the others suddenly understood everything. Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai also knew who he was talking about, so he shrugged and explained, no, big brother, I've already explained to you all, she really is my sister's best friend. As for whether she's the school beauty queen, I really don't know. Really? Lin Zixuan still retained a hint of doubt in his eyes as he stared at Jiang Bai. Good brother, more real than real gold. He. Lin Zixuan saw that Jiang Bai didn't seem to be lying, so he smirked a little and went to watch the live broadcast of the beautiful woman. Lu Yu saw Jiang Bai come out and went up to him, Brother Bai, I noticed something. Huh? What is it? Jiang Bai asked curiously. I think your sister's best friend seems to like you. Did you notice? Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai froze. Sister Shoyue likes him? How is that possible? Lu Yu continued, why would a beautiful girl like her bring you milk tea in the playground when there are so many people around? What good would it do her? So I boldly guessed that your sister's best friend must have a crush on you. Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai glanced at Lu Yu and laughed, okay, just stop guessing. It's impossible for my sister's best friend to like me. Okay, go wash up and go to bed. Lu Yu saw that Zhang Bai didn't believe him, so he wisely shrugged his shoulders and went back to bed. Night. Zhang Bai tossed and turned on the bed, unable to sleep. As soon as he closed his eyes, the figure of Xinshu Yue appeared in his mind. What's going on? Why am I thinking about Xiu Yue? Maybe I'm just too tired today. But when he thought about Xinshu Yue, Zhang Bai felt a little guilty. He really is a bastard, he actually did that to his sister's best friend. Thinking about this, Zhang Bai had a bad feeling in his heart. It seemed that he didn't wear a condom that night. Could it be that Sister Xiu Yue is pregnant? If it really happened the first time, then he is finished. The more Zhang Bai thought about it, the more scared he felt. In the end, he really couldn't hold back anymore and fell asleep. Chapter 9. That's right, Xiao Bai is really good, Mua. After 15 days and nights of grueling training, the torturous military training finally came to an end. During the 15 days of military training, Zhang Bai not only had to endure the scorching sun, but also the embarrassment of Xinshu Yue coming to the playground every day to give him milk tea. As a result, over the past few days, everyone in military training has become accustomed to this and no longer finds it strange. In the boys' dormitory 606, the four exhausted figures of Zhang Bai collapsed straight onto the bunks as if their souls had been sucked out of them. It was only at this moment that Zhang Bai and his roommates truly felt a sense of relief. Every inch of their muscles no longer tensed, and their thoughts gradually released from a state of high tension. Lying on their respective beds, they enjoyed this rare peace and tranquility to the full, their faces beaming with contentment and relaxation. During the military training, Zhang's originally pale face had also tanned quite a bit. At the moment, he looked as if he had experienced a baptism of wind and rain, slightly tired and haggard, but his eyes revealed a kind of firmness and determination. The other three were the same, all having darkened quite a bit. Lu Yu sat up with a loud kachi and suggested, "Guys, tomorrow is the official start of classes. How about we go out and get together today?" The four of them agreed, and so the second dinner gathering in room 606 was officially launched. "Lu Yu, since you proposed the dinner gathering, why don't you decide which restaurant to go to?" Lin Zixuan said, putting his hand on Lu Yu's shoulder. "I'll pass, you're not a native of Shanghai, so don't you have any recommendations for us?" "Of course I do, you've come to the right person. But it mainly depends on what you guys want to eat?" Lin Zixuan asked, looking at the group. Upon hearing this, the group discussed it and finally unanimously decided to eat local Shanghainese food. After all, apart from Lin Zixuan, the other three were from outside the city and were unfamiliar with the city, so naturally they had not tried the local specialties. So it was decided happily. "Brothers, today I will take you to a super popular restaurant that is popular on the internet to see for yourself. I hear that the place is full of beautiful women." Lin Zixuan said with a beaming smile, then winked mischievously at the other three. Hey, you're a good buddy, and this place is just the right choice. It's practically a boon for us single guys." Lu Yu understood the meaning, and immediately gave Lin Zixuan a thumbs up in appreciation. "Oh, wow, now that you mention it, I can't wait. Maybe I'll even meet a pretty girl from my hometown there." Wan Hu, who is always honest and straightforward, couldn't hold back his excitement either and half-jokingly agreed. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone burst out laughing, and their laughter echoed in the air. Without further ado, the group quickly packed up and took a taxi to the internet celebrity restaurant Lin Zixian had mentioned. Ding! In the taxi, Zhang Bai's phone rang in the front seat. "Sailor Moon, bye-bye, come out and let your sister take you out to dinner." Zhang Bai was sweating nervously when he read the message, and he suddenly didn't know what to do. Ding dong! Xinshu Yue's message came through next. "Sailor Moon, bye-bye, why aren't you saying anything?" Zhang Bai took a deep breath and replied, "Forget it, Xiu Yue, I already made plans with my roommate." Sailor Moon, "Oh, I see, then let me ask your roommate if she minds having an extra person." Zhang Bai's eyes widened when he read the message. Is Autumn Moon really that shameless? Why hadn't he noticed before how thick-skinned she was? Zhang Bai didn't know how to reply, so he simply put the phone down. Zhang Bai and his friends finally arrived at the much-talked-about internet celebrity restaurant. The restaurant is located in the bustling downtown area, surrounded by high-rise buildings and a busy traffic. From a distance, the restaurant sign is particularly eye-catching, and its unique design style attracts the attention of passers-by. Stepping inside, the spacious and bright space makes people feel comfortable and at ease. The interior decoration is simple yet stylish, with artistic paintings hanging on the walls and soft lighting creating a warm atmosphere. The tables and chairs are neatly arranged in an orderly manner, and the waiters warmly welcomed the guests and guided them to their seats. Jiang Bai and the others were seated at a window table with a great view of the city. After they sat down, they studied the menu, which listed a variety of exquisite and tempting dishes that made their mouths water. Just then, a pleasant ringing sound suddenly came from the phone. It turned out to be a video call from Xinqiu Yue. Jiang Bai glanced up at the three people who were ordering food, then quickly stood up and walked quickly outside the restaurant to answer the call. Xiao Bai, why did it take you so long to answer your sister's video call? Immediately, a beautiful face appeared on the screen, looking at him coquettishly. No, Sister Qiuyu, I was busy and didn't see it. Jiang Bai answered sheepishly. Humph, you're not being honest, little brother. Xinqiu said with a smile, a hint of cunning in her eyes. Xiao Bai, hurry up and send your sister the location of the restaurant you're in, because my stomach is growling with hunger. As she spoke, she deliberately patted her flat stomach. Jiang Bai couldn't help but fall silent. He wondered in his heart whether or not to tell Xinqiu Yue their current location. Xinqiu Yue seemed to sense Jiang Bai's hesitation, and her mouth curled up into a charming smile. Why? Don't you want to? Or, are you hiding something from your sister? Hearing this, Jiang Bai's heart tightened. After some thought, he finally made up his mind and said, okay. That's right, Xiao Bai is really obedient. Xinqiu Yue laughed happily and gave the camera a little kiss. Jiang Bai hung up the video call and sent Xinqiu Yue his location. When Xinqiu Yue received the location, she smiled, stood up, and quickly tidied up. Jiang Bai had just returned to the restaurant when he saw Lin Zixuan and the other two staring at him with puzzled expressions. Brother Bai, whose phone was that? Lin Zixuan couldn't help but ask. Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai told the three the news that Xinqiu Yue was coming. Upon hearing this, Liu teased, Brother Bai, why don't we take out the food and eat it, so that you and Miss Xin can have the table to yourselves? After all, I don't want to eat dog food. Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai rolled his eyes. What are you guys talking about? I don't have anything with her. Okay, I know, she's just your sister's best friend. Lin Zixuan smirked. Jiang Bai chose to ignore the teasing from the others. Just then, two young ladies in short skirts walked past the group, and Lin Zixuan's eyes lit up. He nudged Lu Yu. Lu Yu couldn't help but say, damn, beautiful girl, you're so damn sexy. Subsequently, Lin Zixuan, Lu Yu, and Wang Hu kept stealing glances at the young ladies in the restaurant who were dressed in revealing outfits. Jiang Bai, who saw this, was speechless. It was so embarrassing. Before long, time seemed to have come to a standstill, and everyone's gaze was directed in the same direction, the restaurant entrance. There, slowly approaching, was a graceful figure. Her posture was exquisite, her gait light, as gentle and warm as the first ray of sunshine filtering through the morning mist and falling on the earth, like the flawless moonlight in the middle of the night. It brought a touch of mystery and tranquility to the whole world. Her face is breathtakingly beautiful, with snow-white skin that is so delicate you could burst it with a single blow, and a pair of bright, gem-like eyes framed by willily-shaped eyebrows. Her long eyelashes tremble slightly, like the enchanting charm of a butterfly's wings fluttering gently. Below her high, straight nose, her lips curve up slightly, revealing an imperceptible smile that makes people's hearts flutter. Her hair falls like a waterfall over her shoulders, fluttering in the wind and exuding a faint fragrance. She is wearing a white dress, the hem of which flows with her every step, like a blooming lotus flower, fresh and refined, elegant and holy. She exudes a unique temperament, with the innocence and agility of a young girl, and the elegance and charm of a mature woman. This stunning figure suddenly appeared before everyone's eyes without warning, instantly becoming the focus of the entire crowd. Chapter 10 Come, bye, open your mouth, I'll feed you some meat. Xinqiu Yue saw Jiang Bai sitting by the window not far away and smiled slightly as she walked straight towards him. Xinqiu Yue glanced over and saw that Jiang Bai was alone. What's going on? Didn't stinky little brother say that he was having dinner with his roommate? Bye, I'm here. Xinqiu Yue blinked her charming peach eyes and sat down next to Jiang Bai. Jiang Bai couldn't help but be slightly stunned when he saw Xinqiu Yue, who was dressed up in an overly beautiful manner. Sister Qiu Yue is so beautiful, just like a celestial maiden descending to earth. Xinqiu Yue secretly felt a burst of joy in her heart when she saw that Jiang Bai was charmed by her. It was not in vain that she had carefully dressed up. However, Jiang Bai quickly came back to his senses and said lightly, Sister Qiu Yue, you're here. Let's see if there's anything else you want to eat. Upon hearing this, Xinqiu Yue withdrew her gaze from Jiang Bai and curved her lips. As long as it's white and a little bit sweet, I like it. Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai nearly choked on the water he had just drunk. Why isn't Xiao Yue playing by the rules? Why does she always tease me on purpose or by accident? Seeing Jiang Bai's silly appearance, Xin Xiaoyue couldn't help but cover her mouth and laugh. Okay, stinky brother, I won't tease you anymore. I can eat whatever I want. Oh, right, didn't you say you were eating with your roommates? Why aren't they here? Xin Xiaoyue couldn't help but ask. Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai couldn't say that they had packed their food to go back and eat so as not to eat dog food. Bah, what dog food? Me and Sister Qiu Yue are innocent. Oh, they had something to do and left first. Upon hearing Jiang Bai's words, Xin Xiaoyue nodded, secretly delighted within. Hee, that's great, now it's just the two of us, me and my smelly little brother, just thinking about it makes me happy. Here, little Bai, I'll open your mouth, I'll feed you some meat. Xin Xiaoyue said softly with a smile on her face, while carefully passing a piece of attractively colored, mouth-watering braised pork to Jiang Bai's mouth with chopsticks. Jiang Bai's body trembled violently upon hearing this, and he looked shocked. He blinked hard, wondering if he was hallucinating. Sister Qiu, you are our school's famous cold and aloof school beauty and goddess. How can you be so unrestrained? Jiang Baimu couldn't take his eyes off the smiling Xin Xiaoyue in front of him, and he wondered to himself, did Xiaoyue's sister take the wrong medicine today? Or am I dreaming? No, there must be something she's hiding from me. Faced with such a sudden change, Jiang Baimu felt both confused and at a loss. At that moment, Jiang Bai saw Xin Xiaoyue's eyebrows lightly frown, a hint of coquettishness in her beautiful eyes, and she whispered, Xiao Bai, if you don't eat, I'm really going to be angry. The soft and sweet voice contained a hint of coquettishness that made people melt, and when it entered Jiang Bai's ears, it was as if an electric current had passed through his body, causing his heart to tremble involuntarily. Jiang Bai hesitated for a moment, his gaze falling on the food in his hands, then looking up at Xin Xiaoyue. In the end, he carefully put it in his mouth. You'd be surprised, but it was unexpectedly delicious. This wonderful texture made Jiang Bai feel extremely surprised. Haha, little Bai is so good. Xin Xiaoyue couldn't help but reach out and stroke his head, petting him. Stinky little brother, I personally fed you meat, aren't you going to feed me a little bit? Xin Xiaoyue's mouth corners lifted slightly, revealing a faint smile, and her eyes revealed a hint of cunning and teasing. She gently tilted her head to look at the person in front of her, her eyes full of expectation and suggestion. It seemed to say, come on, give your sister a bite too. This sentence struck Jiang Bai like a lightning bolt, causing him to blush instantly and his heartbeat to accelerate. Faced with such a straightforward request, Jiang Bai was momentarily at a loss. However, after a brief hesitation, Jiang Bai bravely responded. He took a deep breath to steady his emotions, then carefully picked up the chopsticks, picked up a piece of fish, carefully picked out the bones, and brought it to Xin Xiaoyue's mouth. Upon seeing this, Xin Xiaoyue's face revealed a look of joy, and she opened her cherry lips and took a small bite of the fish. Delicious. Xin Xiaoyue nodded with satisfaction, her eyes sparkling with happiness. At this moment, the couples around them, seeing this scene, looked at them with envy. Jiang Bai suddenly felt a little embarrassed, and he lowered his head and ate faster. Xin Xiaoyue, on the other hand, looked at Jiang Bai quietly, her heart full of sweetness. Just then, the young couple next to them saw this scene. The girl pouted her lips and said, Humph, you straight man, look at your boyfriend, and then look at you, don't you know how to feed your old lady? The boy was embarrassed when he heard this, and when he saw the fierce look in his girlfriend's eyes, he picked up the food and brought it to her mouth. Not bad. Will you do it like this in the future? The girl said contentedly. Jiang Bai and Xin Xiaoyue finally ended the awkward meal as they took turns feeding each other, and after paying the bill, the two walked out of the restaurant. The two people who left the restaurant walked down the street one after the other. Xin Xiaoyue noticed that Jiang Bai had not followed for a long time, so she slowly slowed down until she stopped. Jiang Bai also stopped when he saw this and asked in confusion, What's wrong, Xiaoyue? Hearing this, Xin Xiaoyue turned slightly and fixed her gaze on Jiang Bai, unable to help but raise an eyebrow. Little Bai, is sister that scary? Hearing this, Jiang Bai looked confused. He hadn't done anything, so what was wrong with Xiaoyue? No. Jiang Bai scratched his head. Then why are you so far away from me? Are you afraid that I'll eat you? Xin Xiaoyue couldn't help but cover her mouth and laugh. Hearing this, Jiang Bai was slightly stunned. Before he could say anything, Xin Xiaoyue came to his side and curved her lips, Follow your sister and don't stay so far away from her. Jiang Bai subconsciously nodded, and then the two of them set off slowly towards the school, occasionally their hands would touch. Jiang Bai was completely at a loss. Shin Shoyue glanced at him out of the corner of her eye and couldn't help but raise the corner of her mouth slightly. When the two of them returned to school, it was already dark. Jiang Bai, with a nervous and uneasy heart, finally arrived at the bottom of the girls' dormitory building. Shoyue, we're here, go on up. Jiang Bai ran off as soon as he finished speaking. He didn't want to spend another second with Shin Shoyue, for fear that she might do something surprising. Shin Shoyue couldn't help but smile cutely as she watched Jiang Bai flee. Stupid brother, I had a really good time today. Shin Shoyue muttered to herself as she watched Jiang Bai's back. She didn't turn around and head towards the dormitory until Jiang Bai's back had completely disappeared from her sight. Chapter 11 Caught Red-Handed. As soon as Shin Shoyue returned to her dormitory, her three roommates surrounded her with smiles on their faces. Oh, our beautiful Shin is finally back. Tell us, were you on a date with your junior today, dressed so nicely? Su Wanting asked, speaking first. Nonsense, I just went out for a stroll. Shin Shoyue shook her head, her eyes a little evasive. Don't pretend. We saw you from upstairs. You're still trying to lie to us. Su Wanting took out the photo she had just taken of Jiang by walking Shin Shoyue home and handed it to her. You've been caught red-handed. The evidence is overwhelming. Shoyue, what can you say in your defense? Seeing that her lie had been exposed, Shin Shoyue simply admitted, yes, I went out to have dinner with Xiao Xiaodi. What are you going to do about it? Xiao Yanqin put her hands on her hips and said menacingly, you stinking Choyu, how dare you secretly go on a date with a junior behind our backs, I'll teach you a lesson. Look at the fuss you're making, I just went to dinner with Xiao Bai, what's the big deal? Hey, Shin University Flower, without further ado, how are things going between you two? Did you kiss? Meng Jiaojia suddenly leaned in and said. Yes. Shoyu, tell us about it. What's it like to kiss? Xiao Yanqin also asked with a face full of curiosity. Shoyu, you came back so late, tell me, did you, go do bad things with the younger boy? Facing the harsh words of her roommates, Shin Shoyu was really a little overwhelmed, her face turning red from the accusations. How could that be? It's not true, do I look like the kind of person who could do that? Shin Shoyu hurriedly explained. As soon as she said this, the three roommates surprisingly nodded in unison, as if to say, that's exactly the kind of person you are. Shan Shoyu. I'm not talking to you anymore, I'm a little tired, I'm going to take a shower first. Shin Shoyu made up an excuse and hurriedly pushed them away, blushing as she ran into the bathroom. Shin Shoyu was afraid that if she stayed any longer, she would be unable to resist telling them about sleeping with Jiang Bai, and if that happened, she would be mortified. Humph, you stupid brother, I've given you so many hints, why don't you get it? Not to mention that I even gave you my virginity, and after all these days, you're still like an idiot with no reaction? Shin Shoyu opened the shower and started to take off her clothes while talking to herself. On the other side, Jiang Bai also returned to the dormitory. As soon as he opened the door, the three sons of dogs looked at him with evil smiles on their faces. Lin Zixuan gave a lewd smile and spoke first, tentatively asking, Hey. Bai, how was it? Did you have a good time on your date with Miss Shin? Get lost, it's not true. We just had a simple meal, Jiang Bai snapped. Lin Zixuan gave a disgusted look, shrugged his shoulders, leaned back in his chair, and continued watching the live broadcast of a beautiful woman. The other two men saw this and glanced at each other, smiling but not speaking. Late at night, Shin Shoyu fell asleep with her eyes closed. She didn't know what she had dreamed, but the smile on her lips never stopped. She kept saying in a small voice, Xiao Bai, I like you so much. Early in the morning, Shin Shoyu was washing her face in the bathroom when Xiao Yanqin happened to walk out and said, Shoyu, you muttered all night last night. Did you have a nightmare? Well, I did, but it wasn't a nightmare, Shin Shoyu replied indistinctly as she brushed her teeth. Oh. Xiao Yanqin didn't ask any more questions, yawned, and went back to bed. Shin Shoyu looked at herself in the mirror and couldn't help but think about last night's dream. Shin Shoyu dreamed last night that Jiang Bai proposed to her in front of her family and friends, and then they entered the marriage hall together, and on the wedding night they did the unspeakable thing together. Hey, if only the dream came true. Come on. Let's get your brother soon. Shin Shoyu came to the chair, picked up her phone and glanced at the time. It was exactly 10 o'clock, and her brother would be finishing class soon. So she took out a large bag of snacks from the cupboard. She bought all the snacks that Jiang Bai liked. Don't ask how she knew, she just did. Her best friend Jiang Wanqing told her. Meng Jiaojiao, who was about to go out, saw Shin Xiaoyue take out a large bag of snacks and her eyes lit up. Hey, Xiaoyue, when did you buy so many delicious things? I'm going to the cafeteria to eat, so give me some to tide me over. After Meng Jiaojiao finished speaking, she was about to reach out and take some as usual, but Shin Xiaoyue hid the bag behind her back. No, these snacks are not for you. If you want to eat, I'll buy some later, but don't even think about this bag of snacks. Shin Xiaoyue held the bag of snacks tightly in her small hands, as if she were guarding food, preventing Meng Jiaojiao from taking it. Seeing Shin Xiaoyue's abnormal behavior, Meng Jiaojiao felt a little surprised. Meng Jiaojiao then reacted, pretending to guess. Let me guess, Shin Beauty, who are these snacks for? Are they for the elementary school? Before she could finish her sentence, she was interrupted by Shin Xiaoyue. Shut up, don't say a word. Without waiting for Meng Jiaojiao to speak, Shin Xiaoyue ran out of the classroom with the snacks in her arms, afraid that if she slowed down for even a second, Meng Jiaojiao would catch up to her. Meng Jiaojiao looked at Shin Xiaoyue, who had run out of the classroom, and couldn't help but be slightly stunned. This stinky Xiaoyue, it's just snacks for the little guy, is it really that big a deal? And she didn't even let me say anything. At this time, in the classroom of the freshman finance management class, Jiang Bai was listening attentively to the teacher's lecture. Before long, the bell rang to signal the end of class. Before the bell finished ringing, Shin Xiaoyue suddenly appeared at the classroom door. The appearance of the cold and aloof school beauty caused the students in the classroom to instantly go into a panic. Ever since Shin Xiaoyue was caught taking photos of Jiang Bai when she gave him milk tea on the playground and they were posted on the school forum, all the freshmen knew about Shin Xiaoyue's identity as the cold and aloof school beauty. Oh my god! Isn't this our school beauty from the 3rd year? Why is she in our classroom? She's so pretty. She's worthy of being the dream girl of countless boys. If I could just say a word to school beautician, I'd be willing to shorten my life by 10 years. Buddy, you're not thinking about poop, are you? I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but with that pig-headed look of yours, you'd better go wash up and go to bed. Since class had just finished, everyone stopped talking when they saw Shin Xiaoyue and started talking about her. They all wanted to know who she was looking for. The boys around her couldn't take their eyes off her, they were so starry-eyed, they were about to drool. If they hadn't heard the rumors about Shin Xiaoyue before, they would have been desperate to ask for her contact information right then and there. After all, Shanghai University is so big, and the possibility of running into the schoolflower is very small. The commotion at the classroom door naturally attracted Jiang Bai and his group as well. Lin Zixuan saw Shin Xiaoyue at the classroom door at a glance. So, he quickly poked Jiang Bai. Brother Bai, look, Shin Xiaoyue is at the classroom door. It looks like she's looking for you. Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai looked up and when he saw the girl at the door with Shin Xiaoyue, he knew without a doubt that she was here to see him. Jiang Bai wanted to die at that moment. Excuse me, could you please move aside? I'm here to see Jiang Bai. Upon hearing this, everyone was shocked. What's going on? How come the cold and aloof school beauty is here to see Jiang Bai again? What exactly is their relationship? Didn't they say that the cold and aloof school beauty doesn't like boys? The next second, countless envious and jealous stares focused on Jiang Bai, and these people could drown Jiang Bai in their saliva. Shin Xiaoyue saw Jiang Bai standing in the back at a glance, so she quickly came to Jiang Bai. Hey, Xiao Bai, I've come to give you something delicious. Shin Xiaoyue said, and handed a large bag of snacks to Jiang Bai, and winked playfully at him. Upon hearing this, the people around them were once again shocked into silence. Holy shit, what's going on? Why is Shin Xiaoyue calling Jiang Bai Little Bai? Are they that close? She keeps calling him Little Bai and giving him snacks, but who the hell is this Jiang Bai? And what is his relationship with Shin Xiaoyue? Hurry, can someone please come out and explain? The students on the scene were all talking at once, saying all kinds of things, and many of them quietly took out their phones and started filming the two of them. Jiang Bai looked at the large bag of snacks in front of him. After all was said and done, did Sister Xiaoyue come just to give him snacks? Jiang Bai glanced at the looks of the people in the room and, without thinking, accepted the snacks. He didn't want to be in the classroom for even a second longer. Sister Xiaoyue, thank you. Let's get out of here first. Knowing that they shouldn't stay here any longer, Shin Xiaoyue nodded and the two of them left the classroom, one in front of the other, under the gossiping gazes of the crowd. Chapter 12 New Student Party. The two of them slowly walked down the stairs of the teaching building. Jiang Bai suddenly stopped, his eyes flickering as if he were thinking about something important. After a while, he finally mustered the courage to stutter and say, Sister Choyue, actually, can you please stop being so nice to me in the future? His voice was as soft as a mosquito's chirp. Shin Choyue was startled by this, and her face showed a hint of surprise. But she quickly regained her composure, put on a pitiful expression, and asked coquettishly, What's wrong? Does little brother not like it when sister cares about you like this? Or, have you started to dislike sister? Her big, watery eyes stared at Jiang Bai, and they were irresistible. Jiang Bai was so scared that he trembled, and he quickly waved his hands to explain, No, absolutely not. Sister Chiu, don't misunderstand me. A thin layer of sweat even appeared on his forehead, and he was obviously very flustered. Seeing Jiang Bai's panicked look, Shin Xiuyu secretly laughed in her heart, but still pretended to be aggrieved and pursued, So, stinky little brother, do you still count those words you promised to take responsibility for your sister before? After saying this, she lightly bit her lips, and a hint of expectation and shyness could be seen in her eyes. Hearing this, Jiang Bai's entire body froze, as if he had been under a spell. His hands unconsciously clenched, and for a moment, he didn't know how to reply. At this moment, his heart was full of contradictions and entanglements, and he was completely at a loss. Seeing Jiang Bai's appearance, Shin Xiuyu couldn't help but smile at Jiang Bai's teasing, and whispered, Okay, I won't tease you anymore, sister. I'll wait until you've thought about it. Okay, I'll go first. By the way, I'll be performing at the new student party, so remember to come and watch. Jiang Bai subconsciously nodded, staring at the departing back of Shin Xiuyu. Jiang Bai felt a complex in his heart, not knowing what to think. It was a little after 1 p.m. Jiang Bai was immersed in his sleep when suddenly Lin Zixuan kicked open the dormitory door and yelled in Jiang Bai's ear, Brother Bai, wake up quickly, it's shocking news. The sudden noise startled Jiang Bai out of his sleep, and he sat up straight. Damn it, Lin Zixuan, you're sick. You scared the hell out of me. Hey, I'm just excited, Lin Zixuan giggled. No, Lin Zixuan, what's the big news? And why are you so surprised? Wang Hu couldn't help but ask. According to my insider information, Shin, the school flower, will be performing at the freshman party tonight. That's it? What do you know? I heard that this is the first time that Flower Shin has performed at the freshman party. Usually, Flower Shin is not interested in this kind of activity at all, so why would she perform on stage this year? Don't you find that strange? After saying that, Lin Zixuan glanced at Jiang Bai. After hearing what he said, Jiang Bai also remembered what Shin Qiuyue had told her this morning. Sister Qiuyue said that she would perform on stage and even asked me to go watch. Could it be that Qiuyue is performing specifically for me? Lin Zixuan saw Jiang Bai's calm expression and couldn't help but ask, Brother Bai, you seem so calm, do you already know that Flower Shin will perform on stage? Before Jiang Bai could say anything, Liu Yu on the side interrupted, Four Eyes, did a donkey kick you in the head? With the relationship between our brother Bai and Flower Shin, it's only natural that he would have known about it a long time ago. Lin Zixuan suddenly realized and patted his head, Oh, look at my brain, how could I forget this matter? By the way, guys, except for Brother Bai, don't ask, you will definitely go, will you two go? I heard that there will be a lot of pretty school sisters performing on stage too. Lin Zixuan rubbed his hands together, looking at the group of men with a lewd expression on his face. Jiang Bai on the side looked at Lin Zixuan speechlessly, not sure why you are so sure I will definitely go? Hearing this, Liu Yu, who was playing a game, turned around and said with righteous words, In fact, it doesn't matter if you're a senior or not, the main thing is that I love a lively atmosphere, hee. Wang Hu also agreed, count me in. Evening. Jiang Bai and his group marched towards the freshman party in a grand manner. Four Eyes, aren't you just going to the freshman party? Who are you trying to impress by dressing up like that? Yeah. People who don't know would think you're going on a blind date. Go, what do you know? You don't know that clothes make the man. At this time, Jiang Bai was sitting helplessly in the audience, watching the young lady on stage dressed in a cool outfit and dancing hotly. The three Lin Zixuan guys on the side couldn't take their eyes off the stage, their drool almost dripping. In contrast, Jiang Bai wasn't interested in any of this. Strange? The show is almost over, why haven't I seen Sister Qiuyue yet? Forget it, it's not over yet, maybe she'll be the last to go on stage. With the end of the sketch program, the host walked onto the stage with a smile and an elegant gait. I believe that all of you freshmen have heard that tonight our school's cold and aloof beauty queen, Shin Qiuyue, will perform on stage. Here, I can solemnly tell you that you have heard it right, and now let us welcome with the warmest applause the dream lover of countless boys, Shin Shoyue, to the stage. As soon as the host finished speaking, there was a thunderous applause from the audience. Then the host slowly retreated behind the curtain. Just then, the lights in the entire venue suddenly went out, plunging the entire venue into darkness. Suddenly, a crisp and rhythmic sound of footsteps came from the stage, da-da-da. This sound of high heels seemed to have an irresistible magic that attracted the attention of everyone present. Everyone held their breath, waiting for the appearance of the goddess Shin Shoyue, the school's most beautiful girl. Before long, the sound of the high heels faded away, until it completely disappeared. Then, a beautiful figure appeared in the center of the stage, standing quietly. At this moment, the entire freshman party was silent. After a moment, a bright, dazzling beam of light was projected directly onto the center of the stage. Everyone looked intently, and under the light of this beam, it turned out that the girl, who was as beautiful and moving as a fairy descending to earth and had an excellent appearance, was sitting in front of a snow-white piano. The breeze blew gently, and the girl's long hair danced in the wind, like the fluttering ribbons of a fairy. She was wearing a long, snow-white dress, and the hem of the dress fluttered in the wind, making her even more refined and elegant. Her beautiful face has fair skin like snow, painted eyebrows and eyes, and a red mouth that doesn't need to be painted. The slightly upturned corners of her mouth reveal a faint smile, making people unable to help but fall in love with her. Holy shit! Is this still a human? Shin Shoyue is so beautiful. Her refined and elegant appearance is like she doesn't eat the food of mortals, making people unable to help but fall in love with her. I never thought there was such a beautiful person in the world. It seems that applying to attend the Magic City University was a correct decision. People around commented. Looking at Shin Shoyue on the stage, surrounded by everyone else, wearing a long white dress, Jiang Bai's eyes could not help but light up slightly. At the moment, Shin Shoyue was like a blooming white lotus, fresh and refined, exuding a charming radiance. He quietly admired every movement and expression of Shin Shoyue on the stage, and an indescribable emotion welled up in his heart. Chapter 13 Sister Shoyue is beautiful. Brother Bai, your wife, your wife. Lin Zixuan stood up with excitement and shouted. Jiang Bai, who was standing nearby, couldn't help but purse his lips. Are you crazy? What nonsense is this? Lin Zixuan, who realized his mistake, smiled awkwardly. He brother Bai, I'm sorry. I was so excited that I couldn't help it. He. Good evening everyone. Shin Shoyue smiled, nodded slightly to the audience below, and then swept her eyes across the audience. She saw Jiang Bai in the back row in the middle and gave him a slight smile. Then she withdrew her gaze, took a deep breath, and gently placed her hands on the piano keys, as if feeling the pulse of the music. Then she said softly, next, I will play a song for you, Mermaid's Tears, and I hope you like it. Her voice was clear and melodious, like the sound of nature, echoing throughout the freshman party. Slowly, the sounds from the audience gradually faded away. With the first note, Shin Shoyue's fingers began to dance on the keys. Each strike was like a drop of crystal-clear tear falling, splashing a beautiful ripple. Her skilled performance brought out the full meaning of the piece. The audience was mesmerized by the beautiful music. They felt as if they were seeing a mermaid in the depths of the sea, with a lonely and sad heart, telling endless thoughts and yearnings through her tears. Some people in the audience couldn't wait to take out their phones, adjusting the angle as they prepared to permanently capture this amazing scene. The next second, a video of Shin Shoyue playing the piano was quickly uploaded to the school forum. Almost instantly, it reached the top of the popularity rankings at an astonishing speed and became the talk of the school. The comments section was abuzz with praise. Wow! Shin Shoyue is just too beautiful, she looks like a fairy when she plays the piano. The sound of the piano is so beautiful, I feel like I'm going to lose myself in it. She's truly a multi-talented girl, worthy of being our cold and aloof school beauty queen. I've decided, from now on, Shin Shoyue will be my only idol. For a time, the whole school was filled with praise for Shin Shoyue, and she became the focus of everyone's attention. This beautiful and talented girl had conquered everyone's hearts with her music. Jiang Bai in the audience felt as tangled up as a ball of twine. He really couldn't determine what kind of feelings he had for Shin Shoyue at the moment. Could it be that it was simply because of the guilt he felt after experiencing that indescribable thing in the hotel for the first time? Or was it like the kind of fondness between lovers? Jiang Bai is now feeling extremely confused and lost. In the face of Shin Shoyue's passionate pursuit and goodwill over the past month and a half, it would be absolutely self-deceptive to say that he is not tempted. Thinking of Shin Shoyue's stunning beauty, Jiang Bai looked at Shin Shoyue, who was playing the piano in the center of the stage, with a complex look in his eyes. Sister Choyue is very beautiful. But is he worthy of Sister Choyue? Lin Zixuan, Zhang Yixing, and Zhang Yixing glanced at Jiang Bai and gathered around whispering. Jiang Bai saw the scene and suddenly had a bad feeling. After the song was over, Shin Shoyue was just about to stand up and turn around to leave. At that moment, the three of them in the audience stood up and yelled, "Miss Shin, wait!" Jiang Bai's eyes were wide with shock as he stared at the three in front of him, his face full of shock. He was stunned by the scene in front of him and had no idea what these three guys were actually going to do. Damn it! Jiang Bai couldn't help but curse under his breath, secretly pondering in his heart, what the hell do these bastards want to do by suddenly standing up? Just then, Lin Zixuan turned around and faced Jiang Bai directly, with a strange gleam in his eyes. Jiang Bai's heart tightened, and an ominous feeling welled up in his heart. Then, Lin Zixuan shouted towards the center of the stage, "Flower Girl Shin, my roommate says he wants to sing a duet with you. He's a bit shy, so he asked me to ask if you'd like to?" After saying that, he did not forget to point to Jiang Bai next to him. As soon as these words came out, Jiang Bai's entire body directly went dumb. "I'll be damned, Lin Zixuan, you little brat, when did I say that?" The lighting technician on the scene was also a person who loved to watch the fun and not mind his own business, and a light instantly shone on Jiang Bai. Shin Shoyue looked at Jiang Bai in the audience, who was illuminated by the light, and could not help but slightly flinch. It turned out that it was my smelly younger brother who wanted to sing with me. Seeing his dumbfounded expression, I knew without having to guess that it was his roommate who was up to no good. Shin Shoyue silently removed the microphone from the piano. "Okay." These two words directly shocked the crowd into silence. Holy shit, isn't this guy the one Shin Shoyue gave milk tea to during military training? This guy is something. I remember that he didn't just sing with Shin Shoyue during military training once. Just who the hell is this guy? Ah, it makes me so angry. How could Shin Shoyue fall for such a guy? There was a lot of discussion in the audience. Su Chanxian, who was sitting in the front row, turned around and saw Jiang Bai, who was being illuminated by the lights. She stared at Jiang Bai with a complex look in her eyes. She had also heard about the rumors about Jiang Bai and Shin Shoyue on the school forum in the past few days, but she had always thought that they were false. She seemed to remember that Jiang Bai seemed to be going to school in the Magic City for the first time, right? How could he be involved with Shin Shoyue, a third-year student? Brother Bai, what are you still doing? Didn't you hear that Flower Shin has already agreed? Hurry up and go. Jiang Bai was directly dragged up by Lin Zixuan and the others. Then, in the murderous eyes of the crowd, Jiang Bai plucked up the courage to walk onto the stage. Jiang Bai walked straight up to Shin Shoyue, looked into the audience, and couldn't help but start to feel nervous. Shin Shoyue slowly approached him, curled her lips, put down the microphone, and whispered, "Stupid brother, you seem very nervous." "Of course I'm nervous. It's not normal to not be nervous when there are so many people watching." The audience was furious, watching the two of them about to kiss. "What's going on? School Flower Shin, what are you whispering to that kid?" Shin Shoyue realized something was wrong and quickly picked up the microphone and asked Jiang Bai, "So, little brother, what do you want to sing?" A few boys in the audience couldn't help but mutter when they heard this. Didn't Shin Shoyue call this boy Xiao Bai by this morning? Why is she acting with him now? Oh, man, you don't understand, do you? How could mere mortals like us understand the passion of a young couple? Hey, man, what do you mean? Come, let me tell you in detail. Chapter 14 Xiao Bai Bai, do you think I'm beautiful? Jiang Bai heard Shin Shoyue's words and thought for a moment before stammering, It's fine, whatever you say." "Heh, you stinkin' brother still looks very nervous." Shin Shoyue curved her lips. "How about this, then, let's sing Liang Shanbois and Juliet." "I'll sing while I play the piano." Liang Shanbois and Juliet? Jiang Bai was momentarily taken aback. "Sister Choyue, are you sure it's appropriate for the two of us to sing this?" The three Lin Zixuan members on stage were dying of impatience when they saw that Jiang Bai hadn't said anything for a long time. They couldn't wait to rush up and agree for him. Jiang Bai hesitated for a moment, then nodded, "Okay, whatever you say." "Oh, brother Bai, Miss Shin, come on. We're rooting for you." The three people in the audience, Lin Zixuan, heard this and shouted, followed by a round of enthusiastic applause. Under the influence of the three, the crowd in the audience also began to applaud. Shin Shoyue returned to the piano, closed her eyes, took a deep breath, slowly exhaled, then slowly opened her eyes. Her beautiful, deep eyes gazed ahead, as if communicating with the whole world. Then, she gently placed her hands on the keys, feeling the unique touch as her fingertips made contact with the keys. As her fingers danced, a series of beautiful and melodious notes flowed from the keys like a babbling brook, lingering in the entire venue. At the beginning, the boys sang first. Jiang Bai slowly closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and the beautiful face of Shin Shoyue unconsciously appeared in his mind. When Jiang Bai opened his eyes again, he looked much more relaxed. Since it was a love song, he had to sing it with feeling. Jiang Bai turned around and looked at Shin Shoyue with tender eyes, and slowly began to sing. My heart wants to sing a song for you to hear. The lyrics are so sweet. But I'm shy, I don't have the courage to say I love you to you. Shin Shoyue looked at Jiang Bai's tender eyes at that moment and couldn't help but smile, opening her mouth. Why are you still silent? Don't you understand my heart? No matter what hairstyle you use to show it, I will tell you I'm willing. The two sang together, their eyes interlacing in an instant. Jiang Bai didn't insist for long, quickly averting his gaze and blushing. This stinky little brother is still so cute. Everyone in the audience listened quietly to the two singing. I love you. You are my Juliet. I'm willing to become your Liang Shanhua. Every happy day. Every romantic night. I love you. You are my Romeo. I am willing to become your Zhu Yingtai. With Shin Shoyue's hands stopping on the piano keys, the two finished singing. The audience burst into even louder applause and cheers. Oh wow, that was so beautiful. Lu Yu couldn't help but shout out. Shin Shoyue walked lightly off the stage, her graceful figure attracting everyone's attention like a fairy dancing. However, she seemed to be completely unconcerned by the praise and attention, and walked straight over to Jiang Bai, who was standing nearby. When she reached him, she stopped, leaned slightly down, and whispered in his ear, Stinky brother, wait for your sister obediently at the door later, and don't run around. Her voice carried a hint of coquettishness and endearment that made people's hearts flutter. As soon as she finished speaking, Shin Shoyue looked up, with a charming smile on the corner of her mouth, and then turned gracefully away in her high heels, leaving behind a series of crisp footsteps. Her actions were decisive, as if she had not given Jiang Bai any room to refuse. Looking at Shin Shoyue's receding back, Jiang Bai shook his head helplessly, but an indescribable feeling of expectation welled up in his heart. He knew that he could not resist, and could only silently obey her arrangements. The audience slowly dispersed, and Lin Zixuan and his two friends came up to Jiang Bai and put their arms around his shoulders. Brother Bai, are we cool or what? Jiang Bai was speechless and rolled his eyes. Cool my ass, you scared the shit out of me. Hey, we were just looking out for you, and you seem to be enjoying yourself on stage, Liu said with a wicked smile. Jiang Bai asked back stubbornly, which of your eyes saw me enjoying it? We all saw it with our 6 eyes. Come on, brother Bai, don't pretend, we all understand. The three of them said in unison. Jiang Bai. Jiang Bai thought about what Shin Shoyue had just said, so he casually lied to the three of them and told them to go home first. Jiang Bai squatted at the entrance to the freshman party, bored and brushing through the videos, not noticing at all a shadow quietly circling behind him. It was so quick that Shin Shoyue suddenly reached out her delicate and smooth hands like white jade, and with lightning speed, she covered Jiang Bai's eyes before he could react. This sudden change caught Jiang Bai off guard, and for a moment he was a little flustered. Who? Jiang Bai blurted out nervously, his voice tinged with a little tremor and unease. Hey, guess who I am? A playful and gentle female voice entered Jiang Bai's ears, and the tone revealed a bit of teasing and mischief. Jiang Bai knew without thinking that the person who could make such a playful, cute, gentle and charming voice was none other than Shin Shoyue. Hearing this familiar voice, Jiang Bai really couldn't help but laugh and cry. He sighed helplessly and said, Sister Shoyue, stop messing around and let go. Shin Shoyue pouted when she saw that she had been discovered, no fun. At this time, Shin Shoyue had already changed into a light blue dress, the skirt of which fluttered gently in the wind, as if a fairy dancing, a white ribbon tied around the neckline, making her look exceptionally fresh and elegant. Her hair had been carefully combed and tied into an elegant bun, held in place with a jade hairpin. Seeing this, Jiang Bai couldn't help but stare in awe. Shin Shoyue couldn't help but feel a trace of delight and joy in her heart as she saw Jiang Bai staring at her so obsessively. She gave a faint smile, a sly gleam flashing in her eyes, and decided to continue teasing the dumbfounded man. So, she gently twisted her waist, every movement so light, graceful and enchanting that Jiang Bai's gaze could no longer be diverted. Xiao Bai, don't you think I'm beautiful? Shin Shoyue asked in a sweet voice, her tone tinged with a hint of teasing. Upon hearing these words, Jiang Bai quickly came back to his senses, lowered his head apologetically, and his face flushed. He was so embarrassed. "I'm not teasing you anymore, let's go," said Shinshoyue, her tone full of a barely perceptible hint of endearment. Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai was momentarily taken aback, before nodding thoughtfully. His gaze met Shinshoyue's, and a complex emotion flashed in his eyes. The two walked side by side, one on either side, strolling through the quiet campus at night. The moonlight fell like water on the ground, reflecting their slender shadows. There was silence all around, only the rustling of the leaves as the breeze gently blew through. Jiang Bai walked in silence, but his mind was full of thoughts. Chapter 15 Club Recruitment. The next day. Jiang Bai had just returned to the dormitory after class when his mother called. "Hello, Mom, what's the matter? You little brat, it's been half a month since you went to school in the big city, and you haven't even called your mother once." Hearing the voice on the phone, Jiang Bai couldn't help it and almost dropped the phone into the toilet. "Oops, my dear mother, I just forgot." "You little brat, don't lie to your old mother." Suddenly, Jiang's mother on the phone seemed to have remembered something important, and asked with a slightly expectant tone, "My dear son, have you met any girls at school that have captured your heart? Or are you seeing a girlfriend?" This question struck like lightning through the night sky, and Jiang Bai couldn't help but freeze. He never expected his mother to ask this question so directly, and for a moment, he didn't know how to answer. "Say something, my dear son? Are you seeing a girlfriend and afraid to tell your mother?" "If that's true." Jiang Bai interrupted before his mother finished speaking. "Mom, what nonsense are you talking about? I'm not in a relationship." "Oh, if that's the case, you little brat, you'd better hurry up and find me a daughter-in-law." Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai's mind unconsciously conjured up the image of Shinshoyue. A few seconds later, Jiang Bai came back to his senses and pinched himself, wondering what was going on. How could he have thought of Sister Choyue? "Okay, Mom, I have to go, I have something to do." Without waiting for John's mother to say anything, Jiang Bai hung up the phone. In the afternoon, Jiang Bai was just waking up when he was dragged by three dog sons to participate in the club recruitment. Participating in clubs at university not only earns credits, but is also a way to expand your social circle at school. Many freshmen want to make friends by joining clubs. The club recruitment site was packed with people. Looking around, there were only freshmen selecting clubs. Some senior students from the clubs kept inviting freshmen to join. Jiang Bai and his friends arrived at the club recruitment site at this time. "Mushin, what club do you want to join?" Lu Yu asked as they walked. "I don't know, I haven't decided yet." Lin Zixuan kept looking at the young ladies passing by as he spoke. "Hey guys, why don't we go take a look at the music club? I heard that the president of the music club is the school beautician, and all the members of the music club are beautiful young ladies." Lin Zixuan suddenly stopped and looked at the others and suggested. "You're afraid you're not dreaming, and you've joined the music club. I think you're joining the music club is fake, and going to see the pretty young ladies is the real deal, right?" Lu Yu directly exposed the truth. Lin Zixuan laughed. "Oops, don't say it so bluntly, don't you want to see pretty girls?" "Of course I do, after all, which guy doesn't love to look at pretty girls?" Lu Yu said without thinking. "Without further ado, let's go take a look. I can't wait to see it after hearing you say that." The muscular guy, Wang Hu, made a quick decision and walked towards the music club. Seeing this, Lu Yu and Wang Hu quickly followed, not forgetting to drag Jiang Bai along. Jiang Bai actually didn't want to go, because if he went, he would definitely see Shinshoyue, and he didn't know what she would do to him again that would catch him off guard. But there was no way around it, they couldn't resist being dragged along. At this time, the music club booth was surrounded by people, all waiting in line. Most of them were boys, but there were also quite a few girls. Needless to say, these boys were all here for the school beauty Shinshoyue. At the club's booth, Shinshoyue, her roommate Xiao Yanxin, and other club members were busy accepting new members. "My goodness, there are so many people, we'll never get to the front of the line." Lu Yu looked at the seemingly endless queue and complained dejectedly. Jiang Bai was shocked when he saw this scene. He didn't expect so many people to want to join the music club. "Great! Now I don't have to see Sister Choyu anymore, hee hee." Shinshoyu, the president of the music club, frowned when she saw the long line. "With so many people, when will it be done? No, if this continues, I'm afraid it won't be finished until dark. Yen Xin, why are there so many people signing up today? Have you posted the membership requirements on the school forum as I asked you to?" Shin Shoyue asked, frowning as she wiped the fine beads of sweat from her forehead with a tissue. Of course I have, Xiao Yanxin replied firmly. Then why is there still such a long queue? Shin Shoyue continued, full of confusion. Oh dear, my beautiful Shin, can't you see that the boys make up 2/3 of this long queue? I think most of them are here because of you. After all, a beautiful, talented, charming school queen or goddess like you, who wouldn't want the chance to get close to you? Xiao Yanqin smiled mischievously, and her eyes kept glancing at the boys in line. Sure enough, being too beautiful is not a good thing. Shin Shoyue muttered to herself. Suddenly, Shin Shoyue leaned over to Xiao Yanqin and said, Yanqin, why don't you think of a way for us? Upon hearing this, Xiao Yanqin thought for a moment, then nodded to Shin Shoyue. I've got it, Shoyue, leave it to me from here on. Xiao Yanqin then picked up the loudspeaker on the table, stood on a stool and shouted at the line of younger students. Dear freshmen, our music club is full for this year. I'm sorry to have kept you waiting for so long, and those of you who haven't signed up can now leave. This remark immediately caused a commotion in the queue, especially the boys, who all looked desperate. Oh no! It's over. It's full. I was hoping to go to the music club to meet some pretty older girls, but it looks like it's not going to happen. The people in the back of the line should disperse quickly. It's full, so there's no point waiting in line. The crowd dispersed angrily and left, all prepared to check out other clubs. When everyone had left, Shin Shoyue looked up and saw Jiang Bai in the crowd. Her face immediately lit up with joy, and without the slightest hesitation, she started running towards Jiang Bai. Xiao Yanqin, who was standing nearby, looked at the scene with a puzzled expression. What was going on with Shoyue? Where was she going? Soon, Shin Shoyue arrived in front of Jiang Bai and said excitedly, Stinky brother, why didn't you tell me you were here to sign up? For a club? Jiang Bai looked at the suddenly appearing Shin Shoyue, slightly stunned, and then said, Sister Shoyue, I saw that you were busy recruiting new members, so I didn't dare to bother you. The three of them, Lin Zixuan, saw this, and quickly glanced at each other and said to Jiang Bai, Brother Bai, you and Miss Shin can chat first, we'll go check out the other clubs, and we won't bother you. Before Jiang Bai could react, the three of them had disappeared into the crowd. Chapter 16 Shin Shoyue pouts in public. Stinky brother, did you sign up for a club? How about you join our music club? Shin Shoyue blinked her charming peach eyes and looked eagerly at Jiang Bai in front of her. This remark directly stunned the crowd, who had not yet left. What is going on? I thought you said you were full? What's going on now? Rumor has it that the cold and aloof school goddess Shin Shoyue would actually take the initiative to invite a freshman to join the music club? That's not all, the key is that the other person is a guy? Am I hearing things or has the world gone topsy-turvy? Everyone's attention instantly focused on Jiang Bai. They wanted to see who this holy man was that had caused Shin to take the initiative to invite him. Oh, no, it's that guy again. What is it about this guy that Shin finds so attractive? Who knows? Anyway, let's just keep watching and find out. Ah, it's so frustrating. People are so competitive. Why can't I be so lucky? Jiang Bai looked at the eyes of Shin Shoyue in front of him, who kept staring at him, and nervously swallowed. He was just about to quietly leave, but how did she still find out? Stupid brother, if you join our music club, you can pass without an interview. Our music club occasionally gathers for nothing, and there are all kinds of benefits. Shin Shoyue saw that Jiang Bai hadn't spoken for a long time and couldn't help but feel a little anxious. After this sentence was said, everyone was shocked again. What's going on? I thought you said you had to fill out an application form, then have an interview, and then a second interview? How come this guy gets to pass without an interview? Tell me, what's going on? The boys on the spot suddenly went crazy, and their eyes full of envy and jealousy as they looked at Jiang Bai. Xiao Yanqin, who was standing nearby, also recognized Jiang Bai at this time. Isn't this the little guy who sang with Shoyue and asked Shoyue to bring him milk tea? I see, no wonder Shoyue has become so proactive. It turns out that she has seen her sweetheart. Jiang Bai came back to his senses and felt speechless at Shin Shoyue's behavior. He was not interested in music and tactfully declined, Sorry, Shoyue, I think I'd better go check out other clubs. Jiang Bai's rejection made everyone there drop their jaws. This guy is awesome. He actually rejected Shun's invitation? This guy must be out of his mind. That's the cold and aloof school beauty queen. She is truly a role model for us. He is the first man at Shanghai University to have rejected Flower Shun. Is this guy any good? Flower Shin was so proactive, and he actually rejected her. He really doesn't know what it's like to be hungry. Yes, if it were me, I would have said yes a long time ago. You have to understand that no one at Shanghai University has ever rejected Flower Shin. She is always the one rejecting people, but this time it's the other way around. Jiang Bai's actions really make people crazy. Shin Xiaoyue couldn't help but frown when she heard that Jiang Bai had rejected her. This was the first time she had been rejected since she was a child. But when she thought about it, it was Jiang Bai, so she let go. Who could blame him for being her precious little brother? There was no choice, she could only spoil him. When Shin Xiaoyue saw this scene, she immediately changed her expression and attitude. She looked pitiful, gently tugged on Jiang Bai's sleeve and said coquettishly, "Xiao Bai Bai, just join your sister's club, okay?" Shin Xiaoyue shook Jiang Bai's arm, her eyes filled with tears, as if she was about to cry if Jiang Bai didn't agree. Xiao Yanqin, who had just taken a sip of water, saw this scene, opened her mouth wide in surprise, looked at the two of them, and quickly took out her phone to record the moment. "Xiaoyue, when did you become like this? Can you hold back a little? You are the cold and aloof school flower goddess." Jiang Bai had never seen anything like this before, and he panicked. "Sister Xiaoyu, please don't do this, If you don't say yes, I'll keep pestering you until you do." Shin Xiaoyu was relentless. Jiang Bai sighed helplessly and said, okay, I'll say yes." Shin Xiaoyu immediately stopped crying and smiled, hee, that's right, bye-bye. From now on, you'll be a member of our music club. The people around them were shocked when they saw this. Is this still the same school beauty queen who was said to be cold and aloof? She's practically a little girl who is coquettish and cute. Jiang Bai inwardly lamented, wondering how he had so easily agreed to join. But since it was already done, he had no choice but to join the music club. "Come, stinky brother, since you have agreed to join our music club, you will have to fill out the application form." Shin Xiaoyue, with a face full of excitement, led Jiang Bai to the booth and took out an application form and placed it in front of him. "Okay." Jiang Bai picked up the pen with a bitter expression and started filling it out. When the crowd saw Jiang Bai's miserable expression, they couldn't help but complain. "This guy, he looks so reluctant, it's infuriating. We had to fight to get into this club, but he gets in without even an interview, and he's making such a miserable face. This guy really doesn't know how lucky he is." Shin Xiaoyue sat across from Jiang Bai, resting her chin in her hands as she stared intently at him. The thought that her stinky little brother would be a member of her club in the future made her heart flutter with joy. When Jiang Bai finished filling it out, Shin Xiaoyue politely handed him a bottle of water. "Little Bai, you must be thirsty, right? Here's some chilled water for you." The people around them were so angry when they saw the scene that they almost couldn't catch their breath. Holy shit, when did the cold and aloof school flower goddess become like this? She's practically a dog licker. In the past, it was always other boys who ran up to Shin Xiaoying with all kinds of drinks and milk tea to show their affection, but now it's Shin Xiaoying showing her affection for Jiang Bai with water. What on earth is going on in this world? Jiang Bai looked at the water that had already been opened by Shin Xiaoying, hesitated for a moment, picked it up and took a sip. In fact, he didn't want to drink it, but when he thought about the scene just now of Shin Xiaoying acting cute in public, he felt a wave of fear. "Sister Xiaoyue, I think everything is fine now, so I'll go first?" Jiang Bai now just wanted to quickly leave this place. Shin Xiaoyue glanced at the message she had written and said playfully, "Okay, Xiao Bai, I'll send you the remaining basic information about the club later." When the others heard this, they stared at each other in disbelief. Goodness, from what Flower Girl Shin said, it seems that Jiang Bai has already had a green light from her for a long time. Judging from the expressions of the two, I guess it's more or less true. Then, goodbye, Autumn Moon. Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai stood up and quickly left this place of controversy, leaving behind a comment. Chapter 17 Teleportation Technique. After leaving the music club, Jiang Bai went straight back to the dormitory. A little while later, his 3 roommates also returned. "Brother Bai, you're awesome. You posted on the school forum again today, and I never thought that Flower Queen Shin would personally invite you to join the music club." Lin Zixuan came into the dormitory and went up to Jiang Bai, his face full of excitement. "Brother Bai, in my opinion, Flower Queen Shin is clearly interested. Why don't you just go out with Flower Queen Shin? After all, she is your sister's best friend, and if you two get together, you'll become even closer." Lu Yu, who was standing nearby, also said half-jokingly. "How is that possible? You guys should stop making up stories. Hearing what his roommates said, Jiang Bai went crazy for a moment and rolled his eyes at them. Wang Hu, who was standing next to him, turned on his computer and looked at the others. Brothers, let's start playing? Oak, here I come. No problem, just give me 3 seconds. In a moment, the dormitory resounded with the screams of the several people. Four-eyed boy, come quickly to support us. Damn you, these dogs across the street have been here for half a day and a group of people are chasing me. Haven't you seen that the crystals on the bottom lane are almost pushed over? Okay, watch me unleash my ultimate move. You little trash across the street, let me show you the awesome power of Tiger. Jiang Bai couldn't help but smile and shake his head as he listened to the three of them greet each other across the street. Night. There was silence in the girls' dormitory, only the sound of light breathing coming and going. Shin Shoyue lay quietly on her bed, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. Her mind kept flashing back to the past few days with Jiang Bai, and she couldn't help but feel a little giddy. At that moment, Shin Shoyue suddenly realized that tomorrow was the long-awaited weekend after class. She couldn't help but pout lightly, and her charming peach eyes began to twirl, as if she were planning something. What interesting things will happen this weekend? Maybe she can go shopping and watch a movie with Jiang Bai, or find a quiet place to enjoy their time together. Countless beautiful thoughts filled her mind, making Shin Shoyue's mood even more excited. However, just as she was immersed in her vision of the future, a wave of drowsiness hit her, and her eyelids gradually became heavy. Eventually, unable to resist the drowsiness, Shin Shoyue slowly closed her eyes and drifted off to a sweet dream, with a happy smile on her lips. In her dream, she and Jiang Bai spent a romantic and unforgettable weekend. The next day, Jiang Bai was asleep when he was awakened by the alarm clock. When he opened his phone, he saw that it was already past 7 o'clock. Ah! I'm so sleepy. I should have known not to stay up all night last night. So Jiang Bai sat up with half-closed eyes, yawned, pulled back the covers and went to the bathroom to wash up. Lu Yu and Wang Hu also heard the noise in the bathroom and got up one after the other. By the time Jiang Bai finished washing up, the clock had pointed to 8 o'clock. He glanced at Lin Zixuan, who was still fast asleep and snoring, and shook his head helplessly. Four Eyes, I'm sorry, but we're going to be late. Then, Jiang Bai quickly fished his phone out of his pocket, turned up the volume to the max, and played the 9th set of radio exercises in DJ version. Suddenly, the music blasted through his ears. Lin Zixuan was startled awake by the sudden sound, and like someone who had been electrocuted, he kicked off the quilt and jumped off the top bunk. Then, as if in a reflex, he started jumping to the familiar movements of the radio exercises, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Seeing this, the people around him burst into laughter. As expected, the morning exercises seemed to be deeply imprinted in everyone's DNA. After a while, Lin Zixuan finally recovered from the laughter. He looked around, saw Jiang Bai next to him, who was staring at him with a wicked smile, and couldn't help but scratch his head. He asked suspiciously, Brother Bai, didn't I just do the morning exercises in the playground? How did I suddenly end up here? Hey! You idiot, what are you still doing here? Jiang Bai patted Lin Zixuan on the shoulder and reminded him with a smile to go wash up quickly, as class would start in 20 minutes if he didn't want to fail. Before Jiang Bai finished speaking, Lin Zixuan's face suddenly changed, as if he had suddenly remembered something important. He immediately grinned, showing an awkward but polite smile, and quickly said, Oops, sorry everyone. Just give me 2 minutes to freshen up, and I'll show you a teleportation technique that will make me appear in the classroom in an instant. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Zixuan rushed out of the room like a gust of wind, leaving everyone standing in their tracks. In the blink of an eye, Lin Zixuan had disappeared through the door, leaving only the half-closed door swaying gently. The remaining three, Jiang Bai, smiled at each other, linked arms, and walked towards the classroom. It was lunchtime, and the four of them trudged into the school cafeteria with heavy steps. Each of them had dark circles under their eyes, revealing an unmistakable look of fatigue. Last night, the four of them had played games until 4 or 5 in the morning before they finally gave up. They had only rested for about 2 hours before they had to force themselves to go to class. All morning, they had tried to concentrate on the lecture, but their eyelids kept drooping like a ton of bricks. At last, lunchtime arrived. They sat at the table, relieved, and looked at each other with a wry smile. Jiang Bai and the others ate in silence. As the saying goes, dry rice is not positive thinking, there is a problem. Suddenly, the originally noisy cafeteria instantly became silent, and everyone's eyes were cast towards the door. At that moment, a dreamlike and beautiful figure appeared before everyone's eyes. She was like a fairy descending to the mortal world, exuding an intoxicating charm and radiance. The figure was tall and graceful, with a delicate posture. A snow-white dress gently brushed the ground, as if blending in with the surroundings. When people finally came back to their senses, they realized that the person who had arrived was the cold and aloof school beauty goddess of the Demon University. One boy was so dumbfounded that he didn't even realize that the mung bean soup he had just drunk had unconsciously dripped onto the pants of the boy sitting next to him. "Damn, you're fucking sick. You disgust me to death." The boy who had come to his senses kept apologizing profusely. Jiang Bai and the other three didn't notice the commotion around them at all, and kept on busily eating. Shin Shoyua's beautiful eyes were like nimble butterflies, dancing in the bustling cafeteria as she searched for her target. It wasn't long before she locked onto Jiang Bai, who was buried in his meal, wolfing it down like a hungry wolf, and couldn't help but reveal a sweet and endearing smile. "Humph. This stinky little brother really knows how to hide, and it made my lady look for a long time," Shin Shoyue murmured softly. Then, she lightly walked over to the sales counter, casually selected a few dishes, and then, with her long, straight, beautiful legs, she picked up the tray and quickly walked towards where Jiang Bai was sitting. Every boy unconsciously straightened their backs wherever Shin Shoyue passed, and an indescribable look of expectation appeared on their faces. Their eyes became bright and feverish, as if they were silently telling themselves in their hearts, "Will she even look at me?" Some would even deliberately fiddle with their hair or adjust their clothes, trying to look more handsome and charming. Chapter 18 Alas! It's all a bad karma. Just as Jiang Bai was headlong in his rapture, buried in the enjoyment of his meal, a voice as crisp and pleasant as a yellow oriole emerged, drifting lightly into his ears. "Xiao Bai Bai, sister, I'm here to keep you company while you eat." The voice seemed to carry a hint of coquettishness, but also an endless tenderness. Jiang Bai subconsciously looked up, and his gaze met the person's directly. For a moment, time seemed to have come to a standstill. Before him appeared a refined and elegant face, with painted eyebrows, bright eyes like stars, and a slightly upturned mouth that revealed a touch of playfulness and cuteness. Holy shit, why is it Sister Chiu Yue? How can I run into her everywhere? Could it be that there is a divine plan behind all this? Everyone in the cafeteria was shocked by this scene, and their mouths twitched involuntarily. What the hell is going on? Why is it this freshman again? What is so great about him? Seeing that Jiang Bai was silent, Shin Shoyu walked straight up to him and sat down, and then she took a piece of meat from her plate and put it in Jiang Bai's bowl. Jiang Bai looked down at the inexplicable extra piece of meat in the bowl, looked up at Shin Shoyue with a suspicious face, and asked in puzzlement, "Shoyue, what are you doing?" Shin Shoyue gave a faint smile and said softly, "I've been trying to lose weight recently, so I can't enjoy this delicious meat, so I'll just leave it all to you." After saying that, she winked mischievously at Jiang Bai. "Are you sure, Autumn Moon? You need to lose weight when you're already close to perfect? I'm not well read, so don't lie to me, okay?" With that, Jiang Bai finished the meal with a heavy heart while being watched by Shin Shoyue as he ate, and wiped his mouth. "Autumn Moon, I'm done, I'll go first." "No, wait until I'm done, then we'll go together," Shin Shoyue said softly. "Stinky little brother, you still want to run? If you leave, how can I finish this meal without seeing you? As the saying goes, beautiful people are delicious." Lin Zixuan and the other two glanced at Jiang Bai with a good luck look. "Brother, you'd better wish yourself luck. It's not that I'm not going to help you, it's just that I'm really at my wit's end." "Brother Bai, then you just stay and eat with Sister Shin, we'll go first, bye." Lin Zixuan and the other two left after saying this and got up to leave. After Lin Zixuan and the others left, Jiang Bai could only wait helplessly for Shin Shoyue to finish eating. A few minutes later, Shin Shoyue wiped her mouth and smiled at Jiang Bai. "Okay, stinky brother, I'm done eating, let's go." Jiang Bai didn't say anything and followed Shin Shoyue out of the cafeteria, one after the other, under the gaze of everyone. Shin Shoyue walked out of the cafeteria door slowly with light steps, but just as she was about to step over the doorsill, she stopped without warning. Jiang Bai, who was walking with his head down behind her, didn't have time to react and directly stumbled into Shin Shoyue. "Ah!" A cry of alarm sounded, and Jiang Bai felt as if his head had been hit hard, and a sense of dizziness came over him. He subconsciously reached out and touched his forehead, then said apologetically to Shin Shoyue, "Shoyue, I'm sorry, I didn't see." Before he could finish his sentence, Shin Shoyue interrupted, "It's okay, Xiao Bai, are you okay? Did you hit yourself anywhere?" After saying this, Shin Shoyue hurriedly turned around, her beautiful eyes staring intently at Jiang Bai, her eyes full of concern. Looking at Jiang Bai's somewhat painful expression, Shin Shoyue's heart couldn't help but tighten. She quickly reached out her slender hand and gently stroked Zhang Bai's forehead, asking with a face full of concern, "Stupid brother, does it hurt?" "It's all my fault, I walked too quickly and caused you to suffer." There was a hint of self-blame and guilt in her voice. Hearing this, Zhang Bai looked up in surprise, and his gaze happened to fall on Shin Shoyue, who was approaching him. He couldn't help but feel a little startled, and a strange feeling welled up in his heart, and his heartbeat accelerated involuntarily. In just an instant, his cheeks turned as red as ripe apples, and he hurriedly and nervously looked away, stammering, "No. It doesn't hurt, it's fine." His voice was so low that even he himself could hardly hear it. At this moment, Shin Shoyue noticed Zhang Bai's shy reaction, and a faint smile could not help but appear at the corner of her mouth. That laugh seemed like a light breeze, gently brushing past Zhang Bai's ears, causing his ears to turn slightly red as well. "Evening." Shin Shoyue leaned lazily in her chair, her eyes unfocused and gentle, her hand holding the phone that gleamed faintly. The screen displayed an incredibly precious photo, a beautiful moment captured when she and Zhang Bai sang together at the freshman party. Shin Shoyue gazed at the photo of herself and Zhang Bai, and couldn't help but smile foolishly with happiness at the corner of her mouth. Just then, Su Wanning walked past and saw the scene, smiling and patting her on the shoulder. "Shoyue, are you suffering from love sickness?" Just then, a light footstep interrupted her thoughts. Su Wanning walked past her, and inadvertently glanced at the photo in Shin Shoyue's hands and the ecstatic expression on her face. Su Wanning couldn't help but feel curious, quickly walked up to Shin Shoyue, smiled, patted her on the shoulder, and teased her. "Shoyue, are you suffering from love sickness? You look so absent-minded, are you thinking about Xiao Shuidi?" After saying that, she winked at her mischievously. Shin Shoyue was startled by Su Wanning's sudden words, and her cheeks flushed with a blush. She shyly lowered her head, quickly turned off her phone, and said softly, "No. I was just browsing casually." Su Wanning's mouth curled up slightly, revealing a teasing smile, and she said teasingly, "Oh, I didn't realize that our always carefree Miss Shin could also be this shy. Tell me, have you really fallen for that little junior?" Hearing this, Shin Shoyue's face flushed with an imperceptible blush, but she did not hide it in the slightest. Instead, she straightened her back and admitted with a composed air, "Of course. What's so strange about that?" Her voice was firm and powerful, as if proclaiming her heart to the world. "Wow, it seems like our Miss Shoyue has really fallen in love." Su Wanning smiled and continued, "I'll be waiting for your good news then." Shin Shoyue gave a small smile, lying on her side on the soft bed, and reached for her phone. She tapped the screen to open the chat interface, typed a line of words quickly with her finger, and then clicked the send button to send the message to Zhang Bai. "Sailor Moon, bye-bye, tomorrow is the weekend. Do you have any plans?" After sending the message, Shin Shoyue stared at the phone screen, waiting for Zhang Bai's response. However, as the minutes passed, she never heard a word from the other person. She couldn't help but feel anxious, her eyebrows furrowed slightly, and she muttered under her breath, "The stupid little brother, it's been so long, why hasn't he replied to my message?" Just as Shin Shoyue was getting a little impatient, suddenly, the screen of her phone lit up, and a prompt tone sounded. She quickly grabbed her phone to check, and sure enough, it was a message from Zhang Bai. "Zhang Bai, no plans for now, why? Sister Shoyue?" Seeing that Zhang Bai had finally replied, Shin Shoyue felt a rush of joy and quickly began typing a reply. "Sailor Moon, my roommate just gave me 2 movie tickets, but she can't go because she has something to do. She wants to go with you. Zhang Bai, I'm afraid that's not possible, Shoyue. After all, men and women are different, and it's really not appropriate for the two of us to go to the movies together." Zhang Bai shrugged helplessly and rejected the invitation. Outright. Just as Zhang Bai thought that Shin Shoyue would not send a message, the next second, a message popped up. Shin Shoyue saw Zhang Bai's reply and angrily waved her little fists in the air. She bit her lip and quickly typed a line, "Do you believe I'll tell your sister you slept with me?" On the other side, Zhang Bai, who had seen this message, widened his eyes, looking at the text on the screen in disbelief, his face turning very ugly. He never expected Shin Shoyue to use this as a threat against him. Alas! It's all a karmic connection. It wasn't long before Zhang Bai's message came back. "Okay, Shoyue, I promise." Shin Shoyue replied excitedly, "Then meet me at the school gate tomorrow at 2 p.m. She then happily rolled around on the bed, looking forward to tomorrow's date. Zhang Bai sighed helplessly, thinking that she had now been completely manipulated by Shoyue. Chapter 19, The Elegant Sister Shin Shoyue. The next day. In the afternoon, Shin Shoyue sat at her desk and started applying her makeup, powdering her face, applying lipstick, and spraying perfume. Xiao Yanxin, who was standing nearby, was instantly invigorated by the sight. Wow! Our beautiful Shen, who is dressed so beautifully, is going on a date with whom? Could it be a junior schoolboy? Haha, you figured it out. Shin Shoyue stood up, opened the closet and took out a short skirt and a pair of black silk stockings with letters. Damn, Shoyue, don't you usually not like to wear black silk stockings with short skirts? Xiao Yanxin stared with wide eyes, unable to believe what she was seeing, and exclaimed as she watched Shin Shoyue putting on the black silk stockings. Xiao Yanxin teased, damn, Shoyue, your outfit today is pure imperial sister style. You'll definitely charm the younger guy. I have to say, Shin Shoyue was wearing a black skirt, and her charm as a young lady was bursting out of her. I believe that no matter which normal man saw her, they would be unable to control themselves. Shin Shoyue looked in the mirror and was very satisfied with her outfit. Stupid brother, I don't believe I can't get you this time? Then Shin Shoyue put on her high heels, picked up her bag, waved to Xiao Yanxin, and said goodbye. Jiang Bai, on the other hand, arrived at the school gate early. He looked handsome and sunny in a simple white shirt and jeans. Soon, Shin Shoyue, dressed in a classy style with black stockings and a short skirt, slowly walked towards Jiang Bai in her high heels. Jiang Bai was slightly taken aback when he saw this, and his throat involuntarily went dry. She really is stunning. Sister Choyue's temperament is really charming. When the two met, Jiang Bai's heartbeat couldn't help but accelerate a little. Shin Shoyue saw him and gave him a bright smile as she walked over to him. Stinky brother, what do you think? Isn't my sister beautiful today? Shin Shoyue twirled around in front of Jiang Bai in her high heels and winked. Hearing this, Jiang Bai lowered his head and unconsciously touched his nose and said, very beautiful. Shin Shoyue heard the answer she wanted and her mood immediately improved. Sister Choyue, shall we go straight to the movies now? Jiang Bai asked bluntly. Well, let's go shopping first. We can go to the movies in the evening. Shin Shoyue curved her lips and said. Oh. Jiang Bai nodded. Shin Shoyue walked quickly to the roadside, and after pausing, she turned around impatiently, her gaze falling on the figure of Jiang Bai behind her, who was dawdling and unhurried. Shin Shoyue's mouth curled up slightly, revealing a bright smile. Without hesitation, she reached out and grabbed Jiang Bai's hand, pulling it tightly. At the same time, she urged anxiously, hurry up, the light is about to turn red. It was as if time was running out and there was no time to waste. Facing this sudden move, Jiang Bai was obviously caught off guard. His eyes widened, his face full of disbelief. It seemed that he had not expected Shin Shoyue to be so proactive and intimate with him. At this moment, Jiang Bai's mind may be in turmoil, but on the surface, he can only be passively led by Shin Shoyue. After crossing the road, Jiang Bai said helplessly to her, Shoyue, can you let go now? Shin Shoyue gave Jiang Bai a small smile and let go of his hand. Then, the two went to the subway station and took line 3 to the mall. Since it was the weekend, there weren't too many people on the subway, but there were quite a few. Jiang Bai and Shin Shoyue found a seat and Jiang Bai deliberately kept a little distance from Shin Shoyue, but Shin Shoyue deliberately moved closer to Jiang Bai. A faint, indistinct scent of perfume lingered on Jiang Bai's nose. It wasn't a pungent smell, but a fresh, pleasant one. Jiang Bai glanced at Shin Shoyue next to him and noticed that she had light makeup on today, which made her even more beautiful. Together with her perfect figure, no man could resist. Even the old man sitting across from them couldn't help but steal a few glances at Shin Shoyue. It was really amazing how Shin Shoyue was dressed today, and anyone would be unable to stop looking at her. The people around them saw Jiang Bai sitting next to him, looking indifferent, and they hated it. It made people feel like hitting him. No, man, this pretty girl is sitting next to you, and you don't even look at her, what a moron. If Jiang Bai could hear him, he would definitely say, no, man, which eye of yours saw that I didn't look? Huaxi Shopping Plaza Center. Located in the heart of the bustling city, the downtown area of the Magic City, Huaxi Shopping Plaza Center brings together many internationally renowned brands and local high-quality businesses, making it the first choice for people to shop, relax, and entertain. Because it's the weekend, there are a lot of people here today, but most of them are young couples and college students. They entered a fashionable clothing store, where Shin Shoyue selected a few items of clothing and asked Jiang Bai to hold them. Jiang Bai held the clothes carefully, afraid of getting them dirty or wrinkled. Shin Shoyue couldn't help smiling as she watched him. Brother, you're really cute when you're so careful. Shin Shoyue patted Jiang Bai's shoulder lightly. Jiang Bai blushed a little and smiled embarrassedly. They continued shopping, and Shin Shoyue tried on a few clothes, asking Jiang Bai for his opinion each time. Although Jiangbai didn't know much about fashion, he tried his best to give his advice. Before they knew it, it was already past 6 o'clock, and Jiangbai followed Shin Shoyue to the cinema. Sister Choyue, you bought the movie tickets, I'll go buy drinks. What would you like to drink, sister? Jiangbai asked with his clear eyes looking at Shin Shoyue. Hearing this, Shin Shoyue's heart was filled with joy, but her face remained expressionless. She quickly spoke up, Jiangbai, I've already ordered on the app, so go get our movie tickets. I'll be right there. Her voice was gentle and sweet, as if it could melt people's hearts. After she finished speaking, she didn't forget to give Jiangbai a smile as beautiful and moving as the blooming of spring flowers. Seeing this, Jiangbai couldn't say anything more, and could only nod his head in agreement. Then he turned and walked towards the ticket machine. Watching Jiangbai's departing back, Shin Shoyue couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. In fact, she had long since decided to let Jiangbai go get the tickets, because in that way, she would have more time to prepare for the next plan. Shin Shoyue actually didn't place an order on the app at all. She just walked into a milk tea shop and said to the little girl behind the counter, 1 white peach oolong rice mochi and 3 pieces of golden brown sugar, and oh, could you please give me 2 straws? Thanks. Chapter 20 Shin Shoyue's Little Scheme. 5 minutes later, Shin Shoyue arrived at the cinema waiting area with the milk tea and found Jiangbai. Hey, little bye-bye, I'm back. Shin Shoyue put the milk tea with a straw in front of Jiangbai. Jiangbai slowly looked up, his gaze falling on the only cup of milk tea in front of him, and a trace of doubt could not help but well up in his heart. He asked softly, Huh? Sister Choyu, why is there only 1 cup of milk tea? Where's your share? There was a hint of confusion in his voice. Shin Shoyu's heartbeat did not quicken at this question, and her face remained calm as water. She replied nonchalantly, Oh, just now, when I was ordering with the app, I accidentally ordered the wrong thing, so I only bought 1 cup. It's okay, you drink first. She spoke so naturally, as if everything was just the way it should be. However, upon hearing these words, Jiangbai did not hesitate to push the milk tea in his hand toward Shin Shoyue, while lightly saying, Sister Choyue, you drink it. I can just go to the popcorn stand next door and buy another Coke. After saying this, he turned around and prepared to walk in that direction. No need, why don't you have a sip first? Seeing this, Shin Shoyue hurriedly reached out and grabbed the corner of Jiangbai's clothes, and quickly blinked her eyes, a trace of imperceptible expectation flashing in her eyes. This sudden move made Jiangbai slightly stunned. He looked at Shin Shoyue blankly, not knowing how to respond for a moment. What exactly did Shoyue mean? I have no idea. Seeing that Jiangbai had no reaction, Shin Shoyue's beautiful eyes flashed, and she immediately changed the expression on her face. The original calmness was instantly replaced by charm, and she opened her red lips slightly, pouting her pink lips, her soft voice as if it could drip with water. Little bye-bye, just take a sip. The sweet tone of her voice carried a hint of coquetry, and the intimacy and pleading in it made it really hard to refuse. Hearing this, Jiangbai felt a tremor throughout his body, and goosebumps appeared all over his skin. However, he was too embarrassed to refuse directly, so he gulped down a small sip with a stiff upper lip and extreme caution. However, at that moment, Shin Shoyue's eyes flashed with a cunning look, and she quickly pulled out another straw from behind her with lightning speed, taking advantage of Jiangbai's lack of guard to shove the straw into the cup. Then, without hesitation, she bit down on the straw with her mouth and took a sip as well. This series of actions was as natural and smooth as flowing clouds in water, and it was so fast that it was astonishing. Jiangbai on the side did not react at all, and his whole body froze, his eyes wide open and his face full of shock. What? After a long while, he came back to his senses and couldn't help but let out a cry. Xiao, sister, you. Jiangbai's eyes were wide open and he stuttered, unable to complete a sentence. Shin Shoyue seemed very pleased with her successful sneak attack. She winked mischievously at Jiangbai and beamed with a smug smile. Jiangbai came back to his senses and smiled helplessly. He shook his head gently, thinking to himself, well, as the saying goes, experience is the best teacher. However, he had to admit that for a moment just now, Shin Shoyue's actions had given him a strange feeling in his heart, a little ticklish and a little sweet. As time passed, the two walked into the cinema, one on each side, found a seat and sat down. It wasn't long before the big screen lit up and the movie began. At this point, Jiangbai realized that the movie ticket Shin Shoyue had purchased was actually one of the most popular romantic movies of the moment. It wasn't long before Shin Shoyue cautiously glanced at Jiangbai out of the corner of her eye. She took a deep breath, and when Jiangbai wasn't looking, she quickly reached out and lifted the armrest between their seats. Then, like a little cat, she moved a small distance towards Jiang Bai with lightness and silence. However, in the blink of an eye, Jiang Bai seemed to suddenly sense something, and he slightly shifted his body and gently tilted his head. At that moment, their eyes met, and Jiang Bai's deep, dark eyes met Shin Shoyua's gaze. Time seemed to have come to a standstill, and the whole world was left with just the two of them. Shin Shoyua's eyes were full of deep affection and longing, as she gazed at Jiang Bai silently, her emotions surging like a tidal wave. A few seconds later, Jiang Bai, who had come back to his senses, scratched his head and looked away in some confusion, but his heart was pounding like a fawn. Seeing this, Shin Shoyue felt a little thrill of joy. Seeing Jiang Bai continue to stare at the screen, absorbed in the movie plot, Shin Shoyue couldn't help but feel a mischievous urge. She quietly reached out her finger and gently pinched Jiang Bai's soft earlobe. This sudden intimate contact seemed to send an electric current through Jiang Bai's body, causing him to shiver involuntarily. "Sister Shoyue, what are you doing? Your ears are so red," Shin Shoyue said with a curved lip. Jiang Bai. Before long, Shin Shoyue began to play her seductive game again. First, she pretended to be coy as she held out her palm to cover her mouth, then she pretended to doze off. Then, she slowly leaned over, close to Jiang Bai's ear, and whispered, "Little Bai, I'm a little sleepy, can I borrow your broad shoulders for a while? It would be nice if I could lean on them for a while." While she was talking, she deliberately winked at Jiang Bai, revealing an ambiguous expression. Facing this sudden move, Jiang Bai couldn't help but be a little taken aback. He stared wide-eyed at Shin Shoyue, who was close at hand, and felt the faint fragrance and warm breath exuding from her body. For a moment, he was at a loss for what to do. Shin Shoyue, meanwhile, looked like a little fox who had gotten her way, her face beaming with a smug smile. Without waiting for Jiang Bai to say anything, she pretended to close her eyes and lean on his shoulder. Jiang Bai's face flushed, and he looked around nervously, noticing that no one had noticed them. So, he carefully shifted his body so that Shin Shoyue could lean more comfortably on his shoulder. "It seems that my stupid younger brother is not a blockhead after all." Shin Shoyue sighed contentedly, leaning back against Jiang Bai's shoulder with a sense of relief, as if she had found the warmest harbor. Jiang Bai could feel Shin Shoyue's breathing and her hair brushing against his cheek every now and then, causing a slight itch. His heart beat uncontrollably, as if it was about to jump out of his chest. Nevertheless, he tried his best to remain calm and quietly enjoyed the movie. The male and female protagonists in the movie were embracing in a romantic scene, and Jiang Bai's thoughts gradually drifted away. He imagined that he and Shin Shoyue could also have such beautiful moments, and a sweet anticipation welled up in his heart. As he thought about it, Jiang Bai realized that he was probably just being paranoid. Not only was the latter 2 years older than him, she was also his sister's best friend. Although he and Shin Shoyue had had sex, Jiang Bai still didn't know what kind of feelings he had for Shin Shoyue, who was 2 years older than him. It might be guilt, or maybe. Chapter 21. Is he trying to sneak a kiss at me when I'm not looking? He. Before long, the movie came to an end and the audience began to leave in an orderly manner. In just a few minutes, the huge cinema was left with only Jiang Bai and Shin Shoyue, who was sleeping on his shoulder. Seeing this, Jiang Bai moved his body gently, leaned closer to Shin Shoyue, and whispered, "Shoyue, wake up, the movie is over, we should go home." Before the words had finished, Shin Shoyue's eyelashes trembled slightly and her eyes slowly opened. When she saw the face in front of her, which was so close that it seemed almost to be touching, an absurd thought flashed through her mind. "Little guy, are you trying to sneak a kiss at me when we're so close together?" Shin Shoyu couldn't help but think to herself. Sometimes, women's imaginations are really extraordinarily rich and colorful. At this moment, she was completely immersed in the romantic fantasy she had woven, and involuntarily pouted her luscious lips, slowly moving closer to Jiang Bai. At that moment, Jiang Bai was suddenly stunned by the scene in front of him, and he panicked and backed away. However, at this time, Shin Shoyue's heart was full of eager anticipation for the kiss, and she waited quietly for that sweet moment to come. However, as the minutes passed, she never felt the gentle touch she had expected. With a full heart of doubt, she gently opened her eyes, but was shocked to see Jiang Bai staring at her with a face of helplessness. In an instant, Shin Shoyue suddenly realized that everything was just her own wishful thinking. She couldn't help blushing, and she inwardly groaned, "Oh dear, this is really embarrassing." "Come on, Shoyue, don't pretend to be asleep anymore. I already know you're awake. Hurry up and get up. We should go home too," Jiang Bai said expressionlessly. Shin Shoyue smiled awkwardly, quickly sat up straight, and tidied her hair. She sighed inwardly, it's a good thing no one else saw this embarrassing scene. She looked at Jiang Bai, and saw that he was calm, as if nothing had happened. The two walked silently out of the movie theater. The streets at night were bustling with traffic, neon lights flashing, and the lights were brilliant, decorating the city like a dream. Xiaobai, are you hungry? Shin Shouyue suddenly broke the silence and said. Jiang Bai heard this and shook his head slightly in reply, saying, I'm not too hungry yet. Looking at Jiang Bai's honest and meek appearance, Shin Shouyue couldn't help but sigh in her heart, what a silly brother. She subconsciously touched her own stomach, which had been grumbling for a long time, and then licked her somewhat dry lips, speaking sweetly to Jiang Bai, but sister, I'm hungry. Why don't we go to the nearby night market and see if there's anything delicious? Before Jiang Bai could respond, Shin Shouyue impatiently reached out and grabbed Jiang Bai's arm, and they quickly walked in the direction of the night market. Jiang Bai could only follow behind, and looking at Shin Shouyue's cheerful back, a smile could not be helped to appear at the corner of his mouth. Walking into the night market, the aroma of all kinds of delicious food came wafting towards them. Excited, Shin Shouyue looked left and right, and her gaze finally settled on a small stall selling pancake fruit. Boss, 2 pancake fruit, with ham, pork floss, and crackers. Shin Shouyue looked back at Jiang Bai, little Bai, do you like spring onion and coriander? Jiang Bai nodded, his gaze always falling on Shin Shouyue. He glanced at her and quickly averted his eyes. After taking the finished pancake fruit, Shin Shouyue couldn't wait to take a big bite inside with satisfaction. Mmm. Delicious. You try it. She said, and handed the other one to Jiang Bai. Jiang Bai took the pancake fruit and took a bite, and the taste was really good. The two continued to wander around the night market while eating. Suddenly, Shin Shouyue saw a cotton candy stand and dragged Jiang Bai over. Boss, I want a pink cotton candy. Shin Shouyue looked at the boss who was making the cotton candy with anticipation. Jiang Bai gazed at Shin Shouyue's innocent smile like a child's and an indescribable emotion welled up in his heart. Then the corner of his mouth rose slightly, and a smile emerged that even he himself had not expected. Shin Shouyue gently took the cotton candy her boss handed her, and took a bite carefully. The sweet taste instantly filled her mouth. She handed the cotton candy to Jiang Bai with joy, her eyes sparkling with anticipation, and said softly, Xiao Bai, it's really delicious, you should try some too. Ah. Sister Choyu, you eat it, I don't like sweet things. Jiang Bai was slightly taken aback by this remark and refused immediately. When she heard this, Shin Shouyue not only did not feel the slightest bit discouraged or frustrated, on the contrary, the smile on her face became even more radiant and enthusiastic. She gently lifted the string of cotton candy in her hand to Jiang Bai's face and carefully tried to bring it to his mouth. At the same time, Shin Shouyue kept mumbling, Oh, little brother Bai, just take a little bite, really just a little bite, could it be that you want your sister to feed you the cotton candy herself? Ha, while she spoke, a sly and charming light flashed in her beautiful, big eyes, as if she were deliberately teasing the somewhat shy and timid boy in front of her. Just as he was hesitating, Shin Shouyue suddenly grabbed his hand and stuffed the cotton candy into his mouth. How was it? It was delicious, wasn't it? Shin Shouyue looked at Jiang Bai expectantly, her eyes shining like stars. It was pretty good. Jiang Bai chewed a few times, surprised by the soft, sweet sensation. Although he didn't like sweet food, he had to admit that the cotton candy was really quite delicious. After walking out of the lively night market filled with the smell of fireworks, Shin Shouyue stroked her round belly contentedly and let out a satisfied sigh. I'm so full. Xiao Bai, I had a really good time today. As she said this, Shin Shouyue's gaze fell on Jiang Bai next to her, but the other person didn't respond at all, just looking over at her indifferently and responding with a very perfunctory nod. Seeing this, Shin Shouyue's heart suddenly welled up with a sense of displeasure, but she did not show it. Instead, she quickly suppressed her emotions and put on a look of anger. She crossed her arms tightly in front of her chest, her lips slightly curled up, as if they could hang an oil pot, and she muttered to herself. Humph, you little Bai, how dare you be so dismissive of your lady? I am extremely displeased at the moment. As soon as he finished speaking, Jiang Bai subconsciously glanced at Shin Shouyue, and muttered to himself, Ouch, I'm really tired of this. What is this Choyue's sister really like? Why does she change her face and get angry whenever she wants? Seeing this, Jiang Bai could only sigh helplessly and explain, Shoyue's sister, I didn't mean it like that. I'm also very happy to be able to accompany you today. Upon hearing this, Shin Shouyue immediately put on a smiling face and patted Jiang Bai on the head, Xiao Bai, you're so good. Chapter 22 Xiao Bai, you're so good. Shin Shouyue and Jiang Bai walked shoulder to shoulder, one on each side, along the quiet and dim road at night. Suddenly, A cold wind blew without warning, and Shin Shoyue subconsciously shuddered. Her body instinctively reacted by hugging her arms tightly. Jiang Bai, on the other hand, stood still as if nothing had happened. Shin Shoyue couldn't help but mutter to herself, "This stupid brother, why doesn't he react at all? He's really a piece of wood." Just as Shin Shoyue was racking her brains, Jiang Bai suddenly turned his head and his gaze fell on her trembling body. A hint of concern and hesitation could be seen in his eyes. After some struggle, Jiang Bai finally made up his mind, gently took off his jacket, and then carefully handed it to Shin Shoyue, saying in a flat tone, "Sister Shoyue, here, take it." Seeing this, a warm current welled up in Shin Shoyue's heart. Her smile bloomed like spring flowers, and she quickly reached out her delicate hands to catch the jacket, saying softly with gratitude, "Thank you, Xiao Bai." Before the words had finished, she could not wait to throw the jacket, which still retained Jiang Bai's warmth and breath, over her shoulders. Feeling the warmth and protection, her mood became happy and good. A light breeze blew, and Shin Shoyue lightly sniffed Jiang Bao's jacket. A faint, indistinct smell of lime entered her nose. This fresh smell seemed to have a magical power, soothing and relaxing her body and mind, which had been a little tired. Hee, it feels so good to be cared for by my smelly little brother. After walking for a while, Shin Shoyue suddenly felt a tingling pain in her little feet in her high heels. She couldn't help but frown, stopped walking, and reached down to gently rub the soles of her feet. These beautiful high heels were specially selected by her to make her look more elegant and taller. However, at the moment, despite the beauty of the shoes, the long walk had made her feet start to suffer. Jiang Bai noticed Shin Shoyue's unusual appearance and hurriedly stopped and walked over to her, asking with concern, "Sister Shoyue, what's wrong? Are you not feeling well?" Shin Shoyue gave a small smile, trying to hide the pain, and said, "It's nothing, I think I walked too much today. My sister's feet seem to have blisters, and it hurts a little, but it's okay, I can still hold on." After she finished speaking, she forced herself to endure the pain and took another step forward. Jiang Bai looked at Shin Shoyue's stubborn face and couldn't help but feel a surge of pain in his heart. Without saying a word, he crouched down and gently lifted Shin Shoyue's right foot, carefully removing her high heels. "Come, Shoyu, rest your foot on my lap. It will feel better," Jiang Bai said softly. Looking at this small, delicate, pink and tender little foot, Jiang Bai was momentarily stunned, and then looked a little silly. Shin Shoyu felt a little embarrassed when she noticed Jiang Bai's gaze, but the pain in her foot made her unable to refuse Jiang Bai's kindness. She looked at Jiang Bai gratefully, and then slowly stretched out her foot and placed it on Jiang Bai's lap. Jiang Bai, who had come back to his senses, gently massaged the soles of Shin Shoyue's feet, and asked with concern, "How is it? Is it better?" Shin Shoyue closed her eyes and felt the kneading of Jiang Bai's fingers. The pain gradually eased a lot. She nodded and smiled, "Well, it still hurts a little bit. But with Xiao Bai Bai's massage, I feel much better." "Thank you, Xiao Bai Bai." Jiang Bai nodded and continued to massage Shin Shoyue's other foot. After a while, Shin Shoyue felt that the pain in her foot seemed to have eased slightly, but she didn't show it and continued to pretend to be in great pain. "Little White, my sister's foot still hurts a lot. Maybe it's because I just walked in high heels for too long, and now I can't even stand steadily," Shin Shoyue said tenderly, with a hint of helplessness and grievance in her voice. She deliberately put on a cute tone of voice. Hearing Shin Shoyue's voice, Jiang Bai's heart suddenly felt like it had been electrocuted. Jiang Bai was silent for a long time before looking at Shin Shoyue and asking, "So, Shoyue, what should we do? Should we take a taxi back?" "No," Shin Shoyue hurriedly said when she heard that they were going to take a taxi back. If they took a taxi back, then why would she let him carry her on his back like this? "Huh?" Jiang Bai looked at Shin Shoyue in confusion. Shin Shoyue pursed her red lips and whispered to Jiang Bai, "Why don't you carry your sister back?" Upon hearing these words, Jiang Bai was momentarily stunned. Did Shoyue really wait for him here for half a day? But then, on second thought, it didn't seem like she was pretending. After a moment's thought, Jiang Bai knelt down and picked Shin Shoyue up on his back. Shin Shoyue was secretly delighted, and wrapped her arms tightly around Jiang Bai's neck. "Xiao Bai Bai, you're so good," Shin Shoyue said softly as she leaned against Jiang Bai's back. Jiang Bai walked steadily with Shin Shoyue on his back. At this moment, Jiang Bai felt the soft touch on his back, and his heart pounded nonstop, his face flushing red. "I never thought that Sister Shoyue was so attractive. If I marry her in the future, her children will definitely not go hungry, right?" Thinking about this, Jiang Bai shook his head. "Jiang Bai, what are you thinking? She is your sister's best friend. Along the way, they didn't speak again, only the sounds of their breathing and footsteps intertwined. Unconsciously, Jiang Bai carried Shin Shoyue back to the bottom of the girls' dormitory building. Jiang Bai gently set Shin Shoyue down, looked at her, and a smile appeared on his face. Sister Shoyue, we're here. Shin Shoyue reluctantly got off Jiang Bai's back and tidied her hair. Thank you, Jiang Bai. Do you want to go up for a cup of tea? Shin Shoyue half-jokingly asked with a smile. Jiang Bai was shocked and hurriedly shook his head. No thanks, it's getting late, Sister Shoyue should get some rest early. Going to the girls' dormitory in the middle of the night for tea? Are you kidding? If the dormitory manager found out, she would be in trouble. Okay then, good night. Shin Shoyue nodded with a smile. Good night, Sister Shoyue. Oh, yes, Sister Shoyue, don't forget to soak your feet tonight. Jiang Bai quickly turned around and left after saying this, leaving Shin Shoyue standing in place, looking at his departing back, with a barely perceptible smile on the corner of her mouth. After Jiang Bai disappeared into the darkness, Shin Shoyue slowly walked towards the girls' dormitory. Girls' dormitory. Xiao Yanxin and her two other roommates saw Shin Shoyue limping in with a high heel in her hand, and they immediately widened their eyes and stared at each other, all staring at her without saying a word. Oh my, Shoyu, what happened to you? Xiao Yanxin could no longer hold back her curiosity and blurted out. Su Wanting, with a wicked smile on her face, speculated, you didn't go to the woods with your junior, did you? Then, she winked mischievously at Shin Shoyu. Ah! Shoyu, you gave up your virginity on your first date? Meng Jiaojia couldn't help but let out a shocked cry. Hearing what her roommates said, Shin Shoyu's face instantly turned red. She was so angry that she raised the high heels in her hand, as if she were going to throw them at them, and cursed, you heartless bunch, you just know how to make fun of me. Oh, I see. Xiao Yanxin let out a sigh of relief. Then take your shoes off and let's have a look at the wound. Shin Shoyue sat down by the bed, took off her shoes, and saw that there were several clear blisters on the soles of her feet. Gee, that's terrible, Shoyue. Su Wanting leaned forward and asked, but how did you just get back here? Shin Shoyue thought back to the scene just now when Jiang Bai carried her on his back, and a warm current welled up in her heart, and a blush of shyness involuntarily spread across her cheeks. She said softly, of course it was Xiao Bai. When he saw that my feet were hurt, he felt so sorry for me that he volunteered to carry me back. While Meng Jiajiao's eyes immediately lit up with a twinkle of envy when she heard this. How romantic. I didn't realize that Xiao Bai was so considerate. Hey, you even called him Little Bai, an intimate nickname. Xiao Yanxin interjected, her tone tinged with teasing. Shin Shoyue's face turned even redder, and she lowered her head, fidgeting with the hem of her shirt and saying a little embarrassed, oh, don't laugh at me. I just think it's a more intimate way to call someone. Shin, you beauty, tell us about your date with Xiao Xiaodi today. Su Wanting asked with great curiosity. Okay, I'm going to soak my feet. Seeing this, Shin Shoyue quickly changed the subject and walked into the bathroom with a basin. In front of the mirror, Shin Shoyue looked at her red cheeks and couldn't help but think of Jiang Bai. This stupid little brother is quite considerate after all. Chapter 23, Breakfast Delivery. The next morning, the sun shone through the window and illuminated Jiang Bai's face as he woke up. He rubbed his eyes, stretched, and then picked up the phone that was by the bed. As soon as he opened the screen, he saw two messages from Shin Shoyue. Good morning, little brother. The first message read, with a playful and cute tone. Then came the second message, today is another day to think about Xiao Bai. Jiang Bai couldn't help but shake his head at this, a helpless smile creeping to the corner of his mouth. He muttered to himself, not knowing how to reply to her. After a moment's thought, he decided to send her a simple but warm greeting, good morning, Shoyu. After sending the message, Jiang Bai put down his phone, got dressed, and prepared to start a brand new day. After washing up, Jiang Bai strode energetically towards the playground to start his daily morning run. This habit has been deeply rooted in his life since junior high school and has become an indispensable part of his daily routine. After the morning run, Jiang Bai took a short break before walking briskly towards the school cafeteria. Before he reached the entrance, he ran into Su Chanxian and one of her roommates. It looked like they had just finished eating in the cafeteria. Jiang Bai, what a coincidence. Su Chanxian tried hard to force a smile to break the slightly awkward situation. However, Jiang Bai merely nodded indifferently and then walked past the two of them as if nothing had happened, not even glancing at Su Chanxian once. Looking at Jiang Bai's receding back, Su Chanxian felt an indescribable sense of loss well up in her heart. She knew deep down that from the moment he rejected Jiang Bai, they would never be the same. Ding dong. Jiang Bai, who was drinking millet porridge in the cafeteria, suddenly heard a message tone come from his phone. He put down his spoon, picked up his phone and glanced at it. He saw a message pop up on the screen. Sailor Moon, Xiao Bai Bai, sister is hungry, pitiful. It was followed by a tearful emoticon. After reading the message, Jiang Bai thought for a moment, then replied, Sister Qiuyu, if you're hungry, just go eat. At that moment, Shin Qiuyu, who was sitting in her dorm room, leaning back in her chair, saw Jiang Bai's reply and was momentarily taken aback. She pouted her lips and muttered, the stupid brother of mine really is a blockhead, he doesn't even understand what I mean. After a while, Shin Qiuyu sent Jiang Bai another message, but my sister's feet still hurt, so she can't go to the cafeteria. Looking at the message sent by Shin Qiuyu, Jiang Bai helplessly shrugged. He knew very well that this sister Qiuyu just wanted him to deliver breakfast to her, so why didn't she just say so? Why did she have to go to such lengths? Jiang Bai quickly finished eating and went to the cafeteria window to buy a breakfast and walked towards the girls' dormitory. Jiang Bai arrived downstairs at the girls' dormitory, stood still, took his phone out of his pocket, found the chat window with Shin Qiuyu, edited the message and sent it. Jiang Bai, Qiuyu, I'm downstairs, come down and get your breakfast. Meanwhile, in the girls' dormitory. Stupid brother, stupid Jiang Bai, why haven't you replied for so long? You're killing me. Shin Qiuyu sat angrily on a chair, hugging a pink doll in her arms, and kept muttering to herself. However, the next second, ding dong. A prompt tone sounded, and Shin Qiuyu, as if a switch had been pressed, quickly picked up the mobile phone placed aside, unlocked the screen and opened the message. When she saw the message from Jiang Bai, the original dissatisfaction on her face instantly disappeared, and it was replaced with a full of happiness and joy. Hey Shin Qiuyu couldn't help but laugh out loud, and then couldn't wait to get up and walk downstairs. A few minutes later, Shin Qiuyu limped out of the dormitory door in her pajamas. Her gait was a little unsteady, as if every step brought pain, but a trace of subtle shyness and embarrassment was hanging on her face. When she saw Jiang Bai, who was looking down at his phone, she couldn't help but feel a little excited. So she called out softly, Xiao Bai Bai, I'm here. Upon hearing the voice, Jiang Bai slowly raised his head and looked in the direction of the sound. However, when he saw how Shin Qiuyu looked at the moment, he couldn't help but frown. He saw Shin Qiuyu wearing pajamas that were a far cry from her usual image, they were cute panda pajamas. She usually looked mature and composed, but now she looked exceptionally playful and innocent. This contrast surprised Jiang Bai. Just as he was lost in thought across the river, Shin Qiuyu had already arrived in front of him. She leaned in close, blinked her charming peach-colored eyes, waved her hand gently, and said coquettishly, Hee, Xiao Bai Bai, what are you thinking about? Jiang Bai was startled by this sudden move. He snapped back to reality, a slight embarrassed smile on his face, while subconsciously scratching his head, he stuttered, No. I wasn't thinking anything. At this point, Jiang Bai remembered that he had come to deliver breakfast. He quickly handed it to Shin Qiuyu, smiling and saying, Oh, yes, Qiuyu, here's your breakfast. Shin Qiuyu took the breakfast, and a flash of surprise and emotion passed through her eyes. She said gently, Thank you, Xiao Bai. Her voice was as beautiful as music from heaven, intoxicating. Sister Qiuyu, how's your foot? Have you applied medicine? Jiang Bai looked at Shin Qiuyu's foot, his brows slightly furrowed, and he asked with concern. Shin Qiuyu lightly moved her toes, feeling the vague pain, and replied softly, I have, it's already much better, it just still hurts a little, but it's not a big deal, it should be fine in a few days. That's good, Qiuyu, you shouldn't wear high heels for a while, Jiang Bai instructed. Upon hearing this, Shin Qiuyu's mouth slightly curled up, and she whispered, I know, Xiao Bai. There was a hint of coquettishness and obedience in her voice. Well, then, Autumn Moon, I'll go back to the dormitory first, bye. After Jiang Bai finished speaking, he glanced at Shin Qiuyu again before turning and leaving the girls' dormitory. At this time, Xiao Yanxin, Su Wanning, and Meng Jiaojiao, who had been hiding nearby, quickly came to Shin Qiuyu's side. Beauty Shin, don't look, they've already gone far away, what are you still looking at? Su Wanting said teasingly. Shin Qiuyu then came back to her senses, coughed lightly to hide her embarrassment. Oh, why did you come down? Shin Qiuyu asked in puzzlement. If we don't come down now, I'm afraid we'll miss the show. Xiao Yanxin said with a smile. Shin Qiuyu's face suddenly turned red. What show? Don't be ridiculous. Oh, you're still embarrassed. Meng Jiaojiao said, but seriously, I think Jiang Bai still cares about you quite a bit. Shin Shoyue's heart was sweet and her face flushed, as attractive as a ripe apple. She said shyly, "Of course, the person I like can't be bad, can he?" After saying this, Shin Shoyue seemed a little embarrassed, slightly lowering her head and playing with the hem of her clothes. "Okay, let's hurry up and go up." She looked up, her gaze fixed ahead, carrying the breakfast and limping into the dormitory building door, as if she had forgotten that there were still 3 people behind her. Chapter 24 Stinky Brother, I like you, stay with me. Night. Ding dong. Jiangbai had just finished showering and was walking out of the bathroom when he saw the screen of his phone on the table light up with an alert tone. He wiped the wet hair with one hand and picked up the phone with the other to check it. Jiangbai's brows furrowed slightly as he thought, why is Autumn Moon sending a message at this hour? And it's a voice message? Confused, he hesitated for a moment before tapping lightly on the voice message. The next second, Shin Shoyue's voice with a very domineering air sounded. "Stinky little brother, I've already closed one eye. Oh, when you say goodnight to your sister, close the other one." Suddenly, Lin Zixuan exclaimed in surprise, "Holy shit, Bai, I think I heard a girl's voice." Bai Zhong's heart suddenly skipped a beat, but he pretended to be unconcerned on his face, shrugged his shoulders without saying a word, and lied without blushing, "Oh, that's probably just your imagination." After saying that, he pretended to pat Lin Zixuan on the shoulder to show his support. Jiang put down the towel, leaned back in his chair slowly, and secretly pondered how to respond to this message. He took a deep breath, then used his fingers to tap out on the keyboard, "Good night." Not long after, a crisp tone sounded from his phone. Jiangbai picked it up and saw a voice message from Shin Shoyue on the screen. He glanced at the other 3 roommates and then lowered the volume before tapping the voice message and holding it up to his ear. A sweet voice entered his ears, "Hee hee, stinky brother, sleep well, don't move in your dreams, wait for your sister to come find you." Upon hearing these words, Jiang Bai's face instantly turned red. He quickly shoved the phone into his pocket to avoid being discovered by his roommates. The other 3 roommates looked at him suspiciously, as if they had sensed something. "Brother Bai, what's wrong with you? Why are you so red?" Lu Yu asked curiously. "No. Nothing, I'm a little hot." Jiang Bai stuttered, secretly glad in his heart that they hadn't heard the content of the voice message. "Something's wrong, Bai. You must be hiding something from us." Wang Hu and Lin Zixuan agreed. "No, you're just being paranoid. Go to sleep, or you won't have any energy for class tomorrow." Jiang Bai said, quickly climbed into his bed, and pulled the quilt over him. Jiang Bai lay in bed, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. Shin Shoyue's words kept echoing in his head. He didn't know what kind of feelings he had for Shin Shoyue, but he had a wonderful dream in his sleep. Wednesday. Shin Shoyue's foot injury has almost recovered. The rest and recuperation of the past few days has not been in vain, and she can finally walk without limping. Jiang Bai is in class when he suddenly receives a message from Shin Shoyue. "Sailor Moon, Jiang Bai, my sister's foot is almost healed, and she'd like to treat you to dinner this afternoon." Jiang Bai glanced at the instructor at the podium and quickly replied, "Sister Choyu, as long as your leg is better, dinner is fine." Shin Shoyu replied immediately, "No way, if you don't agree, believe it or not, I'll go find you now." Jiang Bai looked at the message and thought, well, I can't not go. Never mind, it's just dinner, she can't eat him, can she? This is a good opportunity for him to make things clear with Shin Shoyu. Jiang Bai, okay then. Shin Shoyue in the girls' dormitory couldn't help but smile when she saw that Jiang Bai had agreed. She was so happy. "Sailor Moon, then I'll wait for you at the school gate at 5 p.m. At 5 p.m., Jiang Bai arrived at the school gate on time. He looked around, looking for Shin Shoyue. "Hey, Jiang Bai." A familiar voice came from behind him. Jiang Bai turned around and saw Shin Shoyue wearing a white dress, walking towards him with a bright smile. Jiang Bai's heart beat faster, and he tried hard to remain calm. "Sister Choyue," Jiang Bai started to speak, but was interrupted by Shin Shoyue. Let's go eat." Shin Shoyue naturally took Jiang Bai's arm and led him to a nearby restaurant. Jiang Bai was a little nervous along the way, not knowing how to start a conversation with Shin Shoyue. Shin Shoyue, on the other hand, kept talking cheerfully, completely unaware of Jiang Bai's uneasiness. When they arrived at the restaurant, Shin Shoyue ordered some food and then looked at Jiang Bai, her eyes full of expectation. Bai, is there something you want to say to your sister?" Shin Shoyue asked with a smile. Jiang Bai took a deep breath and decided to muster up the courage to speak clearly. "Shoyue, that day when I was drunk and what happened with you in the hotel." Looking at Shin Shoyue's expectant smile, Jiang Bai gritted his teeth and made up his mind, let's just pretend that nothing happened that day. As soon as the words fell, Shin Shoyue, who was sitting opposite, was slightly taken aback, and her smile immediately disappeared. After listening to this, Shin Shoyue's smile froze for a moment, and she pursed her red lips, but soon returned to normal. Jiang Bai looked at Shin Shoyue for a long time without saying a word, wondering if she was angry. Jiang Bai scanned the surroundings with vigilant eyes, making sure there were no people around, before deliberately lowering his voice and saying in a low voice, Sister Shoyue, think about it. That night, both of us experienced that kind of thing for the first time. How about this, let's just say we're even, okay? After all, in this way, neither of us will suffer, right? After saying this, he nervously looked at Shoyu, his heart racing, not knowing how she would react. When she heard this, Shin Shoyu's face did not change, but a flash of disbelief and deep disappointment flashed in her beautiful eyes that were like peach blossoms. This flash of expression was fleeting, and her gaze calmly glanced at Jiang Bai, then her mouth slightly curled up, suddenly smiling, little Bai, in that case, then it is your sister who is responsible for you. Nani? You can still do that? Upon hearing these words, Jiang Bai felt as if he had been struck by lightning. His face instantly turned pale, and his handsome face was now full of shock. He quickly shook his head vigorously, waved his hands, and stuttered, No, it's not necessary. We should pursue gender equality, so I don't need you to be responsible. However, Shin Shoyue did not agree. She shook her head gently, her face showing a determined yet gentle expression. She said softly, No, after all, I am a little older than you, and you are my younger brother. According to common sense, it is only natural for an older sister to be responsible for her younger brother. Her tone carried an unquestionable determination. Jiang Bai looked at Shin Shoyue in a daze, not knowing how to respond for a moment. His mind was in a complete mess, feeling both surprised and confused by Shin Shoyue's words. After a moment of hesitation, Jiang Bai tentatively asked, So, Shoyu, how are you going to be responsible for me? Stupid brother, fall in love with your sister. Oh, falling in love. Jiang Bai muttered to himself, suddenly realizing something, his eyes widening in disbelief as he looked at Shin Shoyu. Shoyu, what did you say? Well, fall in love. Shin Shoyu's face was flushed, as she looked at Jiang Bai firmly, Stupid brother, I like you, stay with me. Jiang Bai's heart started beating faster. He had never imagined that Shin Shoyue would express her feelings so directly. Holy shit! What's wrong with the world? Has it gone crazy? My sister's best friend is now saying that she wants to fall in love with him? No way. I need to calm myself down first. Sister Shoyue, you should do the same. It's the 21st century now, there's really no need for us to get ourselves involved in such an absurd thing. Hearing this, Shin Shoyue smiled slightly, interrupted him, and said softly, Xiao Bai, sister is very calm now. Jiang Bai looked at Shin Shoyue's serious expression and couldn't help but freeze for a moment. After hesitating for a few seconds, he slowly said, Shoyue's sister, let me think about it. After Jiang Bai finished speaking, he stood up and fled in a panic. He now needed to calm down and digest this bombshell of news. Chapter 25 Hurry up and say it, I want to hear you say it. It's the weekend again. After this weekend is over, there are only 2 more days of class before the 7-day National Day holiday. Many young couples who have just confirmed their relationship will take advantage of this holiday to go on a trip somewhere together, and then they can stay in a hotel together and do naughty things, In the afternoon, Jiang Bai walked out of the boys' dormitory with his 3 roommates, chatting and laughing, and they were going to go out to eat together. But as soon as they walked out of the dormitory building, a stunning figure caught Jiang Bai's eye. Seeing this, Jiang Bai's face changed, and he immediately prepared to turn around and flee. But it was too late. Shin Shoyue had already seen him, striding with her long legs straight to his front. Little Bai. Shin Shoyue was full of smiles, bending her red lips and softly calling. Hearing this, Jiang Bai felt a headache, and said lightly, Sister Shoyue, why are you here? What do you think? Of course I came to find you. You didn't reply to my messages, so I had to come find you. Brother Bai, you chat with Miss Shin, we'll go see what's good to eat. Lu Yu looked at the 2 of them and patted Jiang Bai on the shoulder. After that, the 3 of them quickly left. Jiang Bai looked at Shin Shoyue in front of him and awkwardly scratched his head. Little Bai, it's been 2 days, what have you thought about it? Jiang Bai didn't respond, but looked around and saw that everyone was looking at them, so he said, Sister Shoyue, let's find somewhere to sit down and talk. Hearing this, Shin Shoyue seemed to realize that this was not the place to talk, and nodded, okay. Jiang Bai thought for a moment, and led Shin Xiaoyue to the coffee shop across the street from the school, ordered 2 cups of coffee, and sat down. While waiting for the coffee to arrive, Jiang Bai glanced at Shin Xiaoyue, and after a few seconds of silence, he spoke, "Xiaoyue, I don't know why you like me, but I want to say that you are a very nice person, and you deserve someone better. Besides, I have no intention of getting into a relationship right now, and you are not my type, so we can't be together." Shin Xiaoyue didn't look angry when she heard this, and she said with a smile, propping her chin up in her hand, "So, bye-bye, what type of person do you like? Someone like Su Chanxian?" "Ha?" Jiang Bai's eyes widened suddenly, and he was at a loss for words. After a long while, he muttered, "Sister Xiaoyue, why does my sister tell you everything? He likes Su Chanxian, and only my sister knows. Apart from Shin Wanqing, Jiang Bai really can't think of anyone else." Under Jiang Bai's gaze, Shin Xiaoyue shook her head and smiled, "It wasn't your sister who told me." "Then how did you find out?" Jiang Bai asked doubtfully. Shin Xiaoyue smiled without saying a word and took a sip of her coffee. Jiang Bai was even more puzzled. He was sure that only his sister knew about this. "Do you really think I only liked you after sleeping with you?" Shin Xiaoyue put down her coffee and looked straight at Jiang Bai. Jiang Bai felt a little embarrassed by the look and turned his head to avoid her gaze. "In fact, my sister has liked you for a long time ago," Shin Xiaoyue said softly. Jiang Bai looked up suddenly, surprised, and didn't know what to say for a moment. His mood was a little complicated at the moment. For so many years, he had chased after Su Chanxian's footsteps, and for 6 years he had focused almost all of his thoughts and attention on her. But unbeknownst to him, even as he silently liked someone else, there was also someone else who was silently liking him. To be honest, Jiang Bai was very moved. If she weren't his sister's best friend, Jiang Bai might really consider getting together with Shin Xiaoyue. Little by bye. Jiang Bai, who had heard a voice, came back to his senses. "Not to mention Xiao Bai, you don't like Su Chanxian anymore, do you?" Shin Xiaoyue paused for a moment and continued, "In fact, my sister saw you being rejected that day." Jiang Bai. "What? Why didn't I notice? So can't you just think about your sister? Your sister gave you her most precious first time. Don't you know that a woman will always remember her first time forever?" Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai froze in place as if struck by lightning. Shin Xiaoyue looked at Jiang Bai with a smile on her face, and a serious and sincere light shone in her eyes. "Sister Xiaoyue. I..." Jiang Bai wanted to refuse, but upon seeing the other person's eyes, the words refused to come out of his mouth. "Could it be because your sister and I are best friends?" Shin Xiaoyue saw Jiang Bai's reluctance to speak and asked thoughtfully. Jiang Bai was silent for a few seconds, nodded, and said, "Well, that's one reason." Upon hearing this, Shin Xiaoyue covered her mouth with her hand and laughed lightly, saying, "Xiao Bai Bai, she's your older sister, not mine. We're not incestuous, so what are we afraid of?" Jiang Bai. Shin Xiaoyue blinked her beautiful, soul-stirring peach eyes, the corners of her mouth slightly raised, outlining a faint smile, as she softly said, "Stupid brother, do you not even like your sister a little?" Jiang Bai, upon hearing these words, could not help but tremble. He looked at the beautiful face in front of him, and for a moment, he was lost in thought. To be honest, Jiang Bai had been moved by his time with Shin Xiaoyue. After all, he was not a fool, and in front of such a beautiful Shin Xiaoyue, who was also the cold and aloof school flower goddess of the Demon De University, what reason did he have not to like her? Seeing that Jiang Bai was not speaking, Shin Xiaoyue got up and sat down directly next to him, drawing closer to him. A faint fragrance emanated from her, causing Jiang Bai's heartbeat to involuntarily quicken a little. Jiang Bai subconsciously took a step back, but was grabbed by the wrist by Shin Xiaoyue. "Little Bai Bai, don't hide." Shin Xiaoyue's voice carried a hint of teasing. "Look, your face is all red." Jiang Bai's face suddenly turned even redder. He struggled to break free of Shin Xiaoyue's hand, turned his back to her, and stuttered, Jia, don't joke around, okay?" Shin Xiaoyu did not give up. She took a step forward, put her hands on Jiang Bai's shoulders, and asked softly, "Xiao Bai Bai, I'm not joking. Tell me, do you have even the slightest bit of a good feeling for me?" Her eyes were full of expectation and tenderness, as if they could melt anything, and Jiang Bai could not avoid them. His heartbeat quickened involuntarily, and his throat became a little dry. Under Shin Xiaoyue's gaze, Jiang Bai hesitated for a few seconds, but ultimately closed his eyes and nodded slightly, "Yes, but just a little." The voice was so soft that it was almost inaudible, but it was enough to make Shin Xiaoyue's face bloom with a bright smile. Upon hearing this, a feeling of joy welled up in Shin Xiaoyue's heart. She gently pinched Jiang Bai's cheek and scolded with a smile, "Stinky little brother, is it really just a little? Then tell me, how much is a little?" Her tone was teasing, and Jiang Bai's face instantly turned red. Jiang Bai lowered his head a little embarrassed, afraid to look into Shin Shoyue's eyes. He muttered to himself, wondering why he had been so careless as to tell the truth. Shin Shoyue, however, didn't seem to intend to let him off the hook, and continued to press him, asking, "Come on, tell me." Jiang Bai was forced to do as he was told and said with a stiff upper lip, "It's a little more than a little bit." His voice grew smaller and smaller, almost becoming a mosquito's chirp. However, Shin Shoyue heard him clearly. She nodded in satisfaction, then suddenly leaned forward and whispered in Jiang Bai's ear, "Then sister should make good use of this little bit of extra." After she finished, she winked mischievously at Jiang Bai. Jiang Bai's face turned even redder, and he could even feel his ears burning. He pushed Shin Shoyue away a little nervously and stuttered, "Shoyue, sister, don't do this, people will misunderstand if they see us like this." However, Shin Shoyue did not back off as he wished, but instead let out a light laugh like a silver bell. She blinked her eyes and deliberately asked, "Oh? Then tell me, what will others misunderstand?" Her tone carried a hint of teasing and mockery, which made Jiang Bai even more embarrassed. Of course they will misunderstand that we are in a relationship," Jiang Bai muttered in a small voice. Shin Shoyue couldn't help but laugh when she heard Jiang Bai's reply. She looked at Jiang Bai, who was blushing, with gentle light in her eyes, and said softly, "Okay, Xiao Bai, I won't tease you anymore." Then she reached out and gently patted Jiang Bai's cheek, her smile full of affection. Jiang Bai felt his heart beating faster and faster, his cheeks flushing even more. He lowered his head a little embarrassed, afraid to look Shin Shoyue in the eyes. Just then, Shin Shoyue's phone rang. After taking a quick glance at Jiang Bai, she answered the call. After about 2 minutes, Shin Shoyue hung up the phone, looked over at Jiang Bai, and said softly, "Well, Xiao Bai, my roommate told me that she has something to do, so she'll go first. I'll come see you tomorrow." Boo. Before saying goodbye, Shin Shoyue quickly moved in front of Jiang Bai when he wasn't paying attention, and without warning, she gave him a kiss on the cheek. Before Jiang Bai could react, he quickly got up and left the cafe. "Damn, I was careless without blinking, this sister Chiou." Jiang Bai came back to his senses and muttered to himself in disbelief. Jiang Bai touched the cheek that had been kissed by Shin Shoyu and smiled slightly. So this is what it feels like to be kissed. It's an indescribable and wonderful feeling. Chapter 26 Xiao Bai Bai, just consider it, okay? Back in his dorm room, Jiang Bai sat dazedly in front of the computer desk, his mind filled with the images from the cafe. To be fair, Shin Shoyue was impeccable in both looks and figure. In the words of others, she was fair-skinned, beautiful, and had long legs, nothing out of the ordinary. She could also be sweet or salty, and whenever she spoke, she had a gentle or coquettish tone. How could any guy not like such a girl? Anyway, when he was with Shin Shoyue, Jiang Bai could clearly feel that the other person was full of feelings for him every time. This feeling was something he had never felt before with Su Chanshan. He actually didn't reject Shin Shoyue treating him this way, and in fact, it was even enjoyable, no exaggeration. If only I had met Sister Choyue earlier, I wouldn't have been hung up on by Su Chanshan for 6 years. 6 years? That's a whole 6 years of a guy's youth, and how many 6 years are there in a lifetime? Hey, brother Bai, why are you back so early? What? Did you finish your date with Flower Shin? Lin Zixuan pushed open the door and saw Jiang Bai and asked curiously. Damn you, what date? Don't talk nonsense. Jiang Bai laughed and scolded. Come on, I was worried that you hadn't eaten, so I got you a takeaway, but now it looks like I'll just take it downstairs to feed the little cat of the accommodation manager. Lin Zixuan pretended to turn around and walk towards the door. Hearing this, Jiang Bai hurriedly got up and grabbed the food in Lin Zixuan's hand. Don't, Xian, I've already bought it, just give it to me, I'm starving. Lin Zixuan. Girls' dormitory. Shin Shoyue had just lain down on the bed when she received a call from her mother. Hello, Mom, what's the matter calling so late? It's nothing, Mom just wants to know when you're coming back, since you're off in a few days. Shin's mother's voice came through the phone. Upon hearing this, Shin Shoyue thought for a moment and said, if it's nothing important, I'll be back the day after the holiday. Oh, right, Shoyue, you're not young anymore, it's time to find a boyfriend or something. I know, Mom. Shin Shoyue hung up after chatting with her mother for a while. The next afternoon, after class, Shin Shoyue went to the classroom of the first class of the finance department to find Jiang Bai. The bell rang, and Jiang Bai got up and followed his roommate out. Lu Yu poked Jiang Bai with his arm and teleported him to look at the door. Brother Bai, look at the door, isn't that Su Chanshan? She's not here to see you, is she? Jiang Bai glanced up and then looked away, shaking his head. I don't know, who cares? Jiang Bai had just stepped out the door when Su Chanshan walked up to him. Jiang Bai. Hearing Su Chanshan's voice, Jiang Bai was momentarily taken aback, looked at her in puzzlement, and asked indifferently, what is it? Su Chanshan bit her lip, as if she was hesitating, but she finally mustered up the courage to say, the holiday starts the day after tomorrow, and I was wondering if we could go back to Beijing together? There was a hint of expectation in her voice, hoping to get a positive answer from Jiang Bai. However, Jiang Bai, who had heard this, was not moved at all. His expression remained cold, and he didn't even linger for a moment. Huh, why would I go back to Kyoto with you? Do you have a big face? Before Jiang Bai could refuse, his arm was suddenly taken. The next second, Shin Shoyue's sweet voice sounded in Jiang Bai's ear. I'm sorry, this student, Xiao Bai has already agreed to go back to Beijing with me the day after tomorrow. After saying this, Shin Shoyue looked up at Jiang Bai slightly and asked with a curved lip, Xiao Bai, don't you agree? Jiang Bai came back to his senses and looked at Shin Shoyue and nodded lightly, After saying this, Shin Shoyue took Jiang Bai's arm and left the classroom door, leaving Su Chanshan standing alone, her eyes full of loss and sadness. Jiang Bai's back grew farther and farther away, and Su Chanshan silently watched the direction he left in, unable to suppress the pain that welled up in her heart. Sister Shoyue, you can let go of my hand now, right? Jiang Bai glanced down at the hand Shin Shoyue was holding and spoke lightly. Shin Shoyue smiled slightly upon hearing this and then let go of his hand. Xiao Bai, you don't have any classes this afternoon, do you? Do you have any plans afterwards? Shin Shoyue asked, with her hand behind her back and her lips pursed. Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai stopped in his tracks and looked at her with a half smile. Are you going back to the dormitory? Do you want to come with me? Upon hearing this, Shin Shoyue was momentarily taken aback, and then she laughed softly. Sister would like to, but unfortunately the dormitory manager won't allow it. How about we find a place where we can be alone for a while? Jiang Bai. At this moment, Shin Shoyue suddenly remembered that the day after tomorrow was the start of the holiday, so she asked, Xiao Bai, the school will start the holiday the day after tomorrow, when are you planning to go back? Jiang Bai thought for a moment before slowly answering, I haven't decided yet, I'll see when the time comes. Oh. Shin Shoyue nodded. Sister Choyu, I want to know if my sister knows that you like me? Jiang Bai suddenly asked. Upon hearing this, Shin Shoyu thought about it for a moment, then stared at him with a serious face and said slowly, I don't know. My sister has never told anyone that she likes you. After all, my sister is not absolutely sure that she can win you over. Ha? Jiang Bai looked puzzled. Therefore, it is not too late for me to tell you about it on the day when I finally win you over. Shin Shoyue explained with a light smile. Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai's eyes became a little complicated. So, Sister Choyue has always liked me so quietly? He thought to himself, this deep affection made him feel both surprised and touched. Seeing this, Shin Shoyue suddenly took a step forward, stared at Jiang Bai and asked softly, what do you think? Xiao Bai, why don't you try it with your sister first? Try what? Jiang Bai glanced at Shin Shoyue in front of him and swallowed, asking knowingly. Of course it's falling in love. We can agree to a 1-week limit first. If we don't break up within this time, then we will officially announce to everyone that we are together. If we break up, then it's like nothing happened and we can still be friends. Shin Shoyue's mouth curled up slightly as she continued, Xiao Bai, don't you want to give it a try with your sister? If it works out, you can have a girlfriend who is both gentle and considerate. On the other hand, you have nothing to lose. What do you say? Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai subconsciously nervously pursed his lips, not knowing what to say for a moment. He seemed to feel that his heart was already a little stirred. Xiao Bai, just think about it. Come on, will you? Shin Shoyue said sweetly, her voice so sweet it could kill. Her big, watery eyes gazed lovingly at Jiang Bai, full of expectation and deep affection. At the moment, Shin Shoyue looked like a charming little demon, exuding a unique charm. Her soft body leaned slightly forward, deliberately or not, close to Jiang Bai, exuding a faint, sweet fragrance. She gently squeezed the corner of Jiang Bai's shirt with both hands and swayed slightly, as if praying for something. Damn, can you stand such a Shin Shoyue? Jiang Bai took a deep breath, came back to his senses, nodded slightly, and said, "Shoyue, can you give me a little time to think about it?" "Of course, no problem." Shin Shoyue nodded with a smile. Chapter 27. It seems my little brother has fallen in love and been rejected. 2 days later. Jiangbai looked at the empty dorm room, where he was the only one left, the other three having gone home. How boring. The dorm room without the laughter of his roommates was a bit of a shock to Jiangbai, and even his games had become boring. I wonder if Autumn Moon has gone home yet. Thinking about this, Jiangbai opened the green bubble and looked at Shin Shoyue's avatar. He edited a message, but quickly deleted it. Sigh. Just then, Jiang Wanqing's phone rang. Jiangbai answered, and Jiang Wanqing's voice came from the other end of the line. "My little brother, my mom asked me to ask you if you're coming home for the holidays. She's been nagging all day." Upon hearing this, Jiangbai thought for a moment before quickly saying, "Sister, tell mom I'll be back tomorrow." "Oh, right, little brother, I forgot to ask you before, are you and your little classmate together yet?" Jiang Wanqing's curiosity was palpable over the phone. "No, she doesn't like me." Jiangbai replied. "Huh? That's too bad. I feel for you. Hee, tell me more about the process." "Go to hell, Jiang Wanqing." Jiangbai hung up the phone after a helpless laugh. Sometimes, Jiangbai really wonders if his sister Jiang Wanqing was actually born to her mother. Otherwise, why would she always bully him for no reason? Jing Cheng. Inside a villa. Jiang Wanqing saw Jiangbai hang up the phone and shrugged helplessly. Suddenly, Jiang Wanqing smiled wickedly, not sure what had come to her mind. Then she opened the bedroom door, stepped in her slippers and made her way to the living room on the first floor. Extra. Extra. Read all about it. Hearing this, Jiang's mother was furious. "You little brat, what kind of girl are you, shouting and screaming all day long?" "Mom, I have some good news for you. My brother seems to have fallen in love," Jiang Wanqing said to Jiang's mother, who was sitting on the sofa. "Huh? Who told you that?" "Your precious son, of course." Upon hearing this, Jiang's mother looked at her doubtfully and then said, "You call it good news that your brother has lost his love?" Jiang Wanqing gave a hee-hee laugh, turned around, and went back to the bedroom on the second floor. She didn't hear a single word of the lecture Jiang's mother gave her from behind. At this time, Jiangbai was lying alone in the bedroom watching videos. He glanced at the time and saw that it was almost 5 o'clock, time for dinner. Then he sat up, walked out of the bedroom, and prepared to go outside to see what was delicious to eat and take a stroll. As soon as he walked out of the bedroom door, Jiangbai's phone rang. He picked it up and saw that it was a message from Shin Shoyue. "Sailor Moon, bye-bye, have you gone back yet?" Seeing this, Jiangbai typed a reply on the screen, "No, I'm going to go back tomorrow." As soon as the message was sent, Shin Shoyue's video call came through the next second. Jiangbai hesitated for a few seconds before answering. "Bye-bye, where are you now?" "I'm coming to find you now." Jiangbai saw Shin Shoyue's back as she asked. Shin Shoyue explained, "I was going to go back today, but there were no more tickets, so I had to book a ticket for tomorrow." "Oh. Okay, I'll hang up now." "Xiaobai, wait for me at the school gate, I'll be right there." Before Jiangbai could react, Shin Shoyue hung up the video call. Jiangbai, who had put his phone in his pocket, looked up at the sky. After 2 days of deep thought, Jiangbai had thought a lot, and he understood that he had a little bit of a crush on Shin Shoyue. Moreover, dating such a beautiful woman as Shin Shoyue might not be a bad thing. So, he finally decided to follow his heart and give it a try with Shin Shoyue. On the other side of the room, in the girls' dormitory, Shin Shoyue, after hanging up the phone, began to get ready in her room. She put on makeup, applied lipstick, chose clothes, sprayed perfume. She was busy for almost an hour. Shin Shoyue stood in front of the mirror, looking at her new self, and couldn't help but smile. Hee, this will definitely charm her brother. Shin Shoyue was quite confident in her appearance, otherwise she would not have become the cold and aloof school flower goddess of the Magic University. Everything was almost packed up, and Shin Shoyue took out her phone to check the time. It was already past 6 o'clock. "No, I have to hurry, otherwise my brother will be impatient." Then, Shin Shoyue picked up her bag and left the house. 10 minutes later, Shin Shoyue arrived at the school gate and saw Jiangbai squatting in front of the security office from afar. Seeing this, Shin Shoyue gave a little run and waved her hand. "Bye-bye, sister is here." "Well, Sister Shoyue, this is for you." Shin Shoyue looked at the milk tea he handed to her and was momentarily lost in thought. I just bought it, 3 sugar white peach oolong rice mochi plus goo goo gold bar. I remember that last time you bought this, and I thought you would like it. Jiang Bai explained a little nervously. Huh? What's going on with you, stinky little brother? Suddenly you're being so nice to me? Could it be that you've come to your senses? Thanks, sister. She smiled, took the milk tea, inserted the straw and took a sip. Let's go, sister. I just called a taxi and it'll be here soon. Let's go eat first, then go for a stroll together and see what's good to eat and fun to do. Okay? Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai nodded. Well, Sister Choyu, I'll do as you say. Thank you, Choyu. It's fine. Being with Xiao Bai Bai, I feel like the air is sweet. Shin Shoyu suddenly smiled and leaned in front of Jiang Bai. Xiao Bai Bai, if you feel bad about it, then kiss your sister. Hearing this, Jiang Bai subconsciously took a step back and lowered his head without saying a word. Goodness, Shoyu's face is really thick. In a few minutes, the car Shin Shoyu ordered arrived. The two got in and headed straight for the restaurant. The car sped along, and finally stopped in front of an upscale restaurant. Wow! This restaurant looks so atmospheric, let's go in and try it out, Shin Shoyu said softly, walking next to Jiang Bai with joy in her heart. Jiang Bai followed her into the restaurant. As soon as they entered, they were captivated by the romantic candlelight, and with the elegant background music, he couldn't help but feel a little nervous. In contrast, Shin Shoyu acted with grace and ease, ordering food and chatting with the waiter with a natural fluidity. At that moment, Jiang Bai kept his gaze fixed on Shin Shoyu, watching her beautiful face and elegant, confident demeanor. He secretly sighed, Sister Choyu is really beautiful. It seemed that Shin Shoyu had noticed Jiang Bai's gaze, as she turned her head and gave him a smile. This smile made Jiang Bai's heart beat faster, and a blush rose to his cheeks. Chapter 28, Practicing Being a Couple. After the meal, the two happened to pass by a jewelry store. Jiang Bai inadvertently glanced and saw Shin Shoyu's gaze resting on a bracelet in the store. After a moment of thought, he didn't hesitate to take Shin Shoyu's hand and enter the store together. Shin Shoyu stared at her suddenly tightly grasped hand and couldn't help but flinch slightly, but quickly recovered and a faint smile blossomed on her face. This is the first time that Xiao Bai has taken the initiative to hold her hand like this. Jiang Bai walked straight to the bracelet that had just caught Shin Shoyu's attention and said to the shopkeeper without hesitation, Hello, please take this bracelet out and let me have a look, thank you. The shopkeeper smiled and nodded, handing the bracelet to Jiang Bai. Jiang Bai carefully took the bracelet and then turned to Shin Shoyu and gave her a gentle smile. Shoyu's sister, hold out your hand. At that moment, Shin Shoyu's mind was blank, and like an obedient child, she obediently held out her hand. It wasn't until Jiang Bai put the bracelet on her hand that she reacted with hindsight. Xiao Bai, are you planning to buy it for your sister? What else? Jiang Bai lowered his head and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Well, it's not bad, it suits you. Boss, the bill please. Shin Shoyu watched Jiang Bai operate, and for a long time she didn't say a word. When she came out of the accessory store after paying the bill, Shin Shoyu was still in a daze. She still couldn't figure out what Jiang Bai meant. She always felt that Jiang Bai was acting strangely today, just not like his usual self. The most important thing was that he had just taken the initiative to hold her hand. Just thinking about it made her happy. Jiang Bai watched Shin Shoyu as she held the bracelet in her hand the whole way, sometimes holding it up close to her face to admire it, sometimes gently stroking the lines on it, as if it were some rare treasure. Finally, unable to contain his curiosity, he asked, Shoyu, it's just a bracelet, why are you looking at it so much? However, Shin Shoyu did not take Jiang Bai's question seriously. She was still immersed in the joy that the bracelet brought her, and her face was filled with a happy smile. She gently raised her hand and showed the bracelet to Jiang Bai, then said softly with a happy expression on her face, This is the first gift you have given to your sister, and your sister is really happy. Jiang Bai looked at Shin Shoyu's happy smile like a child's and his heart softened. As long as you like it, it's fine, he said softly. Shin Shoyu's smile became even wider. I really like it. Then, as if she had thought of something, she looked at Jiang Bai with a slight blush on her face and said, Xiao Bai Bai, thank you for the present, then, sister will give you a present too. Then, she stood on tiptoe and quickly gave Jiang Bai a kiss on the cheek. Without waiting for a response, she ran away with a blush on her face, leaving Jiang Bai alone, stunned, feeling his kissed cheek and unable to come back to his senses. Jiang Bai. At night, the two of them strolled along the street. Under the dim street lamps, the shadow of Shinshoyue leaned lightly against Jiang Bai. Xiao Bai Bai, do you know? My sister has also tried to forget her feelings for you, but she only tried it once, and she deeply realized that it was too difficult for her to do so. Shinshoyue's voice was soft and gentle, like the spring breeze caressing Jiang Bai's ears. Jiang Bai couldn't help but feel moved when he heard it. After hesitating for a few seconds, he took a deep breath, then trembled and reached out, carefully taking Shinshoyue's hand. Sister Choyu, I have thought it over, and we can try going out. Jiang Bai's voice was not loud, but it was full of determination and sincerity. Hearing this, Shinshoyu could hardly believe her ears, and she even doubted whether she was hallucinating. So, she asked Jiang Bai again for confirmation, really? You're not lying to me, are you? Under Shinshoyu's expectant and nervous gaze, Jiang Bai nodded very seriously to indicate affirmation, it's true. Shinshoyue threw herself into Jiang Bai's arms, hugging him tightly. Jiang Bai was taken aback by her actions, but quickly reached out to hug her back. This is great, little Bai Bai, I'm not dreaming. Shinshoyue said happily. It's not a dream, Sister Choyue, Jiang Bai responded tenderly. The two embraced for a while, before slowly parting. Shinshoyue looked at Jiang Bai with a blush on her face, her eyes full of happiness. So from now on, we're an intern couple, she said with a smile. Jiang Bai also smiled. He gently took Shinshoyue's hand and nodded. The next day, Jiang Bai slowly walked out of the boys' dormitory carrying his suitcase. The sunlight shone on his tall figure. At that moment, his gaze was attracted by a beautiful figure not far away. Shinshoyue was standing there, her face full of a gentle smile, quietly gazing at him. Jiang Bai's mouth slightly curled up, outlining a charming smile. He took firm strides and walked straight up to Shinshoyue. Let's go, Shoyue, Jiang Bai said softly, and naturally took the suitcase from Shinshoyue's hands, then walked with her to the school gate. When they reached the school gate, they happened to bump into Su Chanshan, who was also waiting for a taxi. When Su Chanshan saw Jiang Bai and Shinshoyue next to each other, she couldn't help but flinch slightly, and a hint of surprise appeared in her eyes. Her gaze lingered on Jiang Bai and Shinshoyue for a few seconds, as if she was thinking about something, but soon she withdrew her gaze and got into another taxi that had just pulled up, leaving in a hurry. Little Bai Bai, were you just peeking at that little bitch? Shinshoyue suddenly turned around sharply and stared straight into Jiang Bai's eyes, a trace of imperceptible jealousy in her gaze. Ha? Little bitch? Is Sister Choyue talking about Su Chanshan? Is it possible that you are jealous? Jiang Bai couldn't help but be startled, and muttered to himself. His face was full of innocence and grievance, as if he had been greatly wronged. He hurriedly waved his hands, anxiously explaining, Sister Choyu, I'm innocent. I really didn't even look at her. Upon hearing Jiang Bai's explanation, Shinshoyu's gaze did not immediately move away, but continued to meet his. Time passed by minute, and the air seemed to have solidified. Finally, Shinshoyue's mouth slightly raised, lightly hummed, and slowly said, Humph, stinky brother, this time I will believe you for the time being. Jiang Bai heard this and a huge stone in his heart finally fell to the ground. Subsequently, Jiang Bai reached out and stopped a taxi. The two put down their luggage, got in, and drove towards the airport. Chapter 29 Hey, this is so mushy. After a few hours of flying, the plane finally landed in the capital city. Jiang Bai and Shinshoyue walked out of the airport with their luggage. Jiang Bai suddenly stopped and looked at Shinshoyue and asked, Shoyue, how are you going to get back? Shinshoyue was about to speak when she was interrupted by a voice from behind. Hey, little brother, Shoyue, why are you two back together? The two people who heard the voice turned to look at the source of the voice, and Jiang Bai was suddenly startled. What's going on? Why is my sister here? Didn't I say that I didn't necessarily want someone to come pick me up? Shinshoyue on the side just froze for a second, and then immediately gave Jiang Wanqing a smiling hug. Ah, Wanqing, I've missed you so much. You, that's so mushy. Jiang Wanqing pretended to be disgusted and joked. Jiang Bai on the side became nervous when he saw this scene. Oh no! Sister Choyue, you're not going to tell him about their relationship, are you? If you do, she'll definitely tell Mom when she gets back, and then Mom will grill him with questions. What's wrong, you idiot? You don't say a word when you see your sister? What, you went to school in Shanghai and became mute? Jiang Wanqing rolled her eyes, her tone tinged with a hint of exasperation and teasing. Hearing the sound, Jiang Bai came back to his senses and retorted, You're the one who's mute. I'm just a little tired from the flight. Upon seeing this, Jiang Wanqing couldn't help but burst out laughing. She tapped Jiang Bai's head lightly and said, "Good, you little rascal, you've learned to talk back. You didn't learn well at school, but you've practiced your quick tongue quite a bit." Jiang Bai touched the place where he was hit and muttered, "No, I've always been a good boy who listens." As he said this, he glanced at Jiang Wanqing secretly, and a sly look flashed in his eyes. Xin Xiaoyue, who was standing nearby, saw this scene and couldn't help but smile, covering her mouth. She said softly, "Okay, Wanqing, don't tease your brother. Hey, Xiaoyue, you don't know this brat. If you don't discipline him every day, he'll go out of control." Suddenly, Jiang Wanqing turned around and glanced at Jiang Bai behind her and said, "Rotten brat, hurry up and go. A grown man can't walk as fast as the two of US girls." Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai inwardly gave Jiang Wanqing a lecture. Jiang Wanqing winked mischievously and laughed, "You don't know this brat. If you don't teach him a lesson every day, he'll turn the world upside down." After saying this, she deliberately provoked Jiang Bai by jutting out her chin. Jiang Wanqing walked a few steps with Xin Xiaoyue on her arm. As if suddenly remembering something, she turned around sharply, her gaze falling directly on Jiang Bai. She raised the corner of her mouth slightly and said teasingly, "Hey, brat, can you walk faster? A grown man is actually slower than the two of US girls." Hearing this, Jiang Bai's heart suddenly surged with a sense of dissatisfaction and helplessness, but on the surface he could only pretend to be unconcerned and quickened his pace to keep up. But deep down inside, he had already started a fierce online debate with Jiang Wanqing. Jiang Wanqing drove Xin Xiaoyue home and then returned to the Jiang family villa with Jiang Bai. As soon as Jiang Bai opened the door, Jiang's mother, Lin Shi, couldn't wait to rush over and give him a big hug. "My dear son, I've missed you so much." Lin Shi hugged Jiang Bai tightly, her voice trembling with emotion. Hearing this, Jiang Bai's heart warmed, and a touch of emotion flashed in his eyes. He patted Lin Shi's back lightly and said softly, "Mom, I've missed you too. Son, you've lost weight since I last saw you a month ago. Are you not eating well at school?" Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai laughed and said, "No, Mom, look, I've put on weight. But I've noticed that you're getting more and more beautiful." Hearing this, Lin Shi smiled and kissed Jiang Bai on the forehead. "Mom, I'm getting old, you're still acting like this, it's embarrassing. No matter how old you are, you're still Mom's precious son. By the way, Mom, where's Dad?" Jiang Bai suddenly asked. "Lin Shi, your father is in a meeting at the company, he'll be back in a while." "Okay, son, you go upstairs and rest first, I'll go to the kitchen and see if Auntie has finished cooking." After saying this, Lin Shi stepped in her slippers and walked towards the kitchen. Jiang Wanqing, who was standing behind Jiang Bai, was dumbfounded. "I've been standing here for half a day as a living person, but he never even looked at me once the whole time." Jiang Wanqing even began to doubt whether he was actually her biological son. Jiang Bai returned to the bedroom on the second floor. After placing the heavy luggage by the bed, he sat down on the soft bed. Before he could catch his breath, his phone in his pocket sent out a slight vibration, followed by a crisp beep. Jiang Bai took out his phone and saw that it was a message from Xin Xiaoyue. "Xiao Bai, have you arrived home yet?" Looking at the other person's cute and playful profile picture, Jiang Bai's mouth unconsciously turned up, revealing a smile. He quickly tapped on the keyboard and replied, I just got back." It seems that she had been waiting for Jiang Bai's reply, because she almost immediately replied, "Xiao Bai, I've missed you so much." Seeing this message, Jiang Bai couldn't help but laugh out loud, but at the same time, he shook his head helplessly. He continued typing, "Sister Qiuyu, it seems like we just parted less than an hour ago, right?" After sending the message, Jiang Bai leaned against the bed, wondering to himself, is Sister Qiuyu that clingy? While Jiang Bai was thinking, Xin Xiaoyu sent another message, "Oh, I don't care, I just miss you, do you miss your sister? Don't you dare not reply." Jiang Bai, who had seen the message, was slightly taken aback, hesitated for a few seconds, typed and sent, "Yes." Xin Xiaoyue, who was lying on the bed, beamed as she read the message from Jiang Bai. "Sailor Moon, bye-bye is so sweet. Sailor Moon, right, are you free tomorrow?" Jiang Bai read the two messages that had been sent again and replied, "I'm not sure yet, what's up Xiaoyue?" "Nothing, I just wanted to ask if you're free, I'll take you somewhere fun." Jiang Bai was a little curious. "What kind of fun place is it?" Xin Xiaoyue played hard to get, keeping it a secret. "You'll find out when you come tomorrow." Jiang Bai smiled helplessly, thinking to himself that this sister is really mysterious. He replied, "Okay, I'll come find you tomorrow." Sailor Moon, xiao xiao da. After closing the chat screen, Jiang Bai stretched, then got up and walked to the window. Looking at the scenery outside, he felt exceptionally relaxed. Chapter 30 Sexy and Elegant. Evening. The Jiang family was sitting around the dinner table, enjoying a warm dinner together. However, at this moment, Jiang's mother suddenly put down her chopsticks, her gaze turning to Jiang Bai, a hint of hesitation on her face. She coughed softly, then carefully said, "Son, there's something I want to ask you, but I don't know if I should." Jiang Bai, who was eating with his head bowed, looked up at his mother, puzzled, when he heard her voice. Noticing the concern and worry in her eyes, he nodded quickly and said with a smile, "It's okay, Mom, just say whatever you have to say." Jiang Bai's mother took a deep breath, as if to encourage herself, and then asked softly, "Son, have you fallen out of love?" This question was like a bolt of lightning that pierced the tranquil atmosphere, and Jiang Bai almost choked on the food in his mouth. He stared at his mother with wide eyes and a face full of surprise, while the rest of the family also stopped what they were doing and turned their attention to Jiang Bai, obviously taken aback by the question. Jiang Bai, who had come back to his senses, hurriedly explained, "Mom, it's not true at all, don't listen to my sister's nonsense." Jiang Wanqing, who was standing nearby, looked at Jiang Bai with a sad expression in her eyes and said, "If it's not you, then how can you be so sure that I'm the one who told on you? It's obvious. Apart from you, is there anyone else in our family with a big mouth like yours?" Jiang Bai said with a helpless shrug. Upon hearing this, Jiang Wanqing immediately lost her temper. "Ah, you stinking Jiang Bai, you deserve a beating." Jiang Bai seemed to have predicted it in advance, and before Jiang Wanqing's hand could fall, he quickly dodged. "Ah, Mom, help." Jiang Bai got up and hid directly behind Jiang Mu. "That's enough, Wanqing, don't bully your brother, hurry up and eat," Jiang's mother said. Upon hearing this, Jiang Wanqing angrily returned to her chair and continued eating, glaring fiercely at Jiang Bai while she ate. The next morning, sunlight shone through the gaps in the curtains and fell on the room. Jiang Bai rolled over on the soft bed and slowly opened his bleary eyes. He reached out and felt for the mobile phone on the side of the bed. After pressing the unlock button, the screen lit up, displaying the current time, a little after 10 in the morning. Just as Jiang Bai was about to put the phone down and continue lying in bed for a while, an unread voice message caught his attention. He clicked on the voice message, and the sweet voice of Shin Shouyue immediately came to his ears. Good morning, my boyfriend, today is the second day with Xiaobai." By Shin Shouyue's tone and the voice message revealed a hint of playfulness and joy. Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai's mouth unconsciously rose up, and a warm feeling welled up in his heart. Damn it! It's another day of heart palpitations. So this is what it feels like to have a girlfriend who loves you. 10 minutes later, Jiang Bai finished washing up and came downstairs to find that only Jiang Wanqing was sitting at the dining table with her hair down, eating breakfast. Seeing this, Jiang Bai pulled out a chair and sat down, peeling an egg as he asked, "Sister, where are Mom and Dad?" On hearing this, Jiang Wanqing said indifferently, "Dad went to a meeting at the office and Mom went shopping with her best friend." Hearing this, Jiang Bai let out an "oh" and said nothing more, quietly eating his breakfast. After enjoying his meal, Jiang Bai walked to the gym on the third floor and started his daily training routine. After a good workout, Jiang Bai wiped the sweat from his forehead and neck with a towel when Shin Shouyue had placed a video call. Jiang Bai looked at the lit-up screen of his phone and clicked the answer button. The next second, a stunning face appeared on the screen. "Xiao Bai, what are you doing?" Shin Shouyue asked sweetly. "I've just finished exercising and was going to take a shower." Jiang Bai responded. "Well, I'm all packed up. Are you here to pick up my boyfriend? Or are you here to pick up your lovely girlfriend?" Hearing this, Jiang Bai froze for a moment and then said, "I'll come find you." If he let Shin Shouyue come find him, wouldn't she find out? Jiang Bai finished his shower, changed into a set of clothes, and went downstairs to meet her. When he saw no one there, he changed his shoes and went to the entrance of the community to get a taxi. Suddenly, a Porsche Panamera emitting a pink glow appeared in front of Jiang Bai like a flash of lightning, and it stopped steadily in front of him. Then, the driver's door slowly opened, and an elegant woman wearing sunglasses got out of the car gracefully. She was Shin Shouyue. Jiang Bai looked at this scene in front of him, and a warm current welled up in his heart. But before he could say anything, Shin Shouyue threw herself into his arms like a light butterfly. Her luscious lips pouted slightly, and without hesitation, she planted a loud and affectionate kiss on Jiang Bai's cheek. Boo! Jiang Bai clearly felt a moist and warm sensation on his face, and his face instantly turned red, as if it were a ripe apple. He couldn't help but mutter to himself, "Damn it, Shoyu, why are you acting like a pervert towards me as soon as we meet?" However, Shin Shoyu didn't seem to notice Jiang Bai's shyness and embarrassment. She still said with a smile, "Xiao Bai, you see that I've kissed you, shouldn't you kiss me back?" After saying this, her beautiful big eyes looked at Jiang Bai expectantly, with a hint of mischief and charm in them. Upon hearing this, Jiang Bai suddenly became at a loss for words. He looked around at the people walking around, and whispered to her, "Sister Choyue, there are so many people here, let's just get in the car quickly." Upon hearing this, Shin Choyue immediately put on an angry look and pouted, saying, "Humph, if you're not afraid, why are you afraid, you big man? Or do you think I'm ugly?" Jiang Bai smiled helplessly, leaned close to Shin Choyue's ear and whispered, "How could I think you're ugly? I just don't want to show affection in public." After saying this, he quickly gave Shin Choyue a light peck on the cheek. A bright smile immediately blossomed on Shin Choyue's face. She nodded with satisfaction and took Jiang Bai's hand, getting into the car. Jiang Bai glanced at Shin Choyue, who was driving, out of the corner of his eye. My, Sister Choyue is dressed to kill in that sexy imperial lady style. Can you handle it? I'm sure no man could stand it, right? It seems like it would be nice to fall in love with Sister Choyue, ha. Shin Choyue saw Jiang Bai occasionally glance at her and smiled slightly, speaking softly, "Bye, if you want to look at your sister, go ahead, your sister isn't stopping you, and there's no need to be sneaky about it." Jiang Bai's face turned red and his heart raced upon hearing these words. He didn't realize that his little action had been discovered by Shin Choyue. Jiang Bai shifted his head, afraid to look into Shin Choyue's eyes again, nervously fidgeting with his fingers and saying, "I just thought you looked very nice today, so I couldn't help but look at you a few times." After he finished speaking, he lowered his head in embarrassment. After a while, Jiang Bai returned to normal and asked, "Choyue, where are we going?" "To play escape room," Shin Choyue said with a smile. Jiang Bai nodded.